A court of fairies and fiction. Akafath Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel and Liv. Season 2, Episode 12, Fearing Their Fates.
We are all here. We all made it.
Yay, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. We're like the Archeron sisters now.
Love it.
And you're definitely Elaine, Olivia, okay? I know you don't like Elaine, but you're the sweet one.
I love Elaine. My pretty
You like Elaine, Ecca? You love her?
I do. She drives me crazy. I love her.
Yeah, she drives me nuts. She drives me crazy.
Okay, I so love having somebody on my team here.
I love Elaine.
I'm not gonna say that any of us are Feyre because we're not.
My younger self, I would say, was Feyre. Like, I see a lot of my younger self when I was at that age, and just smart. And why would you make a 19-year-old a politician of like the biggest court?
I can't.
And all in?
Well, this is why Nesta's gonna be queen. I cannot.
Girl can't even control her own period. What makes you think she can control the country?
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. There's no way. Nesta's not the next queen. There's no way.
Well, Queen of Dusk, at least.
Okay, that is possible. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, me and Ecca were saying that we are so robbed because we've complained about this before, how we do not get the fucking scene of Helion and Lucian trying to break Fast's spell together. How it's just like 2 sentences.
I know.
2 sentences, not 2 chapters of
2
sunshine.
sentences. We flew right over that shit.
You guys, we better be getting like full chapter dialogues between Helion and Lucian in the next book.
If he fucking dies and we don't get Helion and Lucian scenes, or like Helion and Lady Autumn and Lucian scenes, I'm going to be pissed.
And Lucian and Papa Archeron scenes.
Yes.
Why are you scooping away? I want.
Yes.
I
Okay,
need
that's
Lucian to
so
explain what they talked about on the boat so bad.
Okay, so I want to hear what do you both think? Like each tell me what you think. What do you think they said? What do you think went down between Papa Archeron and Lucian? Because I want to hear it.
I think that Lucian probably told him that like he was her mate, and I think that he, being the type of guy that he is, was like, you know, if Elaine accepts me, do I have your blessing? Because I think that'd be really cute. I think that's probably what went down before like the whole drinking and joking bit.
What do you think, Ecca?
Because he's like, your dad's like a really good male, and like we were just drinking and having a grand old time. I was like,
I'm trying to imagine like how progressive is Papa Archeron? Like they're just sitting here, he's like, so hey. Like one of your daughters is my my mate, my soulmate. So what's good?
oh, my favorite daughter. All right, you got my blessing. I like you, bro.
You know, I did a wooden thing of a rose for her. Like you should totally go back and get it and bring it to her. Kind of like
I know,
reverse.
I wish it was Lucian and not Nesta that brought her the rose.
I know. Oh, you guys.
But like we won't get into it, but I still think that Papa Archeron was the half fae. And like that's how he knew Vasa, because he needed permission to go over to the wall to trade, and then he was trading the fae artifacts to the humans, which is what made him rich. And then I swear to God, that second wave of debtors were fae that bashed up his leg. Because there was an original like group, and then she was like, oh, there was like another group that came, and then they bashed up his leg. I was like, that's the fae, because they didn't get their money.
I wonder if Papa Archeron met Jessica.
What makes you think about that?
Because didn't she have sources of where she got her artifacts from? And Papa Archeron, the merchant, the prince of merchants. Good source if you ask me.
I mean, he could have been like a world walker, maybe. I feel like everyone's a world walker at this point. Like anyone could be the one. Like Meryl, I think definitely. But
she's a gossip.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah.
She's
Melanie
like
had said. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ecca. Oh my God.
Serial status gossip. Meryl is.
Yeah. She's just world hopping all over the place. She's the high priestess in Tog. She's a priestess in Prithian. She's being scented in the Temple of Erd in Crescent City. She's obsessed with all the worlds. Come on. There's no way that wasn't Meryl in all 3.
Melanie had said a couple of like months, well, it was a while ago actually, is I don't know if you heard this, that what Bryce was wearing was called an Archesian amulet. And so what you just said might have some merit too. Yep.
Yeah, the Archesian amulet. I found it I could never decipher what Jessica told Bryce at the end of CC3. It was super confusing because she wasn't saying anything outright. She said that so we know that that's what Apollyon was after. She basically was like, you didn't know it was the necklace. She gives it to Bryce, but she says that it is connected to the source of the magic in that world. Like, what does that mean? Because they already got rid of the first light core. So, is it another first light core? Does it connect all of the first light cores? in the different worlds? Does it pull from it? Like, what does she mean? It is like the source of the magic in Midgard. I could not figure that out.
The cauldron, maybe. I keep thinking of the Starlit Pool in Springport.
Yeah, because like the cauldron is in Prithian, and then what was it in Tog? I haven't finished Tog, but like, is it a word key? Is it like a different type of word key? I don't know.
I don't remember if it's the tunnels or if it's somewhere in Aurelia.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I don't know. But like, she
Okay.
destroyed the freaking first light core that was in the Aseri castle, and that's why they're all afraid that they're not gonna have tech and shit, right? So like, what could Apollyon want with the Archesian necklace?
Maybe
Still,
he likes things.
like, it's the source of the magic in Midgard. What does that mean, Jessica? And what was her fucking name? That
Is it like
bothers
the
me too.
portals? Is it a bunch of portals? Like underground portal in Midgard? I don't know.
It's like a Venn diagram, but like we don't know what the circles are. Like I'm guessing Aurelia, Midgard, and Prithian, like the three, whatever. So what's in the middle? Is it the cauldron?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the cauldron being the void and how the Asteri were thrown into the black holes, and maybe the black holes just lead to the inside of the cauldron.
But then where, I guess so in Midgard, would it be that Bryce was like accessing the black holes? Is that like what? It has to be something in Midgard, right?
Yeah, she says it's the source. It's the original. She said it's the original source of the magic of this world. And the priestesses were keeping it from the princes of hell. Why? Aren't the princes of hell technically the good guys?
Yeah.
And he was still pissed at her. They still hated each other in that scene when they saved Bryce. He was like growling at her and she was like all like pissy. I don't know. I can't figure it out, but yeah, Archesian. And then you have Luna, who is the archer, and then we have Archeron, and we have Feyre, who's the archer. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But
Indiana.
you know what I figured out today, or I sent it to I think I sent it to you earlier, Olivia, but I don't think you saw it. Midgard, as we know, means like Earth. Midgard, which was supposed to be Earth because it was just like humans before they invaded and everything. But Terrasin means old Earth. Did you know that? The word Terrasin means old Earth, which kind of makes sense if their ancestors are from Terrasin. I thought that was odd. So then I was guessing that Prithian would be Alphamir, which is like land of the elves / the Fae. And then there's the planet of the gods, which is Asgard, obviously. And then there's the planet of the Vanir gods, which has another name. So there's 5 at least, but I don't know. I don't know where she's going with it. We know that there's like 25 planets and then time itself, but I don't know.
Ecca, did you finish Tog? Do you know everything already?
I do. I have finished all of Fog. I just haven't.
Little gatekeeper.
I don't know. I give you guys spoilers. I'm afraid. What do we do?
Don't do it. Don't give me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know.
I did that whole wordstone reel, and she got so pissed at me.
No, it was not a reel. She texted me the wiki page, Ecca, and it was like about all the wordstone and the black salt. Like literally was texting this to me after I've told her repeatedly I no longer want spoilers. And then she
It popped into my head because I was like, "That's fucking black monolith. It's wordstone." I don't know why I didn't get that. But anyway, we have to get this fucking theory done.
okay, I want to hear what you guys have come up with.
I have 4 pages.
And
I just transcribed my entire video, so I don't know what notes you have, Ecca.
I have the start of some. Or wait, no, this one. The start of some, and then I have like a book cracked open to like
We're so
to the
chaotic.
4.
All right. Do you want me to start and then you can like interrupt me when I get to a point that you need to talk about?
Oh, okay.
All right. So a couple weeks ago, me and Ecca were freaking out because we were talking about my theory about Cormac and Nesta, and that led to a conversation where it was weird that Cormac never mentioned his mother, and then that led to our huge theory that Morrigan is actually Cormac's mother, and that's what the whole secret is between her and Eris, because he would be her and Eris's child, and not Morven's. And so we put together this whole huge theory, which actually kind of makes sense. And I get a little bit off track with all of the word meanings and stuff, but try your best to follow along on my thought process. I know I can be a little chaotic, and I'm sorry. Anyways, I'll just read off the paper, and definitely interrupt me if you have thoughts. So my first point, before we really like dive into the more stuff, but my first point was that Cormac, the name, means raven or raven's offspring. And we know that in Irish lore, the Morrigan, one of her symbols is the raven. And we see the raven on the cover of Akamath, right? I said Mor would have been the original High Lady of the Night Court because she's of the original bloodline. Rhys says that it flipped at one point. We know that in Akamath, Rhys and Feyre as High Lord and High Lady wear crowns of raven's feathers to Hewn City, which Keir, Morrigan's father, is the steward of Hewn City. I said we know from Rigelus that Cormac is an undiluted bloodline from the Dusk Court. And I said, which I've said before, Keir's name means dusk or dusky. I love this. Mor's father, his name means dusk or dusky. Hewn City, where they wear the raven's feathers. I said, as we know, dusk is the period of time between day and night, light and shadow. And I said, you know what also symbolizes the space between light and shadow? Ravens.
Yep.
Ravens.
That's
And I said, funny enough, what are Cormac's powers? Fire and shadows, light and shadows. I said, we know that Rune was known as Agent Night because he wielded shadows. Lydia was Agent Daybright because she wielded fire, which would make Cormac in between day and night, aka dusk, with both powers. I was so smart.
Oh my
I felt so smart. I said, also, guess who Cormac looks exactly like? And I pulled it from their wiki page. If you want to go and see my reel on Instagram, I put it side by side. Morgan, blonde hair, not only blonde hair, but specifically light brown eyes.
yes.
Light brown eyes, specifically both of them. Blonde hair, light brown eyes. I thought that was hilarious. I said, Cormac in myth was also the first benign High King of Ireland. So if we're thinking that Mor is his mother and Cormac is only 77 years old and somehow got to Midgard or world walked there, then who is his father? Eris Van Sarah. You all know my theory that they're rejected mates, Mor and Eris. We went over all of that stuff, I think. I said, we know that Mor sleeps with males for pleasure. I think that somewhere along the line they got it out of their system because of their mate bond. Kind of like how I said Helion like sleeps around because like it's pulled so tight that he kind of has to find a way to release that energy. I think they're both just like, fuck it, let's have like hate sex. I can see that going down. Like, can't you? Can't you
Yes,
see
that
that?
fiction you did was like perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I wrote it in my fanfic.
Did you really?
It wasn't really hate sex. Well, it was kind of hate sex. It was in between.
It-
Kind of like the voice actor when he's like, Eris has all these feelings with Mor. It was just there was a lot of feelings there. It was, yeah. Anyway, I said, I don't actually think they hate each other as much as they pretend to. But I think that basically they had hate sex. She got pregnant. Perhaps she didn't think she could get pregnant because of when they nailed her in the womb when she was 17.
Oh, that's true.
Because do we ever see Mor actually taking the tonic in the book? I don't think we do. Because it mentions that Nesta's taking it. It mentions that Feyre's taking it. I don't think we've ever seen Mor actually take it on page.
And she drinks a lot of wine.
She does drink a lot of wine.
Like,
I mean, no,
choking
but
down the tonic.
we haven't seen Elaine or Amryn take it. I guess Amryn didn't need to up until lately.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe
She was supposed to take the tonic, but instead took the gin and tonic.
Sounds like more to me. That's pretty accurate.
no, but I feel like when they like nailed her in the womb, I feel like that's kind of like a ritual, maybe to prevent them from ever having children because of tainting themselves, like possibly, I don't know, maybe it's some sort of weird ritual where that's the punishment that they like ruin them from ever having kids, but I don't know. She did say that the wound was completely healed. So maybe she just thinks she can't have kids. And then she was like, I have a child.
Well, all boys are very fertile.
Exactly.
That they are. We've talked about that too.
Yeah. And I've said the Starborn lines, Celine says they had sons who had sons who had sons who had sons who had sons. They all have sons. Lady Autumn had 7 sons. Taelin's father had 7 sons. Helion had 1 son. Eris has a son. It would make sense to me.
Taelin's dad had 7? I thought he had 3.
3 sons. Did I say 7? I meant 3.
Yeah. Okay.
3.
I was wondering about, wait a minute.
3 sons. He had 3 sons. I said I think that they world walked their son to Midgard because of Varen. If Varen knew that they had a child, he would not only force them to get married like he was trying to way back when, but like look what he does to his own sons. He tortures them. And just like if Eris touched Mor at the border, she would have become his property. Like, and how Lady Autumn can't leave the Autumn Court because their sons are Baron's property. Cormac would have been Eris's property. He would have had to stay in the Autumn Court. He would have been stuck in the Autumn Court. Didn't matter if Mor birthed him or not. They would have taken him because that would have been the law because Eris is from the Autumn Court and Kier would have let them. Mor never would have, after Eris was like, I gave you your freedom from my father. Can you imagine the fear when she's like, I'm pregnant with an Autumn Court child? Holy shit. That's kind of like a legit fear though.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd say so.
I don't know. I said Cormac has fire as well as shadows. Mor, as we know, has dark roiling magic, so she has to have some sort of shadow magic, most likely from Kier's family line. We know that Eris is a fire wielder. And I said the clues that Eris could be a world walker. He knew all of the secrets about the Sister Peaks and Akasif, which we brought up as strange at the time. Remember, we were like, how the fuck does Eris know?
He's a nerd.
Yeah,
just like
he is. Yeah.
Just like Cormac, studying all the archives. Just like it's dad. He knew about the Sister Peaks, which means he had to know about the portals, possibly the first light cores. I had a little note that said perhaps that's why he wanted Nesta so badly in Akasif to destroy Baron. Maybe if she got a first light core with her death power, she could destroy Baron. I don't know. I said during the Hybern War, what does it say when he enters the war? The first time we see Eris enter the war, it says, out of a rip in the world, Eris appeared atop our knoll, clad head to toe in silver armor, a red cape draping from his shoulders. I love that scene. Out of a rip in the world? That is not how winnowing is described. Ever. Nope. What is going on with Eris? Because then he's like, oh yeah, Tamlin dragged my father out by his neck. It was delightful. I love that scene.
I love that so much. I love the idea of like, I wish I could see Tamlin.
I wish someone could draw that. No one has drawn that.
I know.
But anyways, yeah, out of a rip in the world, Eris appeared atop our knoll. What? Yeah.
From his closet.
Oh yeah, the closet. Which is another thing. Rhys and Feyre and Tamlin's little pocket realm. The pocket to nowhere.
Yeah.
They're the only ones so far that we've seen. Huh?
How do they clean it? Do they have like a little brownie in there that just cleans those?
All their shit is just floating in the void.
Organizes everything in it.
Tamlin's like, it's kind of like a giant broom closet, I guess. No, it's like space, dude. It's literal space. Anyway,
you know what? We'll have to talk about that too because it's interesting. Because if Tamlin uses it and Rhys uses it, like, wouldn't you think that they would ever like cross?
And then Feyre uses it in Ecca.
Yeah.
Like once.
Yeah.
Like, how did she learn how to access it?
I know. Weird.
It's so weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I found that phrasing rip in the world odd. So I read Hofast, and I'm reading about, the Under the Mountain and Ramiel and the Death Court, whatever, and I was like, that's why Eris was so suspicious. What does he know? What the fuck does he know? And then I was like, it's Mama Autumn. She's telling him the whole history. See, I think aside from Rhys's father, I think Lady Autumn and Asriel's mom had so much information.
Oh yeah.
I'm not letting go that I think Asriel's mom is the seer. I'm just not. She has to be.
Oh.
How does he know? How does he know about the thin places? How did he get Annelius? I mean, Truth Teller, Annelius's knife. Like
how did you know that Elaine is a seer?
He literally went to check with her. He was like, oh fuck.
So on that note, because Melanie and I don't know if Ecca knows or not, but Melanie, like she said, is convinced that Asriel's the seer. But you do bring up a good point that he had to have gone and checked with her. But I was convinced it was Rhys's mom that was the seer. What do you think of that? Like, do you agree that you think Asriel's mom's the seer?
They could both have been the seer. You know,
See, the thing with me is that I don't think it was Rhys's mom because then it would have been Rhys who knew immediately about Elaine because he was close with his mom.
That's true.
But we don't know what Rhys is doing in that scene, do we? I don't think
he's there. He's there because he's like looking at Feyre, and Feyre's like, Elaine, do you want some warm milk? I'm like, is she 3?
I always like that scene. I was like, that's so sweet. The one sweet thing Feyre's ever done.
It was weird to me. But anyway, yeah, that was weird. But yeah, Rhys was standing there. Asriel, Nesta, and Lucian were in that scene. And Asriel, obviously, yeah. So,
yeah.
Anyways, I said, I want to make mention that Cormac, when he incinerated Pippa, was almost identical as when Lydia incinerated Pollux. Did you guys catch that? And it's funny because Lydia couldn't do that until she took the antidote. I think, I've told Olivia this, and I don't think she agreed with me. I think that Cormac killed the lab workers because they knew that he had been working with them. I think they had already made an antidote for him to take. And he didn't want them telling the Asteri because the Asteri were showing up in that scene. And they would have given the Asteri whatever information they wanted on him if they captured them.
Yeah, because they would have been like, oh God, please don't kill us. We'll give you everything you want to know.
He asked for an antidote. Like, they would have, yeah. So the way that he like incinerated them, and Tharian's like, I thought we weren't killing people. He's like, I'm like, he's just like, they are not collateral. They have so much information on me. I already took an antidote, bitch. How is he that powerful? How? Mr. Archive, I know everything. And I'm connected to Danica through Sophie. He knows too much to be dead.
Do you think he's dead or alive?
He's alive. He has to be alive.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
He has to be. You can't have all of that information and be that important and have another seer, an oracle, a seer tell you you are destined to be with a princess with a star on her back. Guess what, Nesta? And then go poof. Like a little smoke sprite from like Howl's Moving Castle. Just poof.
And then fucking Akasif, like the 8-pointed star was stamped right on her very heart. Hello.
And then Bryce was like, you need to find that means. So
I told you.
Shocked right now.
Bryce
word for fucking word.
Bryce no way she doesn't. She's sneaky and she's crafty. No way she doesn't know. She has to. She has to know.
The very last. So Cormac was brought up 20 times 20 times. The last time he was brought up was Rune's bonus chapter, where he says, wherever his soul may reside. We know he's not in fucking heaven with the rest of them. Wherever his soul may reside. And then he's like, oh, hopefully with Sophie. Hopefully, you just admitted that you wanted to have a better relationship with him and you were building on that and you were good by the end. Why wouldn't you say, like, oh, he's at peace with Sophie? Hopefully, wherever he is. It's suspicious.
It's suspicious. Can we also look at that cat real quick? Hi, cat. Hi, kitty. Who's that?
This is Wade Wilson, the kitty chonga.
Our official mascot. You're wearing an Aelin ring today along with your Jurian eyeball.
Yes, this is the Aelin ring. This is the Jurian eyeball.
Oh my god, that thing freaked me the fuck out the first time we filmed. I go, what are you wearing? Is that Jurian? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you have Jurian.
The brown eye too, which is even better.
I know.
So did you pick that out before you read Acotar?
No. So I actually found, this is my wedding ring. I found it at like a flea market and it was on sale for like $15 sterling silver. And I'm like, I gotta get it next time I see it. And
It's Jurian. I have to save him.
Jurian, I'm like, oh shit, I need to save him.
I freaking love it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yes.
Oh my god. What do you guys think about the incineration thing? Why do you think Cormac was that powerful before pre-antidote? Do you think that I'm right that he knew and he went to the lab workers and he already took one?
Okay, you go first.
Genetically, if he is Moore's son and Moore is super powerful and she just isn't tapping into her power.
And Eris.
And Eris.
Lady Autumn's line. Yeah, I said like Lydia incinerating Pollux, and it was also exactly like Aelin incinerating all the Ilkin, which we know Lydia is basically from Aelin's line.
Oh yeah.
I said we know that Lady Autumn is from a family of powerful fire-wielding nobles, but it is still yet to be said and is unknown as to how or why they are so powerful. We don't know who they're connected to. They could be another branch of Aelin's line. It could be that
Lady
Cormac,
Autumn?
yeah, it could be that
Yeah.
Cormac was cousins with like Lydia too, distant cousins with Lydia too at some point. I don't know. Because why would they have the same strength in their fire when like Lydia is supposed to have like Aelin's true fire from Brennan and Mala, but then Cormac is like the same strength with his fire, or even more so because, well, the same or more so because Lydia, pushes it out to incinerate all the Asteri mech suits, and then Aelin pushes it out to incinerate all the Ilkin. But then Cormac literally makes a whole bubble of fire and pushes it out and incinerates fucking everybody in the lab. Fucking incinerates everybody. CC2, pre-antidote.
I think that was the noise that Moore heard in like Apophas. I think that was the noise.
Shadow? He's the shadow!
Yes, and she's like, oh, my son is home. Let me go find out where he is.
Olivia,
so remind us.
thoughts?
First of all, okay, wait. Remind me of the scene where Moore hears the sounds. What's going on?
It's the swirling shadow when her horse is all.
It's the swirling shadow. She hears a noise. She's riding her horse,
Okay.
and she's sitting on like, nobody in the IC knows about this place. That I have this place. That I like. That I have horses, and there are very specific kind of horses.
Asterian
and-
horses.
Yeah, very specific.
And she's just riding, and she's just like all majestic and blonde hair in the wind, and she's just like, what is that swirling shadow? Where is that weird sound coming
It's like,
from? Here.
it doesn't seem unfamiliar. It just seems like it's sleeping. Yeah, because he has a fucking bullet through his shoulder that finally caught up with him, and all the form he can take is his shadow form, because he's also a shadow singer.
He's probably like, I'm tired. Can I crash at your place? Literally.
That's what I think happened. I think the Gorsian bullet went in him. The last like part of his magic he used for that thing, because that was after he got shot, so it didn't immediately take all his powers away. So he used that, activated his word marks to open a rift, got blasted through the rift. There has to be some sort of time slippage, which we know from Hofast, and I've brought this up before. We know from Hofast that they tell Bryce it's been 5 days, and she seems very confused that it's been 5 days. So who knows? It could have been a month, 2 months, 6 months for Cormac of time slippage, depending on the rift they use or how they get to where they are. And that's why it was in Hofast and not in Akasif. And if he was really that like diminished in power, he would basically just be able to be in his shadow form, perhaps.
Well, if you think about it too, when Aelin went through the portal and she saw Rhys and Feyre, and Feyre was pregnant in like, what was it? Akasif, I think.
Like 15,000 years in the future.
Yeah, and that we waited a while for that book to come out.
Mm-hmm. She fell through Prithian, and then she fell through Crescent City, which I told Olivia that I think Aelin was seeing worlds right after major Asteri wars, major Valg wars. So Prithian would have been right after, basically right after the war with Hybern. and Crescent City would have been after the war in Hofas. And I think those were the worlds that Aelin was seeing when she was passing through, like after major wars. Like,
well, but Aelin saw Feyre pregnant though, and that was like way past Hybern. You know what I mean?
Like, it was like 6 months. It was like 6 months because Hybern, the end of Akasif was, I think, almost fall, end of spring, almost fall, and then Akafas was winter. And then Akasif was after spring again because Nesta's birthday was in the spring. So maybe like a year.
A year. Yeah, because that's when Sarah had her period, and she's like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah.
And then she had to have been in her Fae body for at least a year because it's like once a year or something.
It's like twice a year, yeah.
Yeah. And then she got pregnant, and Fae pregnancies are about 10 months, but it got shortened to because of complications. Anyway.
So how about
Anyway.
what if the time slippage depends on like how you world walk? Like if he used word marks, but Bryce used a literal gate, is that where the time isn't adding up? Or do you think it just depends on the person? Because in Akasif, when Gwen and Emery touch the Black Monolith and then they're talking to Nesta after, Gwen says, "Oh, like, I think it took us where it knew we needed to be most."
But
And
then
that
who
always
decides?
stuck up to me.
But then who decides that? Erd?
Hmm. Exactly.
Just like the
Word
cauldron.
marks. Erd. Thank you. Word gates. Word stone. They're all connected to Erd. So I think that if Cormac was the sleeping shadow, the mother knew that he needed to be there. And who better to first show him to than his mother?
His true mother. And she's just like, "How are you?"
She was like, "I speared some of my magic toward it, and it didn't seem unfamiliar or anything, obviously, because it's your fucking power."
And like I can't remember if it's no, it's not Aquafast, it would have been Akasif. To where Feyre's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's just like, "Meh."
Yeah, she was
Like,
really weird.
I'm not really thrilled about it. Okay.
Yeah, Feyre was like, "Oh, so like tell me like what's going on in Valahan or whatever," and she literally changes the subject. She's like, "Oh, all in good time, like all in good time," and then she fucking changes the subject. And SJM does that all the time. I was telling you last night, it pisses me off. Because there's even we brought up last night the scene in Akasif when Helion is like, "Oh, I need like some peace if I can just like get a room in Hewn City for like an hour or two," and Rhys is like, "Something going on at home," and then we get fucking Cassian's narrative with Nesta right after that, and it's never addressed.
We don't know if he knows that Lucian is his son.
But wouldn't he have to though? If him and Lucian are both trying to spell cleave Vast's curse, he knows Lucian's a spell cleaver. Where else would he have gotten it?
Yeah.
He has to know.
But then here's my question, you
Do
guys.
they meet up in secret? Like, do they know?
Yeah, that's my thing. If Helion, okay, wait. If Helion knows that Lucian's his son, why are they not meeting up and like hanging out more? Maybe SJM, like why?
We didn't get Lucian's point of view yet. We don't know. We don't know.
When we
where
got
he goes.
Ever. The only time we got his point of view ever was when Feyre went into his
In his
mind
head.
and he saw Elaine and was commenting on Elaine, and she was like, "Wait, this feels wrong." Like,
And I always bring up that sentence where he says, "I will give Azriel everything about the Encore except my mother's secrets, which are wholly personal." I wonder if he knew that Feyre was in his head, and he's like, "I'm not even thinking of her secrets, bitch."
I would be surprised if Lucian knew that Feyre was in his head. Like he saw her Daemati power when she was like doing the thing with Ianthe's hand or whatever.
After that, he knew kind of what to, yeah.
Don't you think so?
Before that, I don't think he was even thinking of it, and maybe he didn't feel it. But I think maybe after that, he tried to get more attuned to it. I don't know. Perhaps. Perhaps.
But I'm also concerned, Ecca, because I can't remember if this is a talk thing that you were talking about last night, Melanie. Melanie said something to the extent of like, was it that like spell cleaving, like you feel threads? Oh, she was reading the Helion mask scene in, I think it was the Hewn City or the Moonstone Palace, and he was like talking about feeling like threads. So my concern is that that's not an actual thread between her and him and Elaine. That's just his power. That
Singular thread. There's a
that he can tug on
thread.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
Helion says that spells are like multiple threads bound around a person. That is not the same as a singular thread from rib to rib.
Bound around a person.
But he wasn't looking for one with Nesta and Cassian. I bet there is one around Cassian, but
I don't think it's Tanwin.
Thank you. She feels so betrayed right now. His mate is Tanwin.
White fire, silver fire, and then Cormac is black fire. So Cassian just has a fire kink.
Did you die? Who doesn't want one? Let's be real.
I'm shocked he hasn't gone for Eris.
Because he's bald.
I cannot believe you think Tanwin too. Oh my gosh.
Tanwin's name means white fire, which is literally the OG Silver Flames.
Okay, wait. Okay, go back to
We have to finish this theory first, and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
Fine. More in Cormac. Why? Let me ask you about this. And I know you have more to read. Tell me, what is the purpose of keeping Cormac alive? Because
they're not going to kill a baby. Like, they're rare.
Cormac? No, I mean like after the lab.
Oh, right? After the lab.
Oh, after the lab, because he's actually the heir to Hybern. Hybern took his throne.
No,
Cormac-
no,
Cormac-
unless Hybern is another island of dusk, which could be because she does love threes, where it would be Prison, Hybern, and Avalon, which is possible. Rigelus says that he's the undiluted bloodline from the Dusk Court, so he would have to be King of Dusk with Nesta's Queen of Dusk, and they would rule Dusk. But Hybern could possibly be another connected island to the Dusk Court, and we just don't know yet. Because we don't know who was there before Hybern took it over, because again, Rhys is like, oh, he came, he slaughtered everyone that was there, and then he took it for him and his people. We don't know what fucking happened there, what it was beforehand.
Name of that island. It's just named after him right now.
Yeah.
Well, not even, but
So what if that was it? What if it's the three pieces of the Dusk Court? Avalon, the prison, and Hybern.
But Hybern's so far down south, you guys.
Well, Avalon was on another planet. That's what I was thinking, but I was like, well, and I'm trying to think. I wonder, I wish we had the maps, because if we drew a circle around those three places, would there be something in the middle that would line up to the Archesian amulet? I love puzzles like this, and I wish I had the maps in front of me so I could do that.
I'm looking at it, but I don't think that they can like overlap. Do you see what I'm saying? Because there's three. Yeah, you guys are right. That like you see,
But the cave system, it goes underneath everything. So
Yeah.
there could be. I don't know. I was just thinking, because Cormac is an Irish name, and again, it means like High King of Ireland or whatever, which is where we're getting Hybern, because Hybern is literally the Ireland on the map. It's
yeah,
so weird.
like if you line up the UK and Ireland and Scotland and all of them and add it up to Corinthian,
Yeah.
it's the same big map.
So even if Cormac doesn't end up with Nesta, which I would be severely disappointed in, maybe he delegates Dusk to Nesta, and then yeah, maybe he takes over Hybern. But I would prefer for them to be king and queen together, as you know. I'm
my
so
gosh.
convinced that they're the real mates. Come on, the 8-pointed star, the prophecy.
Although
It's-
I do have a crack theory about Nesta and another mate.
I know.
Ooh.
She thinks Rhys is her mate.
Here's the
because
person I've seen or heard say that now. The third person.
when Rhys was under the mountain and he just so happened to see Feyre's hand painting,
Third
who would
person's
have been
you.
watching?
Whose
Who would
eyes?
have been watching through Nesta's eyes? And Nesta, even as a human, was already connected to the cauldron.
Shut up. What else? Give me like another reason. Okay, so we have an observer
Her
of Feyre
match,
painting.
because I said Cassian is not her match in power.
Rhysand is technically like the most powerful High Lord in all of Corinthian. Nesta is extremely
The
powerful.
most powerful female Fae.
Yes. Feyre
Feyre.
was powerful because Rhysand broke into everybody's mind and was like, bearing me
Made
first,
them give her power.
She was made. She was a made mate.
But the
But I
mother
think
didn't
Nesta-
approve of that shit. That's
And the
why
thing
she
is,
tried to kill her in childbirth.
Yeah. And
That's why
Rhys
she tried to
is
fucking
dark.
mock her.
Rhys is darkness. Nessa is Silver Flames, which is Deanna, Luna.
The actual Luna. yeah.
Also, if you think about it, if Nesta had gone after that ring, she wouldn't have taken as long as Feyre. Nesta would put ham on that worm.
Also, the way that Feyre repeats that Rhys is death incarnate
Yes. And
and Lady
Nessa,
Death,
yes.
I'm concerned.
It's what? Oh my gosh.
What if that's what she meant by multiple mates? What if Nesta literally has like 3 mates and she gets to choose?
But then why Feyre? Why would Rhys pick Feyre then? Like why would he be
Well,
happy
so
with Nesta?
before Nesta went in the cauldron, Feyre was the most powerful, but the magic has swapped now. Is that why he's cranky? Is that why the only way that they communicate through the bond is Daemati?
Well, here's
Is
the
that
thing.
why? Is that why he didn't feel her distress at the Hybern camp, like he did for the wedding?
It's
Also,
I just thought
No.
of that.
Rhys did not tell Feyre about the pregnancy. What makes you think he would tell Feyre that he and Nesta are Valg mates?
Yeah, she could be mates with his Valg.
wait. Is there such a thing as a Valg mate?
I don't know.
We don't know.
But also, the only thing that catches me up on that is when he dies in Ecca War, and she's like, the loss of the bond, it hurt so bad, and like freaks out.
Okay,
But
and also
It could also be the bargain.
No, because Hybern
I-
already stripped the bargain.
No.
An Ecca.
The death bargain. If you
No,
think
that
about
was
it, okay.
afterwards. That was an Ecca wasn't it?
That's what I mean. Like afterwards, when they created the death bargain, if they're not mates, if they're not true mates, Rhys may have convinced her to do that so that it gives extra protection. Like, well, shit, if she ever had doubts that we weren't really mates, and if she found out, I don't know. This is my crack theory.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the whole, like, the way that she said the loss of the bond when he died in Ecca War was, like, so bad and all this stuff. And then, like, everything felt right when he came back to life. But the thing that I'm concerned about, which I always say, that his Valg is going to take over, is that you have to give something to come back to life. Nesta stole from the cauldron. But the cauldron, so Nesta stole from the cauldron. Basically, Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine all gave their humanity. But on top of that, Nesta stole from the cauldron. Elaine was gifted something from the cauldron. What was Rhys's price?
his sanity.
I know.
Agreed.
I
His-
think that he had to give a significant chunk of his power, and I think that's why his Valg is slowly taking over him. The rage and the darkness and the black eyes.
Oh, another thing. Reese had to teach Feyre how to code up her words.
That's always been weird to me.
When he went to Nesta, she nobody taught her. She already had them up. And she
Her
saw
and
him.
Elaine. He says her and Elaine's are in, or Maja says that her and Elaine's are impenetrable because they came directly from the cauldron. He can't go into Elaine's or Nesta's.
Ah.
Okay,
Mhm.
wait.
Because
The only
Nesta is like having an argument with Feyre, and she's like, "What? So Reese can just go in and scramble her brains or whatever?" Because that's when she says, "What if her price was her sanity?" She says that about Elaine, and Feyre's like, "I don't think Reese could even do that, even if he wanted to, and I don't think his powers can heal stuff like that." But then he's like, and then Feyre tries later on, and she says that Elaine's mind is iron bars and unbloomed flower buds, which sunshine.
Also, Tamlin's Manor House.
what were you gonna say about Tamlin's Manor House, Ecca? Because I was gonna say that too, I think.
So iron bars and unbloomed flowers, just like Tamlin's Manor House. Her words. Her impenetrable of her words.
But you know who lived in the Springport her entire existence? Her mate. He still calls it home when he's
Wait
yelling
a
at Feyre.
second. Melanie, did you just hear what she said?
Yeah.
That literally her wards are Tamlin's house? Dude, if she
I
does a
wouldn't say
Tamlin
Tamlin's house, but-
Elaine mate,
No,
I think
she's
it's
not.
possible. She
No.
totally might.
No,
She
she's not.
totally might.
No, she is not. Elena's not going to get with her sister's ex. That's not going to happen. And Feyre even said, like, she would do anything to prevent Elaine from even going to Spring. So
But like that's kind of weird too when you think about it, like preventing her from going to Spring. Why? Why is Feyre so threatened by that?
Because she's
hates
not over it.
Tamlin. She just hates Tamlin.
She's not over
But
it.
she's
Yeah,
still
but
pissed about it.
But, okay, but who does Tamlin need to help him along with shit the entire time? Fucking Lucian. Who does Elaine need to help her along? Who's her fucking mate? Lucian. How do
Also,
flowers
it's not
bloom?
Lucian's home.
Yes,
That's
it is.
not
He
Lucian's
calls
home.
it his home.
It's
He's
not
been
his
there
true
since he was
home.
like in exile as like a teenager. That's
We know
his
that's
home.
not his true home. We know
No,
that.
it is. He's been living there her whole existence. That's why her dresser drawers had flowers on it. And it wasn't roses. It was all different flowers. Just so you know.
Like irises and
Yeah.
roses.
It was like irises and something else. Yeah.
Morning glory, I think.
Jasmine, perhaps? I don't know. Her scent is jasmine too.
Yes.
And also the day court colors are cobalt, amethyst, and crimson. And she has been seen in a cobalt dress. She has been seen in a lavender dress, amethyst dress. I bet you the next time we see Elaine, she'll be wearing a crimson dress. I bet you. Because Lucian has worn a crimson or a sapphire jacket as well.
Yes. Remember the sapphire jacket.
I thought the
I'm pretty
sapphire
sure
was
he wore-
associated with the night court.
Huh?
I
No.
thought sapphire. Not always.
It's
No.
both. Yeah. I think she like mixes a lot of the colors and she kind of forgets shit along.
Yeah.
Like how Feyre's scent is lilac, like Tamlin. It's so weird.
Okay. The only reason too that like that crack theory. I'll go back to your guys' one with the more in the thing in a minute.
Yeah,
But the Nesta Reese thing, I remember back in Reese said to Tamlin and Akatar in the first book. Do you guys remember? He was like, "For what it's worth, she would have been yours," or something like that. Do you remember that? For what it's worth. So
Yes.
it's like, yeah, like Tamlin and Feyre were supposed to be together, and Reese. So
Yeah,
if he
we
really
knew
did make
that.
her,
She rewrote Akamath and Akawar. We knew that. And the fact that SJM straight up fucking lied in her interview makes me pissed. Because her written interview and her spoken interview are two different things, and it bothers me constantly because nobody saw the written one.
no one saw it. Oh, well, not a lot.
It was
of people read
old. It was
obviously.
like it was like right after Akamath, I think. And
Oh, gosh.
it was like a written interview, and it was like going around Tumblr like way back when. And they're like, yeah, it wasn't like a verbal interview or anything. And then her verbal interview, she was like, yeah, like I knew it was gonna be Reese and Feyre from like the start. Like, no, the fuck you did not, because that's not what you said in your interview.
Yeah.
Because Tamlin was the one who sent her the music in the beginning.
I know.
So mad about that.
I always bring that up, and people are like, "You're wrong. It was Reese." But I swear, Reese was like
Tamlin's the
confused.
only one connected to music at that point.
Yeah.
Let's be fucking real.
Yeah. Yep.
And then she was like, oh, well, I never said what kind of music it was. Let's make it Valaris music. The fuck it is. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway.
So okay. Anyways.
Back to the powerful fire wielding shit. I said we know Lady Autumn was from a family of powerful fire wielding nobles, unknown as to how they got so powerful, but I'm assuming that they bred with the Starborn, seeing as the Redheads knew Thea and her daughters personally, so much so that she sent some of them through to Midgard during the crossing. I think that's why Baron needed Lady Autumn. I've said this so many times because I think he needs her to rule. He's siphoning off of her because she's the strong one, the powerful one. That's why she was sold to him. So if Eris has equally powerful fire magic from Lady Autumn, her line, he would have passed that to Cormac, hence his fire being super powerful, laced with Starborn. Cormac would have that on top of the dark shadow magic of Morin Reese's line, if he's Mor's son, of the Night Court and the Dusk Court combined. Let's see. Lady Autumn would know all of the secrets of the past because she's the redhead, not Baron. She could have passed down the secrets to Eris. I've said this. I said, could it also, yeah, I asked this before. I said, could it also be possible that Lady Autumn's line is a line of Aelin's because she had multiple children? It still could be. Because like
Yeah,
that,
true.
his and Lydia's
Girl-
both seemed like the true fire from Brandon and Mala. The huge incinerating.
Well, remember too, Kaltain knows. Wait a minute. Do you guys know about Kaltain?
Kaltain had shadow fire, which is what I was thinking from Cormac, but they didn't describe his as mixed with the shadows. They just described it as fire, which I was like, it would have been so cool if he had the shadow fire. We would have gotten somewhere.
Wait, I have a question for you guys because I'm still working on Crown of Midnight. Does Kaltain obtain that power, or did she have it the whole time?
So she had fire magic, like regular, basic fire magic, and
Okay.
then they put the ring on her finger and possessed her with a Valg demon.
Uh-huh.
And so the
Okay, wait,
Valg-
don't spoil too much. Don't
No, I
spoil.
won't. So the Valg's dark magic mixed with her magic, and it created shadow fire, which was huge and incinerating and damaging, which is why she wrapped everything.
I know that's what I texted.
Which is why she exploded.
Stop it.
You asked.
I said don't give much, just give a little.
You already knew this from we talked about it on season 1.
You know what she did at the end?
Yes, you did.
No,
Because we thought that she was we thought that she was Azrael's mom. Do you not
we did.
remember
We
that?
talked about that.
I still think she kind of could be, but anyway. Anyway. I said Mala was a god. She gifted her mate Brandon true fire magic, godly fire magic, which is why it's so strong. Brandon gifted it to Aelin. I'm assuming Aelin gifted it to Lydia, and perhaps also her another line, which ended up being Lady A's line in Prithian, where it ended up in Eris, and then Cormac, where he brought it to Crescent City, which is why it was the same as Lydia's magic, because there was supposed to be one in each world, which would have been Cormac and Lydia. But Cormac also ended up in Crescent City with Lydia. So then there were two.
One.
Then there were two. I said, we know that Lydia named one of her sons Brandon after Brandon. His nickname is Bran. Does anybody want to take a guess as to what Bran is the Celtic god of?
Ecca, you do it.
Oh, I can't find it. I had notes. Bran. I'm trying to remember my.
Bran is
Irish
the
name.
Celtic god of ravens. And it comes
Family-
full circle.
It's a family wreath. It's a family wreath.
Family wreath.
It's not a. It's a wreath.
It's a wreath. Right? Full fucking circle. I said, and remember, Cormac's name is also Celtic and means ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So Cormac's name and Bran's name both mean ravens. Bran is
Eh.
Lydia's son. It's, yeah. Anyway.
But
There's
that's
also,
how.
I said, there's also a three-eyed raven in mythology, which symbolizes the all-seeing mind, which, tell me that's not truth magic.
Dude, the 3 circles. The 3 eyeballs.
Three-eyed raven in mythology, that's what it is. The Arcadian. The all-seeing. Is it past, present, and future? That's what it is. Is it past, present, and future with like an eye in the middle? Is that what it's supposed to be?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
Is Erd the middle? Like, is Erd the middle, and then it's past, present, future? Is that what the Arcadian amulet is?
Maybe.
That would be cool. Yeah, it symbolizes
Also,
the all-seeing mind, which is truth magic. All Mor has to do is look at somebody, and she can see their whole truth.
She should look in the mirror.
I know. The Ouroboros. And she didn't look in that one.
Nah, she was like, I don't want to be anywhere near that thing.
Yep.
Which is funny because I had that theory last night that Thanatos was the one that hewn City, and the Ouroboros is a dragon eating its tail, and dragon fire kills princes of hell. And it's funny that Mor's family line, their heirloom was the Ouroboros mirror. So I said, is there some sort of connection of Mor's family line not only to the Night Court and Starborn, but also to hell at some point?
Probably her mother's line.
Yep.
And that's why I also said, is Mor's mother Thanatos' unruly daughter?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, without
You-
question. Without hesitation.
Is that
You think
it?
Mor came up with her personality all by herself?
You guys, you shut up right now. Okay, wait, but like, do you remember that scene when someone came and got Kier and was like, Thanatos needs help with
Yes.
his unruly daughter?
No, Kier
and
says
then
it. He gets up. He says Thanatos needs help with his unruly daughter. His fucking wife?
his wife.
Your wife? And then on top of Cassian and Rhys saying, we don't talk about Mor's mother. And then the
No, we
nail
don't.
being driven through her. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's witch elements and there's like hell. I don't know. I don't know. That would
Okay,
be.
do you know? Is it like an end of Tog thing? Without spoiling?
Without spoiling, that's difficult. I can't
God
really.
damn it. I want spoilers, Olivia.
Well, here's the thing. You guys know about the Witch Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
The one piece of that they have,
The
the
what?
yielding.
Oh,
what
yeah,
was
the
it?
yielding, yeah, and the witch mirrors, I know, yeah.
I don't know.
Is the
anything about it.
Ouroboros a fucking witch mirror? That's what I've been asking. Nobody seems to have an answer.
Hey, Ecca, don't you dare. Don't say it.
No, I said that what if Hewn City was kind of hewn to be like a clock tower?
Oh, that would be
Because-
interesting.
Because do you remember that the bottom of the clock tower was where they kept the beasts? And
Okay,
under Hewn
I'm
City
officially
is
covering
where
my
they
ears.
keep the beasts? And the Ouroboros could be a witch mirror? I don't know.
Could be.
That's what I was thinking of.
Probably
Because
from
it does-
Yellow.
Because it does say that there are like windows in Human City, but they're carved into the mountain. So could they have been purposely placed to use witch mirrors, like the towers?
And reflect light.
Hmm. You're good.
Very funny.
Are you done?
Anyway, yeah, I was like, is Thanatos her grandfather? And remember, Hybern calls her like, oh, what a pretty queen you are, or whatever.
Wait, does he have truth magic?
I don't know. I'm wondering if more. I don't know why he would call her queen and not princess, though, if she was Thanatos' grandchild. Unless her power surpassed his as like a queen of hell. She could be the first queen of hell. I don't know. I don't know. Because Moore does have some. She is connected to the Starborn line. She's connected to the Night Court line, and perhaps she's also connected to hell, right? So Thea was Starborn, and her mate was Adis, who was a prince of hell, Thanatos' brother. I don't know. Unless Thea and Adis had children, but they didn't say that they did, and then she was killed, I think, shortly after.
Oh.
But it would be interesting if Adis and Thea had children, and that's where Moore's line came from, because Adis is super blonde too. I don't know, but so is Thea.
Yeah.
I always forget that Thea was blonde. I always
I
think she was
know.
redhead like Bryce.
I always thought she had dark hair like Reese, and then it's like Thea and Fiona were both blonde, and their daughters had raven black hair, because that makes sense. Okay.
Makes no sense.
Genetics.
That's very weird genetics. See, but it would lend to my theory that Vesperus was Thea's mother, because Vesperus had raven black hair.
Whoops.
It's all dark. It looks very
Anyways,
cozy.
I have a page and a half left of this theory. And then we can go into the other one that you guys wanted to do earlier. The Tanwin one, which I am so excited about.
Oh, I want to hear. I just am like in shock about the Tammin thing, and we need to all talk about it.
Yeah, the three-eyed raven is Moore's ability for truth powers. She can recognize the truth within anybody she looks at. I said, if Cormac had some kernel of truth magic, this is why he sought out the archives his entire life. This is why he wanted to know the truth about everything. He would be able to plan faking his death better. And maybe he wanted to get back to Prythian. I said, we know that he spent his whole childhood in the archives. He thought he was going to be the chosen one for the Star Sword, remember? He was convinced that it was going to pick him.
I also have something to add that you guys are going to, your mind is going to be blown.
Add.
You know how Sarah J. Maas likes threes?
Mm-hmm.
So in the Four Irish Cycles, Cormac's story in the Four Irish Cycles is the third cycle.
He's fucking alive, Olivia!
Oh my gosh, you guys.
He's alive! Okay. There is
What?
no motherfucking way she gave him a word mark tattoo that matched the carvings on the prison stone and killed him off. There's no fucking way that she forgot that little detail that she purposely added. In Akasif, I told her this one. In Akasif, there's a foreshadowing scene of the mates, which it says, I forget what it says. It says like the sun and nature fields or whatever, which was supposed to be like illusion. And then it says the sparkling seas and the shadows of night, which is like Gwen and Azrael. And then it says like this whole thing about the peaks of the prison island being shrouded in mist, carved with strange symbols. It's the same fucking symbols on Cormac's arm.
For Nessa and Cormac.
For Nesta and Cormac.
Didn't even catch the mate stuff like in the descriptions.
Yes.
Like in the
I'll have to send you the link to the whole thing that I wrote out on Tumblr because I did the whole thing written out on Tumblr. It was intriguing. I had to do a whole like little article on it. It was great. But yeah, there's no way he was dead, and she just threw away all of her details like that. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, you guys definitely have a convincing argument, but I don't know if I'm 100% convinced yet. Not quite.
Why else would he be so convinced that the Star Sword was going to choose him? Because he knew that he was connected to the Dusk Court. He had to know that whole time. And I think he used Sophie and Danica to confirm what he already knew. I would bet you 100% that it was his plan to have Sophie sneak into the room and not Danica.
But what if he got the sword wrong? There's other swords made of sword.
That's one of my points. Nesta's Kingmaker sword. I think the Kingmaker sword is going to choose Cormac because it's been around the entire fucking inner circle. It was fighting Reese. It did not like Reese at all. Fought his magic off.
No, you're fired.
It was like, no, Reese was like sweating, trying to use his magic to pull it back from the scabbard, and he was like, it's fighting me. Yeah, because you're a fucking Valve demon, you asshole. It doesn't want you. You're not the king, okay? Cormac is the king. It's waiting for Cormac.
You're not worthy.
You're not worthy.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. I said his plan B was to use the word marks he had tattooed on his arm to save himself when the castle exploded, which flung him through the rift. The shadow thing that we already brought up. The void brings you to where you are most needed, what I brought up earlier. Also, the surname Donnell means world mighty, world ruler, world traveler. Thank you very much. Who the fuck else is using the surname Donnell? Olivia, I'll let you answer that question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. They're cousins, which is true because if Cormac is Moore's son, they're cousins. I said, let's talk about his. Go ahead.
Does he have to be Moore's son? Can he just be like related distantly to Moore?
Well,
She
so
has
here's
that-
where it gets weird because I said, let's talk about his supposed father, Morven. He also has the shadow magic, but I don't think he's Cormac's father. I think that he is Kyr's older brother. I think that Morven was the powerful one. I think that Morven chose to go through with the crossing, and that's why Kyr by default had to be steward of Hewn City. I said, we know that Kyr fought Hybern soldiers with his own shadow magic in Ecca War. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It says the
Yeah.
plumes of shadows, whatever. I said we know that Mor also has hidden shadow magic from that line. We also know that Morven's shadows flock like ravens, which is interesting, aka the bird that symbolizes the dusk court. We mentioned how Kyr's name means dusk, but Morven's name, interestingly enough, do you guys remember when, oh, it was the scene that I was just talking about with all the foreshadowing, when the dusk court is described, and it was talking about the Twin Peaks and how they were carved with the word marks, and how it was like surrounded by mist and sea and everything. Morven's literal name means giant peak and lives by the sea. It's the fucking dusk court. Just like Kyr's name means dusk, his name means the dusk court, basically.
Was the Dusk Court broken up into a bunch of islands then? I thought it was just the one island.
It was the prison island in Avalon. Remember they were tethered by the mist?
They were
volcanoes in Prithian. That doesn't make any sense. There should be at least or a
Yeah.
caldera thing.
But it makes sense if Morven is Kyr's older brother, because Hewn City is connected to the Dusk Court.
I guess.
And so Morven got the more powerful island, which was Avalon on Crescent City, and Kyr got stuck with the degenerates in Hewn City. And like the two kings and a queen theory that I said the other day. I said the Dusk Court prison island, Morven is king of Avalon, Cormac is going to be king of Dusk, and then Kyr's just a fucking idiot, so he's just a steward. But we're here.
He's like a duke.
Yeah, he's like a duke.
That's exactly what he's like.
Like a governor. He's a governor. Avalon was a chunk of the Dusk Court, tethered to Prithian by the mist. I think Mor and Eris world walked with their child and bestowed upon Morven an heir, because he didn't have an heir. Because
He was old and wrinkly.
he didn't have a lover. They did what was best for Cormac and took him away from the clutches of Baron, basically, or Kyr, because again, they nailed Mor in the fucking body. Whatever. So between the torture of the Autumn Court and the torture of Hewn City, they're like, let's get him out to like a better world, like the crossing that my uncle went through, and the crossing that part of my mom's family went through.
Also. Do you remember what was said about Mor through Farah's POV? Mor was a dreamer in a court of nightmares. She would want a better life for her
For her
son.
baby. That's what I said. Yup. I said, I think that they gave him to Morven, where he would presumably be safer. I'm thinking that perhaps, like, Morven, Morven, was more named after Kyr's older brother that was no longer there. That kind of makes sense. But I feel like when she knew Morven, or when he was there, he wasn't, like, as douchey, because after they went to Crescent City, they were all kind of like, they were all basically mind wiped by the Asteri, right, with the parasite and everything. So it was basically the Asteri's influence that made them all awful. Like even Einar, how ultimately like he chose the Asteri over his child. Like I feel like Morven wasn't like that to begin with, and maybe that's why she gave him an heir, Cormac, when he was like little. And over 50, 70, 77 years, stuff changes, I said what drives this point home is that not once is Cormac's mother mentioned, not by him or anybody else. He never mentioned having a mother, knowing his mother, so we can assume she wasn't in the picture, which makes sense if his mom is Mor.
Also, the Mac part means son. And I think both Irish and Scottish.
What? Oh my gosh. Well, and I guess if we're gonna go along with this, in Silver Flames, when like he's talking to Rhysand, right? He said, "I won't go as far as to give you my oldest." So was he talking
That's what
about?
she said. She said it's not Gwen, it's Cormac.
What I always
Yeah,
assumed
Gwen
it was
would be Cormac's little sister.
Gwen. I always thought it was Gwen, but maybe it is Cormac. What? I didn't know.
Right?
And the
He
thing
has
is,
to know.
if his hands on Cormac, oh my god.
If he
Oh my
mind
God.
fucked Cormac, what is he gonna do when the fucking Kingmaker Blade chooses this rando from Bryce's world? He would get pissed. We saw how pissed he got about the fucking mask. You should have swung Ataraxia at her throat. Excuse you? And the way that Mor was not in fucking Hofas.
She said bye.
She's like, oh fuck, Bryce is coming. I'm out of here. I'm hiding in Valahan. Truth, magic. Come on.
She would see too.
I said Cormac did say that him and Morven were related to Lauren and Rune because they are cousins, which makes sense because Mor's line is cousins to Rhys's line. If we are assuming that Cormac is Mor's son and Rune is Lauren's son, aka Rhys's sister.
And Rhys would parade Cormac in front of Nesta to get her to
Eris.
to get
Okay.
Oh no,
Okay.
you guys.
What if I find it weird that the firstborn thing was after Eris danced with Nesta? Is like, does he know some sort of prophecy? Because remember, like his flames were like reacting to her flames, and it was like really weird. I don't know. I don't know. Does he know? Does he know the prophecy? Is he like, oh? Because what if it was just? What if he wasn't actually planning on marrying her? But what if he was only saying that to get her to the autumn court to be like, okay, help me kill Baron. I can show you who your real mate is, or something like that. Maybe he knows that like his son was her mate. I don't know. Just a little bit of a.
That
I think.
episode of How I Met Your Mother.
And the fact that Nesta hates Moore is hilarious. You know. I said, yeah, the sword's going to choose another Rhysand, but like the sword fucking hates Rhys, so it wouldn't let him anyway. Moore and Eris have deep-seated secrets. Moore does not want anybody to know. Eris literally says that she knows the truth, but has not revealed it. And then what happens in Akasif? Cassian pushes him on why he left her at the border, and he's like, why do you care about ancient history? Like, just let it go, blah, 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 blah. He gets very testy about it, like Moore.
Yeah. And also too, like, remember when Rhys was like, Nesta, go marry Eris, and Moore's like, no, I'll do it. And it's like,
and also, how does Moore know the autumn court dances to show Nesta? That was weird to me.
mm-hmm.
Who taught her the autumn court dances? Were they dancing around in Valahan? Like, I don't understand.
Oh my gosh.
I said Moore has the hidden house in Valahan that not even the inner circle know about. So is this where she meets up with Eris to discuss things?
Like
Like,
Nesta didn't even, was very inquisitive. You would think she would ask more a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you know these dances? Oh, I just had to learn them. Really?
No, but her question was, what's the difference between a fae and a witch? And Moore knew that right off the bat.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. She's like, oh, you know, witches use ancient artifacts to expand their power, where the fae can only use what they have in their own reserves.
Here's another theory. Only those with witch blood are able to be remade from the cauldron.
Perhaps.
What?
Wait, but then Amryn was like changed. It was weird.
But what if Amryn has
Asteri. Valg. Yeah,
Valg.
true.
Oh,
The witches are half Valg, yeah.
Witches are half Valg.
Valg and fae, yeah.
Or 1/3 Valg. They're like Valg, fae, and a little bit human.
has anyone else gone into the cauldron? Wait,
But okay, what confuses me, which I don't know if Olivia's gonna want to hear this, but what confuses me is the difference between the witches and togs. Like I know that there's the blue bloods, the Krokans, and the Iron Teeth. I know that the Krokans are more fae,
wait,
So
I,
or more Valg.
So
my
here's the-
son is awake. So
Oh,
but this might be a good time for me to dip out because you guys are about to go all hardcore.
Yeah, but we're
tog
gonna
on
talk
me.
about Tanwyn. Can you come back?
I will try.
Okay. So what is the fucking difference?
okay. So there's Iron Teeth and Krokan.
Yeah,
They're
but then there's the blue bloods, right? With Petra.
Blue
and-
Bloods. So Iron Teeth witches, there's 3 clans to the Iron Teeth witches. There's the Blue Bloods, the Black Beaks, and the Yellow Legs.
Oh, those are just like last names, like I don't know, covens.
Yeah, like
So
cousins.
Iron Teeth is like the species, and then those are just like the covens.
Yep. And then
Fucking
Krokan
yellow
is
legs, I hate them.
Yeah. That's why just to breed with the Valg.
I will do it. What? Okay, bye. Weirdos. Fucking Baba Yellow Legs. She was such a bitch.
She was. And Ezra,
I don't know if I've
Or-
met Ezra yet. Did I meet her yet?
Ezra or Ezra?
Oh,
can't-
Eskra. Eskra. That fucking bitch, yeah. Isn't she the old lady too? Or is she just the mean girl? I forget.
She's
There's
the
two of them.
Oh,
Okay, there's
Bob-
her, like her grandmother or something.
yeah, it was her grandmother.
Wasn't that the one? They were the ones that was trying to like get Abraxas to fall out of the sky and like kill Manon or something. I hate them so much. So the Krokans, they're more fae, right? I
They're-
can't decide whether Moore is Iron Teeth or Krokan, but I feel like if she was Iron Teeth, that's why she could be labeled the Morrigan, and that's why she's like terrified. Like people are terrified of her on battlefields. I don't
Well,
know.
here's the thing. She likes red.
I know. And fucking
Which-
the red cape, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
And also, too, interesting about Krokans, every so often, like, they all have witchlings, which are all female, but only the Krokan queen can give birth to, like, a Krokan prince.
Like a male. I also
Cormac-
want. I know. I
Cormac-
also want to point out though that when I was first reading Tog, and it's the scene where they are bringing Aelin into the glass castle or whatever, Dorian is said to have 2 very specific belongings on him. One of them is the red cape,
Yes.
and the second one is
Is the
the jeweled hunting knife. Lucian's fucking hunting knife. You can't tell me that Eris did not give that knife to Lucian when he was a little kid.
You realize how many knives Lucian has?
I know, he has a whole collection, but so does Azrael.
Well, yeah, there's as, but
But like that
Lucian
was his
has
special knife.
Like, he has the bejeweled knife from Dorian. He has that one sword that Amarantha supposedly threw
Narbin.
out.
I said this. Oh, I wish Olivia was here because she thought, yeah. She was like, oh, that's kind of possible. I'm like, he has the fucking Dread Trove sword. I'm telling you, he has Narbin. I'm telling you. There's
And
no
here's the
way
thing.
he is the son of 2 starborn people and a powerful fire-wielding noble and someone who's affected by the Dread Trove and is not the one chosen to wield fucking Narbin. Come on.
Yeah, because Hellion saw the dread trove and he about wet himself.
He freaked out. Please cover it. Cover it. We went over that last time. Like, he was freaking out. Oh, perhaps my ancestor misused it. Okay. I don't know. And I find it funny that the only time it was unsheathed in front of somebody was with Feyre, which, you know who it killed? Fucking Brenna and Dagden, Hybern's niece and nephew, fucking Valak.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Which it would kill Reese. That's why he doesn't like Red Trove. That's why he doesn't like this stuff.
But I was complaining about this last night because Helion showed Reese the unlocking spell for the mask. Only Reese. Because Nessa's like, I don't want to know. And obviously she now knows she can summon it regardless. But it fucking concerns me that he knows the unlocking spell to the mask.
What if Reese
So bad.
raise everybody?
That's what I'm saying. I think his Valg is going to take over. And I think it's going to be a Dorian-like possession where he is seeing out of his eyes, but he's not acting himself. I think his Valg is taking over him.
I think so too. Because Ember is just kind of like, well, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
He's like, what the fuck? Like, lay off her. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, he fucking explodes the room in darkness. His eyes are black pits. And then his eyes were black pits in Akasif. Dark, unyielding death in those black pits.
Death incarnate.
Death incarnate. What
Yes.
the fuck? This is a whole ass family wreath.
Yes, it's
Like,
a corn dog.
I'm just like, so Reese is 5 parts. And again, I did a whole video on this, but Reese is 5 parts, which is why I think he's considered the most powerful High Lord. He's High Fae, Illyrian, Witch, Valg, and Starborn.
Yeah. But
So,
Tamlin is too.
Yep, Tamlin has the Starborn too, Lucian has the Starborn too, Helion has the Starborn too, and Lady Autumn. It's the day court, it's the night court, the day court, the spring court, and the autumn court, and obviously dusk, but which actually, now that I'm thinking of it, that's 5 courts, right? Hold on.
Wait, that's a pentagram.
Pentagram.
That's a pentagram. You know what? He's not a witch.
5-pointed star, 6-pointed star, 7 courts, 8-pointed star. That's why there's so much 7 to make up for the lack that there's no such thing as a 7-pointed star. There's 7 Asteri, there's 7 courts, there's 7 High Lords, there's all the 7.
Also, what was it? No, I tried.
Fucking pentagram, dude.
It blipped and then it was like, wait, no. Because technically there are 4 solar quartz and 4 seasonal quartz.
Mm-hmm. Which is 8.
Day, dawn,
dusk. And then spring, summer, fall, winter.
Yes. And then the middle ground. The scar, the middle, the scar
which is where
the bog is.
The bog, yeah. So I said that the middle is Prithian's version of Morath. That's where they bred all of the witches and the monsters, and that's why Vesperus wanted to go back and live in the middle. She was like, let me live, I'll just go back to the middle. Bryce was like,
we were in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
She was
a cottage in the middle. Yep, and she stayed young by feeding off people who crossed by it.
I always thought
Under the Mountain is in the middle, where the next
Yes.
Earthlight Core is.
Oh.
Under the Mountain and Ramiel.
And it connects to the cave in
Tamlin
Spring
Mm-hmm.
or Calamine.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I need her to fucking come back here for the Tamlin thing, because I told her that each of the 3 sister peaks leads to another location in the tunnel system, because we have Under the Mountain leading to, people are going to be so sick of me saying this, I've probably said it so many times. Under the Mountain leads to Tamlin's cave.
I'm just imagining like little Pac-Man going like in the tunnel system and the cereal is like bloop, 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 bloop.
This is where my brain is like, I need to be that crazy guy with the theory board, because we know from Feyre, which I don't know how the fuck Feyre knew this, but SJM wanted the readers to know this, so she just gave it to us through Feyre, even though there's no logical reason for Feyre to know. Feyre says at Ecca when they're leaving the spring court, when she's leaving with Lucian, that they could either go autumn, summer, and then she says we could have taken the tunnels under the mountain all the way back to the night court underneath the courts, but it's blocked off now. Bitch, you didn't know the tunnels when you were there.
But Eris knows.
Yeah, Eris knows. So, because Under the Mountain is in the middle, so it goes all the way from spring and all the way to night. So where does Under the Mountain connect to into the night court? Because I've said that this is exactly how Tamlin's fucking father got in there to quote-unquote kill the mother and sister without being detected.
Oh my god.
They went under the mountain.
Know about it, like when he was under the mountain and did Amarantha let him out and like he just went through all the tunnels?
Reese? Yeah, Reese knew the tunnels.
No, Eris.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still convinced that Eris conceived Gwyn on a
Yeah.
So he had to have known there were some sort of tunnels, but we don't have his POV. This is why I wish it was multi-POV, these books. But so I'm trying to think of like if it like makes, I don't think it makes a pentagram, but I'm trying to see what it makes. So we have spring to Under the Mountain to the night court, which is a line.
Oh my god, it makes it scaly.
Huh?
It makes it your scaly. It makes it your scaly. Oh my god. Because this is the middle. This is Under the Mountain. It goes down to the spring court. Ramiel goes to the prison.
No, Gramiel doesn't go to the prison.
Which one does it go to?
We don't know, but that's
Oh,
where the
oh, we
Taman thing comes in, because that's why I think it goes to the Gallian Pass, where the Valkyries disappeared.
So we go that way.
We don't know where the Gallian Pass is, though, on the map. We would have to check.
But
So it's
if
like
we
there's
know,
there's a straight line, and then it's the prison to Hewn City, and then it's Ramiel to wherever the fucking That's why I need a fucking map. I need to draw this shit.
but I think it's a Skelly.
Could be.
I think it is because it goes from under the
If
mountain
anyone
to
doesn't know what that is, it basically looks like a fidget spinner. That's how I describe it. Like the
fidget spinner.
It looks like a fidget spinner, basically. Sorry.
It looks like a fidget spinner.
Anyway. Hold on.
Fidget spinner.
But you know what that also kind of looks like, though? The Morrigan symbol with the 3 ravens in it.
It'll also show us where Ramiel's cave leads to. Yes.
Mhm.
It'll show us where Ramiel leads to. Which cave?
It has to be the fucking Gallian Pass. I swear. Where are the Gallian Mountains on the map, Sarah? We could probably figure it out if we could like print out the fucking map and draw it. I'm like almost hold on. I'm like so tempted to now. Hold on. Oh, someone actually has like a whole printed. Okay, I can't. Illyrian Mountains. Oh, that's helpful. Illyrian Mountains, Illyrian Steppes, the prison, the Court of Nightmares. Where are the Gallian Mountains? Where are they?
Wait, I feel like I remember seeing
So it's
something.
Illyrian Mountains, Illyrian Steppes. So what if it's a triangle? The Gallian Mountains must be over here, so it must be a triangle. That would make sense with all the 3 shit going along.
I could have sworn I saw on a map the Gullion Valley.
Let me look. Gallian.
This is a Gala effect. Like, there's certain things I remember that other people don't, and it's like, no, I remember it was there. And this is what
Book. Location unknown. No, it's not on anything. Mountain range located in Prithian. Or elsewhere in the world. I'm sorry? What? During the war, the Valkyries of the time fought in the battle at the Gallian Mountains. Tan went at the head, but they didn't come out alive. Rumor claims that the pass in the Gallian Mountains remains barren, as if still mourning the Valkyries who lost their lives there. No, it's barren because there's some sort of evil under there, like Vesperus, and I think that's what's trapping the Valkyries there and feeding off of them. Because remember, Vesperus says that, or Selene says that the prison is so barren because the evil that lurks there is eating from the magic. Vesperus was fucking there. I'm telling you right fucking now. Oh, are the Gallian Mountains on the continent? It could have to do with fucking Koshi. Is it Koshi? Are there mountains near his fucking lake? Is that what it is?
Probably.
Damn it!
Usually there are mountains around lakes.
I know. Hold on. There is a map that shows Koshi's lake. I know for a fact because I had to look that up the other day.
Because I could have
And
sworn
I did say, remember when the bone carver said that the cauldron used to be at the bottom of a lake in Lapland? I said Lapland is the town where Koshi's lake is. It has to be. Who took it out? Who took it out of the lake?
Hybrid.
Perhaps. Yeah, no, but well, I don't know, because the bone carver said trapped under a frozen lake, which I think that's going to be the whole Snow Queen, Swan Lake thing. Because she wanted to with the swans and Vasa's curse, and it's going to be all that shit.
Wait a minute, though. Remember when Feyre and Lucian were trying to get away from Lucian's brothers, and Az and Cassian did the whole Marvel superhero landing on a lake in the Winter Court?
Yeah, it was Winter Court. Oh, it could have been the Winter Court. That could give them a story. Snow Queen, I mean Vivian, that kind of makes sense. Someone actually put
Vivian is Lady of the Lake.
Hmm?
Vivian is also Lady of the Lake, or Nimue.
She could. Yeah.
Vivian.
I want their story so bad.
I think they have the same name. I have to remember my folklore. Ugh.
Someone actually said on Reddit, there's a thread on this on Reddit actually. One of the fairy tales Sarah wants to weave into Acotar, the Snow Queen. I find it interesting that the cauldron was kept under a frozen lake in Lapland, while Lapland is also a key location in the fairy tale. Here we go. I wonder if Lapland is where Koshi's lake is located, but then they also said the Snow Queen lived in a castle next to a frozen lake, which she calls the Mirror of Reason.
So like another Ouroboros?
Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, someone said definitely Winter Court. Koshi's lake is hidden amongst mountains and ancient forests.
I wonder if Briar find it.
I love Briar. Lund means grove in English, and the lake could be frozen if it's high in the mountains. The white birds were said to glide across the water like swans. Sounds a bit dangerous for Koshi and the cauldron to have been in the same location, though. Yeah, someone said, which I've kind of thought of this, but then I was like, they're both kind of. I said this to Olivia because I said if there's higher and like lesser Asteri, which the lesser Asteri would be the Valg, I said like, what if Koshi was pulling the strings to everybody? And someone commented, I can see Koshi using the King of Hybern as a puppet to do his dirty work for him, such as gathering the legs of the cauldron and restoring it, so it's all ready for him out there. But then, like, Miriam and Dracon took it, and, like, I don't know, they're boring. I I know that they're probably going to show up again. And like, honestly, their story should have just been in Hofast because we were supposed to know the whole history of the fucking Seraphim and Peregrine and Malachim, and that never happened. So I'm like, who
Yeah.
forget that fucking Draken and Miriam exist?
And
But why do they have the cauldron? Why is he trusting them with the cauldron?
yeah.
Why?
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
okay, they can glamour their land like the Night Court. Okay, and you had nowhere else to put it.
Wait a minute. If they're angels, and Reese knew them,
Hmm.
who else does he know from Midgard?
I don't know.
He knows
Well,
who
the,
they
well, the Illyrians were the first fuck ups of angels. They tried to make the.
They were the fuck ups of demons. They
No,
were
no,
trying.
Vigilus says that they were the first prototypes of the Malachim in Midgard. They had started in Prythian. They were the first ever try at making angels, but they came out with demon wings. So they were the fuck ups. And then they kept trying. So I'm assuming that that's the difference between the Peregrine and the Seraphim. And then they finally, once they were in Midgard, got it right with the Malachim, who were like their mindless warriors like fucking Pollux. They're like, oh, we finally made some with no conscience. Like, and then Hunt was like, the fuck you talking about? All of us. Baxian was like, the fuck you talking about? But that's why they said that the Malachim with the pure white wings were the soldiers of the Asteri. They were the ones that didn't have like any conscience or anything. Because Hunt was obviously an angel bred with other stuff, and then Baxian was an angel bred with a whatever hound, so he wasn't a pure angel either. That's why their wings are gray and black.
What was Amaranth's colored wings?
Fire. Dripping with flame.
So she wasn't any of those. She was just straight up Asteri.
I think she was like a Tog god, like one of the Tog gods or their children. I personally think that she was Loomis's child.
Oh.
The god of love, come on. She wanted to know what love felt like. He let her through the rift.
But why did
And that's why she's a princess. That's why the Book of Breathings calls her a princess.
Mhm.
She had the
And she,
crown of iridescent light, which Loomis had iridescent light.
yeah. And she just closes the book and she's like, that's enough of that.
That's enough, you odious thing.
Oh, and her silver eyes that seem to glow from some kind of different source.
Reminds me of Loomis. I totally think she was his kid. My original theory was that she was his kid with Vesperus. And that's why Vesperus was like lost to time, because they didn't want any record of her remaining. They tried to like scrub her from existence
And so
because all of Amren's brothers and sisters or whatever like wrought destruction and brought down whole cities for wrathful gods, which would have been Vesperus's Asteri family, right? And that's why Amren was terrified to go back to the prison. They have not caught me yet. They'll remember that they have not caught me yet. And then she's like, the wind and the stone, they will hear me. She was terrified to talk about it. And then Vesperus is like, everything whispers to me, the wind and the stone. And I was like,
that also kind of sounds like the House of Wind and how it interacts with Nesta.
in a way. Well, yeah, I mean, Nesta made the house with her powers, cauldron powers, so it kind of makes sense. Just like she made the bond with Cassian. made the bond with Cassian. But see, if she has 3 more books planned, I know that she's going to extend her contract, because she started the Snow Queen story with the Lapland shit. She started the Swan Lake story with Elaine seeing the swans in Koshi's Lake. Are we just supposed to think that she's never going to finish those stories, or did she just put it there in case she wanted to?
She also has Jurian's story.
Fucking Jurian.
And
I cannot figure out whether he's going to have a happy ending with Vasa as king and queen of the Mortal Lands, or if he's actually going to be the traitor who has been hiding the fucking Asteri spellbook this whole time.
But like it would make sense if he was the traitor, because he's been a traitor before, but like at the same time, it would not be surprising.
I know. I can't tell, because I want him to, like, I don't know. I like the love stories, obviously not Reese and Feyre, because gross, Reese is gross. But I like love, like, I don't know. I want him and Vasa to get together so bad, because I feel like it was foreshadowing when Lucian said like, oh, Jurian's like been acting like really kingly, and like he's, you know, keeping everything together while Vasa's cursed and all of this stuff in the Mortal Lands, and they're actually doing pretty well. And I'm like, are they gonna be king and queen, or like queen and king and like queen consort? And then when he was like, they're at each other's throats as they like to be, and he seemed all pissy. And I'm like, they're eating away after a long day. Lucian's not pissy walking into that cabin to the reek of sex. Come on.
Because he's Fae, he smells it even more.
No, I know. That's why he's pissed off. At each other's throats as they like to be.
He's a mated male, and he can't even do that with his own.
Nesta was like, he seemed pretty clipped about it. I was like, yeah, wonder why. That bond is really pissing him off. And all he's smelling is the reek of his fucking housemates.
Like, I gotta go take care of this, or I need a cold shower.
He's like, all he wants to do is sleep, but Vasa's only in her human form at night.
oh my gosh. So like, what if he like has like, you know how Alien? Well, wait, I don't know how far you got with Tom.
I'm in Empire of Storms.
Okay. So you know about the golden nightgown?
Yes.
Okay, so what if like Elaine wears a crimson nightgown for the day? and it matches Lucian's
I
hair.
need it so badly. So badly.
And
Dude,
instead of
I
one,
need-
it's crimson.
and also, I love to remind Elriels because they're like, she wore a cobalt dress. That's Asriel's color. I was like, no, it's actually the fucking decor color, bitch. Because she also wore amethyst, which is another decor color. The next time you see Elaine, she's gonna be wearing crimson, which is the third decor color, aside from
She's
white
also-
and gold, obviously.
She's also worn lilac.
Yeah, lilac, lavender, amethyst. Same
Yeah.
house. Yeah. And her scent is jasmine. That's a decor scent. Come on.
It's very
I
sunny.
want to know Lucian's scent. It's bothering me.
Yeah, we don't get that.
I told you before that I like to think it's like apples and cinnamon because his mom is apples.
Yeah. And cinnamon is one of more
Could be like a
scent.
spice for like. I mean, yeah, it's part of.
Maybe he's nutmeg. Can you imagine
It
nutmeg?
is. It has to be nutmeg because Bryce was. Oh my. No. Because how many times have I said that I think Ember is actually half Fae from the Day Court because she is Helian's fucking doppelganger. She is his female doppelganger. Yup. Yup. Onyx hair, amber eyes, golden skin.
So then who would Bryce be to Lucian?
Closer cousins than distant. Cousins. Cousins from both sides of her family, not just one.
It's a damn family wreath.
Because Einar is the redhead,
Yeah.
aka Lady Autumn's line. Ember has to be from Helian's line. Lady Autumn, Helian. Einar, Ember.
He has to smell
Why?
He has to
Why
smell
did
nutmeg.
Einar fucking want Ember? Why? He had a reason for everything he did. Why did he want Ember?
And Cormac knows.
I think Danica knew she was the Bloodhound. Because remember when Rune was like, she looked back and forth at us and was like shocked. And then he's like, oh, she probably figured out that we were actually siblings and not cousins. But we never got confirmation of that. I think
No.
that she figured out that they weren't related by blood. They're not siblings. Which sucks. Because I know that he would still kind of be her big brother regardless. But
He would. She would
because
know what
Lauren would have been Reese's sister, and Einar would have been part of Lady Autumn's line. And if Tamlin is Rune's dad, not Einar, they're not related.
and she would pick that up.
Mm-hmm. Yup, that's why she was looking back and forth because they were telling everybody that they were cousins, right?
Mhm.
So why would she look shocked looking between them like, I thought you were cousins, if she couldn't sense that they weren't? And that is probably what sparked her into looking into Bryce's family tree, which sparked
Yeah.
the Starborn shit.
It's like, wait a minute, you're not from here.
Like, you're not even cousins. What are you talking about? But she wasn't going to hurt her like that, obviously. So she probably did her own research, which is why she was tabbing the pages of that book in the library with the family trees and shit. Because Rune is not Einar's son. So they're not siblings. They're not siblings. So they're not blood related.
And she was probably like, you're not even from this world, dude.
I know.
I'm so confused. The
I
math
know.
ain't smelling like math.
Because Rune was the only person in that world that they knew of that had the starlight like that.
Wait a minute.
Because Danica didn't know, I don't think, at that time that Bryce had it. Because Bryce made her close her eyes, remember when she destroyed the bikers of that animal?
Yeah. And then that's why she tattooed the horn on her back.
Mm-hmm.
The dead
Yeah, which is why when she knew she was stronger than Rune. Yeah.
Wait, Bloodhound, isn't that technically kind of like truth magic?
In a way.
And
You can just bloodhounds can just sense like familial lines.
but it's also truth.
Relations, yeah.
And like if you think about it,
Which is why Eris and Gwen have never shared a scene yet.
and also too, Eris has the smoke hounds. Mor has the power of truth, so that family
And the
line
Assyrian horses.
and the Assyrian horses. Yes. All we need are the spiders.
Bryaxis is a Stygian spider.
Oh, you think he's in the stage? Wait, so Cassian's afraid of spiders?
A giant fucking horse-sized spider, I would be too. Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I'm just
Yeah, I did
so
this theory. I said that basically the rundown is that I said Maja has been making bargains with the spider for the silk to fix their wings because that's how she's fixing their wings so efficiently. And then like there's scenes where it's like their wings gleamed in the sun and it's like spider silk gleams in the sun. And that's why Maja looks so fucking ancient, but she's still alive.
I still think that Stygian spiders have like little frogs in their nests, just like how burrowing spiders in the wild keep little frogs in their nests to
Well,
clean
didn't it say that the Stygian spiders always had like little guard spiders around?
guard spiders.
That.
But
Yeah.
I also want to imagine them having like little frogs. So there's the little otters and the
Oh my god.
spiders have little frogs.
But when Gwen said, like, there might still be a piece of it left, like, it's the fucking guard spiders. They're still there. That's why. That's why.
Yes.
Dude, I am going to have to email you our clip from last night because we were just supposed to go over some of the quotes from Akasif, and it got super deep and super theory-y, and there was a lot of really good shit in it, actually. And we didn't finish it either. I was sad, but we have next week as well, so.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But I was just, yeah. But also, Bryaxis was this is why people think the swirling shadow was Bryaxis, because Bryaxis showed up as a swirling shadow, but Moore would have recognized it as like the creepy thing from the library, so I definitely don't think it's the same thing at all.
Right as you said that, my water bottle moved, and I'm like, what the heck was that?
Not a spider!
I don't
So,
wanna see
but I'm wondering if Azrael ever made a deal with it, because remember, it can make a deal and like kind of copy powers with bargains. Like
Huh.
how when Farron made the deal with it in, I forget which book it was, it took his
Okay.
shapeshifting.
Yeah.
It became a shapeshifter too. I was like,
Yeah.
huh, was Az making a deal with this spider thing? Because
Yeah.
remember, it's Azrael who says, perhaps he left this world. Excuse me? What?
Where? Oh.
Perhaps it fled this world. What the fuck do you mean, man? It is Ecca War.
Yeah.
Perhaps he fled this world. And Feyre was not specific when it asked for a window. She was just like, yeah, sure, we'll get you a window. Bargains
She's
are very specific.
Riddles and bargains. She is just really stupid when it comes to bargains.
The fucking window he was assuming is a rift to out of Prythian, basically. So he fled the world. But I love how Azrael's just like, perhaps he fled the world. What do you mean by that, my dude? How do you know this shit?
What are your saying, sir?
I know, sir. What is your mama telling you? And I had told Olivia when we first read Hofast, I said that if the Star Sword was buried with fucking Peleus, wouldn't Truth Teller be buried with fucking either Selene or Anelius? And why did we not see their tombs?
Maybe that's where Regalus's cave and the
Maybe that's where the other evil is in the Gallian path,
Oh,
perhaps. Because
It's still-
Vesperus was still in the prison, right? I don't know. Where did he get Truth Teller?
it still bugs me because I remember seeing the Gallian Valley or the Mountain Range or whatever it was. I remember seeing it on a Prythian map.
I'm so tempted to grab my Akasif now. But if I get up, you'll see my pajama shorts, so. Actually, they're very night court coat. Actually, they're lilac.
Nice.
They're lilac with stars. It's
Nice.
so Lauren and Tamlin coded.
Oh,
But yeah, it might be on Akasif, because that's where they talk about it, right? Let me look up the Akasif map. Akasif map.
I don't remember if it's in Akasif or Akamath or Akawar.
Yeah, the summer court and the spring court are right across from Highburn. Legit.
Oh yeah.
Right across from Highburn. So there is no way that Narbin didn't make its way to the spring court. Because where did Amarantha have it tossed but in the fucking sea?
Yeah.
Under the mountain.
What if Gwen got it? What if Gwen or Kat got it for Uncle Lucius?
Oh my god, I need that so bad. Dude, I would die for a Helion Lady Autumn Eris Lucian Gwen, like family dinner.
Yes. And Cormac.
I need it so bad. And like Bryce, and like that would be Bryce and Ember, and it would be so epic.
It's like, wait a minute, we're all related.
I'm gonna be really pissed though if Ember's actually human.
Yeah.
Because why does she look just like Helion? And there's just no way she would be that powerful if Ember was really human. There's just no way that Einar would want her so badly if she was just human.
And like
He
all
did
the
everything to further his plans. And Rune even says, like, you know, if he didn't know his father, he would have thought his love for Ember to be nothing but rebellious or something. So it's like, so then what did he want her for?
Why would he be rebellious? Yeah.
He wouldn't.
I
That's
mean,
why
she's
I'm like, why does he want her? I want her and Lauren to both take the antidote. I know that Bryce probably won't give her one because she thinks her mom is human, but I somehow want her to get a hold of this fucking antidote and take it.
Yes.
I told you last time that I think that she's Helion's like younger bastard sister by his mom, and that's why Cassian jokes about his mom being easy.
Your mother. And he makes a yo mama joke.
Yup, exactly.
I loved it.
Oh, I didn't send you. The last time we had this conversation, I told you that I was going to send you my little fic of Ember being the day court princess, and I didn't send it to you.
Oh.
It was a cute little thing that I wrote after I read CC2. It's literally called Ember Quinlan, Day Court Princess. and it's only like 2,000 words, but it's really cute. And Fury's kind of a badass in it, and Ember is a badass in it, and I really wanted this storyline to be in OFAS.
I'm still thinking of Lucian as having like a nutmeg scent.
He has to have nutmeg.
Yes.
He has to have nutmeg.
And guess what? Elaine also likes to bake,
Yes.
so she would use nutmeg. And nutmeg is also a hallucinogenic.
There is a reason that Lucian and Eris and more were not in OFAS. Because they're all the fucking connections. They would have
And
known. They already knew.
There either.
Hmm?
Elaine wasn't in there either. She just.
Is she with Lulu?
Aww.
He took her sailing on her boat. On her named boat from her dad. I want that too.
Oh.
Because she always wanted to visit the continent, and obviously now he's probably like, let's not go visit Koshi. But we could still sail around a little.
We can still go coast to coast.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell Farrah that I'm just sailing around in the dock, but we'll really go to the spring court.
Go watch whales or whatever lives in the sea.
I didn't catch that. Anyways, she said that cinnamon is an aphrodisiac, and I said, what if one of Eris's scents is cinnamon, because Moore's, as we know, is citrus from the Night Court, and cinnamon, and they're definitely rejected mates.
Yes.
Can I point out that in Akasif, and I'm going to say this to spite the Elriels, because I need to so badly. Their whole thing about, we need a rejected mate bond, and they need to be a rejected mate bond, and was pissing me off so badly the other day, because they keep saying it. And there is I'm pretty sure maybe I did. Hold on. There is a quote in Akasif that says, Cassian is basically talking about Nesta, or thinking about Nesta when she's thrown into the blood, right? And it says, here it is, I'm on my Kindle, but it's chapter 66, like the second to last page of chapter 66 on my Kindle, anyway. And it says, yes, this was the Eris thing after they were waiting for the people to come out of the castle or whatever. It says, Cassian and Azrael were beyond Rhys's and Feyre's Daemati range, though they would have no news of anything. But he'd know if Nesta were dead. In his heart and his soul, he'd sense it, would feel it. A mate always did. And the last line before the chapter break is, even if she'd rejected that bond. Thank you. Thank you. Nesta rejected the bond, and they still got back together. A rejection, whether they are real mates or not, a rejection is just a courtesy. It is just words. That is it. It doesn't do anything to the bond. Rhys says Elaine will feel him for eternity. Like, she will feel him his entire life, talking about Lucian. Whether she rejects him or not, they will always be connected. They will always be mates. They will always feel each other's feelings.
Eris always knew Moore's scent.
And why did he protect her from Kier coming to Velaris? Because he could feel her panic and her fear. And most likely when she was sobbing to Rhys the night before. He's like, you don't want to know what I gave to Kier to prevent him from going to Velaris. And then she was like, puts on her act or whatever. And she's like, I don't give a shit. Or no, that was actually when he was talking about leaving her at the border. And he goes, you don't want to know what I gave. And she goes, I don't give a shit. And then after he protected her from Kier, it's Cassian's point of view when he's like flying to, I think, the spring court or whatever. And he said, like, he didn't even care if Eris had protected her from Kier. He didn't want to know what he gave or whatever. And I was like, come on.
Secrets.
Followed by him sniffing the air and being like, she could have come in, I love that. Which is why I always say that Gwen is his daughter, because the first scene with her and Nesta, with the books and everything, like right after they fled Adis and Apollyon, they're walking, and like 2 floors above them, priestesses go by, and like Gwen looks up or whatever, and she's like, and Nesta's like, oh, like priestesses or whatever. And she's like, yeah, that's Deirdre. She's like, how do you know? Like, their hoods are up. She's like, oh, by her scent. I was like,
but you know what that also means? Nesta was flirting with not just Cormac's daddy, but Gwen's daddy.
Well, she was playing him, and he was playing along. Eris was lusting after Nesta more, which is kind of funny. And more slept with Lucian's daddy.
It's just all around weird.
But that's the funny thing. Like, I want Gwen to realize that Eris is her dad, and Nesta to be like, fuck no. Just her and Azrael, their reaction.
Oh my god.
The drama. She would be like, fuck no. Your dad asked me to marry him. And Gwen would be like, what?
I can
imagine. I didn't know.
Lucian would be like, you screwed my dad? What?
Oh my god, Azrael being in the middle of that I love it.
He'd be like, help.
Guess what, mate? Your enemy is my dad. Guess what, dad? Your enemy is my mate. I need it because it would force them to get along for her sake.
Yes.
And I could see her like standing between them, like, stop!
Well, Cassian would be
Your
there.
mate almost killed me! Your dad almost killed more!
Cassian started to like Eris towards the end of Exodus. He's like, oh, he's actually a pretty cool male. We might actually be friends. Wait until you find out that his son is Nate's actual mate.
I want this to happen so bad. If this doesn't happen, like, I'm writing this into my crossover fic, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I did a poll and I asked if people wanted Cormac to be Moore's long lost brother or Moore's long lost son, and son won by like 20%. I was like, so I'm gonna write it into my crossover. I can't wait. Have you gotten a chance to read it yet? Like the first 3 chapters?
First 3 of the fanfic?
Yeah. The Twilight Entwined one, the crossover.
No, not yet.
It is awesome. I don't know what spurred me in that first chapter, but I love how I introduced it. I started off with Cormac tumbling through the rift.
That actually makes sense. And he just, because he would be in pain, he would be injured.
Yeah, tumbling through the rift and becoming the sleeping shadow and seeing more and not being able to do anything. And then, like, finding, like, crawling and finding a thin place and then randomly ending up on Ramiel. And he's like, where the fuck am I now? And, like, I'm bleeding out and all this stuff. And then, like, the Valkyries finding him. It's awesome. The Valkyries finding him and, like, Nesta being concerned. And Emery is all like, why do you care? Blah, 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 because she's, like, really cautious. And Gwen is like, well, we can't just leave him here.
That'd be cute.
Hmm? Yep.
Should also, and he kind of seems familiar somehow.
Yeah, I love it. And so basically, you have like Reese raging about yet another alien coming into the world and being like, what if Bryce lied? And going off on Nesta, and Cassian not very defensive of her, as we see in Hofast, and then them kind of having a fight. And then
Another
yeah, and then yeah, it's I don't know. I just really like how I wrote these first 3 chapters. I don't know. And it's like the first chapter was like 5,000 words, and then the second chapter was like 6,000 words, and the third chapter was like 7,000 words.
At least you're consistent.
I was like, I need to stop. I cannot be doing 10,000 word chapters. That is not viable. Not.
You need
But
to do secret breaks.
yeah, but like the third chapter is Cassian and Azriel on like guard duty at Maja's infirmary because Cormac is there, and she's like working on him, sort of trying to figure out like what the fuck is this wound, because it's a bullet wound, obviously. And she like gets the foreign object out and starts like stitching him back together, or whatever. And there's other healers working on him, and Azriel is talking to Cassian about his mother and her seer powers and what he knew and what he failed to tell Reese and more at different points. And Cassian's like, "What the fuck, bro? What the fuck?" And then Moore finally shows up because Reese had called her from Valahan because, again, she's the apex predator, and she like shows up. And then basically Azriel goes in the hallway to tell her everything, and that's how chapter 3 ends. And it's like, actually, no, that's how chapter 2 ends. And then chapter 3 is Rune with his mom, giving her the antidote. And I also really, really, really like how I wrote the scene of her powers coming back. I'm so bad at descriptions. Like, you guys have no idea. It's a struggle. Like, I will spend hours on like a paragraph of descriptions. But when I tell you this came so fucking easily to me with how much I think of this on a day-to-day basis. She looked like a goddess of night. Like Rune was like stunned. And so her portion of the chapter ended with her final transformation and her wings coming out. And Rune is like, what the fuck?
We have wings? It's wings.
Yeah, so that was that. And then the second portion of the chapter is Lucian visiting Tamlin in the Spring Court. And it starts with him walking in on Tamlin looking at the mural again and ultimately telling Lucian the story about his Night Court lover. And it's all coming together.
Oh my god.
You are going to love it. You're going to love it.
All I can say is I hope I'm so sad. Like, I know Sarah is like a mom of 2.
I know.
And so the books are going to take a little bit longer than they have been in the past.
I'll be faster. I will feed the fandom until Sarah can. The only thing I'm questioning about the crossover fic is, like, I know it might anger some people like Olivia, but I don't know. Like, in my head, Lauren and Tamlin get their reunion. They have some time together. They realize that, you know, time has passed. She tells him about like Rune, everything happens there, whatever. It's like a big long thing. But in my head, like ultimately she goes back to Midgard to like be with their son and his mate and everything, because like his life is on Midgard. And with the way that she wasn't able to be there really as a mother for him growing up, she wants to be there for her grandkids. And like that's a viable excuse, I think. And
Yeah.
like Tamlin can't really leave. He's the High Lord. Like he doesn't have a choice. But now that Lauren has her powers back, she could visit if she wants, or she could bring Rune and the grandkids or whatever. So my only question is like if
Granddaddy Tamlin. Oh my god.
I know. So like if I do that, but then I don't know, like, do I still have Briar be his actual mate? Because I feel like him and Lauren were more like Lucian and Jasminda. And like we really don't know if Lucian and Jasminda would have actually ended up together because they had like teenage young love, right? We
It
don't
was
really
puppy.
Yeah, like she seduced him and they were fun and jokey and it was like a whirlwind type thing and then she died, so he never really knew. So I don't know, I kind of feel like it would be like that with Tamlin and Lauren. I think they absolutely loved each other. I think they thought that they were mates, but ultimately they weren't. But they still kind of got Rune out of it, in my opinion. So I feel like they would ultimately go back to Midgard. And again, they could visit if they wanted to, but I feel like Briar's still his actual mate.
I think so.
But it's just funny because it's like Briar's like in her late 20s and like Rune is like 70 and his child.
Hey, stepmom, are you sure?
Like, yeah, but like it's the Fae. I'm sure it's not that weird to them.
True.
Because Reese's mom was 18. She just turned 18.
Yeah.
And his dad was like 550 something, I think.
And he was just like, that's my mate. Like, here's another reason why
You're not clipping her. And he took her.
this is another reason why I kind of thought like Nesta is Volkmund at least. Because she's been described more than once like a wildcat. And what was Reese's
The
mom?
mom, the wildcat. I
Oh,
said that today. The wildcat thing. Yes. I was like, oh my God.
They are Volkmates at least Volkmates.
And you know that it was a witch's ritual to give the Weaver an object. I would bet you that every object the Weaver had in her cabin was given to her by a witch for safekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Which we still don't know what the vial is. We don't know anything about where it is now or
Which one? Sorry, which one?
the one in the song that the Weaver was singing when Feyre.
Oh, yeah. I always thought that it was Tamlin's fiddle, I think I said. But I don't know. I couldn't decode that song. And it was like we still haven't decoded the dream, the story that Lydia told Rune either. It was very similar to the Weaver, not very similar to the Weaver song, but the creepiness of it was similar to the Weaver song. I think that the story that Lydia tells Rune was something from Tog, and I'm going to have to pay attention. I'm gonna have to fucking pay attention. Because who was it? It wasn't an owl. Was it an owl? No, it was turned her into a stag. Stag maybe. So like, was that the story of the Lord of the North? Is the Lord of the North actually like female? I don't know. I don't know. It was the princess that got turned into the stag because this perv was after her, and then I forget the whole story.
Oh, it's the story of one of the nymphs in Greek mythology.
Perhaps.
I can't remember which nymph. There's.
And then the Weaver story was like one sister drowned another sister, and like
That's the
body
Twa.
parts.
That's the Twa sisters.
I'm not well versed in mythology that much.
No,
only like the
it's
basics.
from Northumbria.
No idea. You're gonna have to tell
Basically,
me.
basically, two sisters fighting over a knight, and the
Like
one,
usual.
yeah, they like the same guy, and the one sister drowns the other one, and then there's like this karmic justice, and the sister's like, oh,
Feyre
shit.
and Nesta being Reese's mates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't really care if Feyre died.
Well, Nesta did save Feyre, so
Yeah.
and that hates Reese's guts, and Reese.
Yeah, I know. I would not want them together anyway because Reese is awful. But
that could also be why like Reese is like really fucking hate you because like he wanted Feyre.
here's a little thing that just popped into my head, which I really would not like to be canon because I don't really like it. But if their mom was, this is kind of off of like my Elaine changeling theory. I don't know if you've seen that one where Elaine is actually a changeling from the Spring Court and the mother fucked with stuff. But
yeah,
technically, if the mom was going over the wall to like Callan May and shit, like she could have Fae kids out there. Like she could have other kids out there that she just didn't bring back to the mortal lands that maybe presented more Fae. So with that weird, creepy sort of thought, I don't know. I was gonna say no. I mean, I was gonna say maybe the Acherons have like a long lost sister, kind of like the Charmed thing. How like when Prue died, they figured out that Paige was their long lost sister who was given up for adoption. So that could be a thing.
maybe. Would Briar be the long lost sister?
Actually, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. That's actually a good point. I don't know. At first, I was thinking along the lines of Gwen because the Gwen Azriel Elaine thing, but then I was like, no, we knew Gwen's mother, and obviously her father was High Fae because her mom was mostly nymph.
Yeah, but like I'm thinking of Briar.
Unless no, I mean unless their dad was like Aelin and he could shift from his human form to his High Fae form, and just had innumerable amount of children during his travels he didn't know about.
Oops.
Because Aelin was half Fae, right? And she could shift from her human form to her high Fae form.
Yes,
And
she was.
Papa Archeron was the one who knew about the word marks.
That's true. What if Cormac told him? What if he ran into Cormac?
He could, like, if I don't know, like, if he knew his family history, it was like, maybe he knew his family was from, like, the Tog world or way back when or whatever, because we know that there has to be a Tog to Prithian crossing at some point because of, like,
I
Olena
still,
and all that. But,
I still say they're blue bloods.
yeah.
They have the coloring blue bloods.
But, like, would that be their mom, though? So their mom was a witch and their dad was half Fae? That's what it was?
Yeah.
Because
Kitty.
Papa Archeron was definitely the one with the Prithian connection. And I think
Oh.
the mom just took advantage of it. She was like, yeah, Calamay. You know? They're like, they were
Calamay,
like, my mom was hardly around. She preferred going out and partying. Like, she was definitely fucking going to Calamay. There's
the fucking part.
definitely going to Calamay. You cannot tell. That's what stemmed my Elena's a changeling theory and how Tamlin shifted her to look like Papa Archeron instead of the mom. But yeah, because I said that the 3 Fae that like were gonna attack Feyre, one of their first lines was like, "Oh, it's been a while since we've seen a human woman." Yeah, the last fucking human woman was her mom. The last human woman you saw here was her mom.
What if one of them is Elaine's daddy? That'd be so awkward. Like, Elaine, your real father tried hitting on me.
Gross.
Ugh.
Personally, I think that if that was the story that Sarah was going to go with, I think that Elaine would have been an orphaned child of one of the sentries that died during Amarantha's curse. Are you okay?
I'm fine. The phone just dropped.
Because
What about Andros?
that's what I thought at first, but then I was like, no, because Elaine was already born when he died. Like, Feyre killed him, so.
Well, yeah, like when he died, but not when he was alive.
Yeah, but why would he give his child up? Like, it wouldn't really make sense.
Unless he didn't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that's why he volunteered to go to see his child. Maybe
Well, they all volunteered.
maybe his child would have been the one to break the curse.
Yes, kill me, child. Kill me, kin.
Kill me, daughter. That way I know that we're going to be saved and my friends will be
Although
saved.
it would have been funny if that's why fucking Tamlin was like sniffing at them, like, "Are you sure you're the one that killed the wolf? Because I'm supposed to take this one back. Like, I'm supposed to take this one back to her realm." And that's why Elaine's all Springcourt coded.
Mhm.
He's like, "Fuck, why? Wrong sister."
You. Right? Because he did second guess Feyre.
He was like sniffing Elaine and Nesta. I actually, some other podcast was like, he was so disappointed that it was Feyre's scrawny ass. He was like, "Really? Not the pretty one?" How like when when Feyre showed up under the mountain and was like, "Amarantha's not even pretty. She's a fucking hag. What?"
I always thought Amarantha was pretty, if not like a little bit aged. But I also imagined her with like
She was like, she's
Ro-
extraordinarily plain. Like, she's nothing special. She's
Like,
not even that pretty for a high fae. Because Feyre was like, "Oh, I thought all high fae were pretty, and Amarantha's not even pretty." I thought that was hilarious.
like all of the villains are plain looking. Like
Hybern just looked like a middle-aged man.
just short and
The
squat.
ruddy skin and you know what would have made Cassian more interesting? If he was fucking Hybern's son. Because he had the tan skin and the shoulder-length black hair.
That's true. Oh, that would be awkward.
But he also had like black eyes. He had the Valg shit.
His bastard son.
That would have been hilarious. I wish we got, as much as I don't like Cassian as Nesta's mate, he is interesting as a character. And I've complained about this so many times. Again, I'm sorry. I know I'm repeating myself for everyone who's probably not even listening anymore at this point. But I just babble about the same shit. But the way that like Akasif was supposed to be Nesta and Cassian's book, and it was really just Nesta's book. We got that one scene of him like crying where his mother supposedly died, and like no flashback. Nothing.
Yeah,
And then
that's
he just
weird.
tells Nesta, "Oh yeah, when I was old enough, I tracked down my rapist father and like murdered him and everyone who let my mom die, and like made my mom's life a living hell." Okay, but who was he? Just a random dude? Just a random Illyrian brute? I guess.
Probably didn't even know his name. He's like, "Yep, you're my daddy."
Yeah.
Bye.
Like, how did you find out who it was? Do they have some sort of birth record in Illyria that you threatened someone for? Like,
Maybe Moore helped him,
maybe.
or
Oh,
Eris.
yeah, the truth power. Yeah, the truth powers. Yeah. More could have helped him, yeah.
Mhm.
But
Because like he did her a favor by taking her virginity, so maybe she was like,
You're
maybe he was like,
strange. I need you to help me track down my rapist father. So I
yeah,
can murder him and get the justice my mom deserves. Yeah.
and she would have been for it. She'd been like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, hell yeah. I don't know. I feel like they should have at least gotten somebody to actually tell him what happened to his mom, because they all just assumed that she was like worked to death and then like thrown off the cliff. Like the Weaver. Like that's the death his mom got.
Mm.
She was like worked to the
No,
bone and then thrown off the fucking mountain.
the Weaver had her neck
Well, neck
snapped.
snapped. But yeah, but Hybern like threw her body to the hounds or whatever. I was like, but like,
That's-
is that really what happened, or is that just what they're telling him because they hate him? Because he's like, I tried to get everyone to tell me, and like the best guess was just that they worked her to the bone and then they threw her off the side of the mountain.
What if she's not dead?
That would be a good story. Like, can we get like a good parent? Just
Yeah.
one.
Just one good parent.
Like, we have Azriel's mom, but we haven't seen her on page yet.
Hmm.
The irony of you covering your eye with the eyeball ring on your finger. It's like, you're like, stop it, Jurian. But anyway, yeah, like, I don't know. What if Cassian's mom? I don't know. I feel like she would have sought him out by now. Maybe they ripped him from her arms when he was 3.
That's terrible. And then he bullied Reese, which was fun.
Well, he was 3.
Yeah.
How can you even function by yourself at 3? He's like, they gave her like just enough time to wean me, and then they like ripped me out of her arms and threw me in the camp. He was 3.
How does he not have like really awful trauma and like personality disorder and like like how does he not have mental health issues?
But also, who took care of him until he was, for those 2 years, from 3 to 5?
Devlon.
Probably Devlon.
Yeah.
Is that why Devlon lets him get away with everything? Because he kind of has a soft spot for him.
Yes, Cassian is baby girl.
Because Devon's like grumpy, 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 but then like Cassian demands him to do something, and he's like, fine. What? You're gonna let the girls train after their chores? No, you're gonna let them train now. Fine, we'll compromise. They'll train now, and then they'll do their chores.
Because Cassian is baby girl.
He's his like adoptive child, like partially. No, he's his foster child from the 2 years from 3 to 5, and then he's like, okay, have fun being homeless. Goodbye, child. I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. I could just see him like picking him up by like his dirty, grungy shirt, and Cassian just being like, "Where are you going?" and him being like, "Bye."
Wings flapping and just
That's exactly how Devlon got him to fucking fly. He just threw him.
and Azriel's just like traumatized. Just like
And then Cassian had 5 from 5. So from 3 to 5, we can basically assume that Devlon kind of took care of him. And then from 5 to 8, no, 5 to 8, he was all by himself, figuring shit out. Like, that's a 5-year-old. That's a 5-year-old. They're in kindergarten.
Making mud cakes and throwing it at Reese and Azriel.
How is he alive? Like, what was he eating?
He was eating dirt and mud and sticks.
He would die. I kind of feel like that maybe like the moms of the camp were like giving him scraps. I feel like they probably do that, some of them. 5 to 8, he was by himself. And then 8 years old, Reese enters the camp, and he's like, perfect target. You look so clean.
You look so
An
clean.
heir of the night courtish. I had to mess you up. He like bloodied him.
Mm-hmm.
Learned how to fight.
Reese
then
has like 15.
And then 8 to 11, they hated each other, but you know, Reese's mom takes in all the orphans, so she took him in for those 2 years. And then Azriel is dumped there, and Azriel's like, what is the glowing thing in the sky? I'm used to darkness. Why are there people? Where am I? I don't want to go near any of these people. And they're like, fight! And he's just like a fucking deer in headlights. Doesn't know what to fucking do. Can't fly for his life.
He would sleep in the cupboard or sleep in the closet.
Yeah. And so, oh my god, I like his, like, I don't know. I like the story that Reese tells about how when his mom offered like Cassian a bed, and he's like, it's gonna swallow me whole. Like, he was afraid of sleeping on the bed. And she knew. So his mom's backstory was weird because she's like, I know what that's like. I promise it's gonna be fine. Just sleep on the bed. Like, what do you mean you know what that's like? Like, I know that you starved yourself so you wouldn't get your period.
She was like anorexic.
For like 8 years, yeah. But you were sleeping on the ground too? Weird.
Probably. They didn't.
I mean,
really great.
Yeah, females. So then like Azriel didn't say, well, I want his story, but Azriel didn't really say what happened when she brought him to the house, just that they like hated each other until they realized that everyone else hated them. And then they're like, we're probably stronger together if we actually, you know, band up and not beat each other up. But yeah, I feel like Reese and Cassian grabbed Azriel by the arms and flew as high up as they could and just dropped him.
You gotta learn.
That's why he was like, I will teach Farah how to fly. And they're like, well, we can teach her. He's like, no, it is harder when you're older. I will teach her how to fly. He's like, they taught me.
Oh, karma.
They totally just fucking dropped it. And I'm sure he slammed into a tree the way Farah did, and that's why he was laughing so hard. And she's like, that wasn't there. He's like, it looks like it's been there at least 300 years. I love that scene so bad.
I loved him sassy.
I can't wait for his story. I want everything. I get mad at SJM for not doing flashbacks that much because I love flashbacks. I cannot believe that the only flashbacks we have ever gotten were Reese and Moore. Annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Annoyed. None with Lucian and Jasminda at all. None. None with Farah and her crazy mother. None of Nessa and her abusive grandmother. None. We got Reese, which I think this was foreshadowing of Cassian's death, which Olivia was mad about. We got Reese's flashback looking through Illyrian bodies for Cassian.
Right. Oh, shit.
And we got Moore's flashback of the actual day on the border with Eris. And so while he didn't regret his actions, he did say that he deeply regretted like his words, because he's like, I gave you your freedom or whatever, and then Azrael's like, what happened after? And he was like really mean to her, actually. Like he said a lot of really mean shit. But like the guards were there, like Baron's guards were there, so he kind of whatever. He's like, there's nothing I've ever regretted except for that, which he admitted it, you know.
Which is more than Farah did.
But like those were the only 2 flashbacks we got, so we know that we're gonna see the history shit in Moore's book, Moore and Eris's novella. I think. That's why I think the Reese one was foreshadowing of Cassian's death, because he's like, I kept looking for Cassian's face. I kept looking for Cassian's face. I was like, okay, why aren't you looking for Azrael's face? Like, I know that he's off playing Spy Master for his father, so maybe that's why, but they had like separated them or whatever. So he's like, every Illyrian I turned over, I was like looking for Cassian's face, and I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hoshi is not going to go gently. I can
No,
tell you
not
that right
quick.
now.
Not as quickly as Hybern did.
No, I swear to God, he's going to be the multi-book villain. I think his whole thing.
He's like the final boss.
Yeah, I think his whole thing is going to be connecting all of the rest of the storylines, because they all have a connection. You have Elaine and Lucian. Elaine can sense the girls that he turned into swans. Lucian marked his target to Koshi and Akasif. And then you have Azrael and Gwen. Koshi said he wanted Azrael, that he's been preparing for him for months. You have Gwen, who is a nymph, and Koshi, who lives in a lake, literally. And then you have...
Oh my...
my
That's scary.
I keep telling everybody that they're going to be the Little Mermaid retelling, and Koshi's going to be like the Ursula, and Gwen's going to have to try to retrieve the black box that Elaine saw in her vision, because it's going to be under the lake.
That's not going to be.
And that's going to be like her first mission as a Valkyrie, but she's going to like have to go into nymph form, which is going to be a big thing for her, because I don't think she has since Katrin has died, or her mother has died. So that's that connecting thing. And then like Moore and Eris, we know that Eris is working with Jurian and Vasa, basically getting information from Koshi, because we have Baron, who is now allied to Koshi and the queens, and we have Moore looking for shit in Valahan to kick Koshi and the queens. So every single mate pair that has books left, basically, they are all connected to Koshi.
Mm-hmm.
This dude's arc is going to span 2 books and a novella. But this is also why that the Elriels are like, it's going to be Azrael and Elaine, and then the Moore novella, and then a Kingdom of Ash-like book with every POV fighting Koshi. I'm like, no, it's not. Because even Gwen as a nymph is kind of connected to that shit. We know the Valkyries are going to be fighting in this war, let's be honest.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Like, Lucian is connected to Koshi. Vasa's connected to Koshi. Jurian's connected. They're all connected to Koshi. So if you just have Elriel and then Moore, like, where's Lucian's storyline? Where's Gwen's storyline? Where's Jurian's storyline? Like, it just doesn't make sense to do it that way at all.
I still think the Valkyries are the swans. And I think if Cassian dies, he's going to find Tanwyn and try and just like rescue her, and she's going to be his downfall. And then he's going to die, and Nessa's going to be like, I don't feel anything.
The ultimate.
Am I supposed to feel something? And that's about that. Am I supposed to feel something?
Yeah, they could be. I mean, they could be the swans, but then who the fuck is under Ramiel?
Enalis?
What if the swans are actually, I can't believe I just thought of this. What if the swans are actually the original people of Hybern? Perhaps. If Koshi was really pulling the strings.
Or the daughters of Baron. Because they only had all of his daughters. He didn't want daughters, he wanted sons.
I don't think he had daughters, though, because of the Starborn thing. If anything, which I've said before, I think Eris was a twin, and I think the first born was not Eris. I think the daughter was born first, hence being a powerful Starborn. But I feel like perhaps he couldn't really like siphon off of like a baby like that or whatever, and he obviously would want a male heir, so I feel like he just killed her. And that's why Reese says,
or gave her to Koshi.
Maybe, but she would still be stronger than him, I feel like. So I don't think he would want the threat of her ever coming back. But we have the fucking scene in like Ecca War where Farah figures out that Lucian is Helian's and not Baron's, and how he's like, oh, Baron couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever. And then he says, if he could, he would have killed him as a babe, which I thought was a weird line. How would you know that he would just kill his child as an infant? Did Moore tell you something?
Or would Reese have done it?
Or
Because he
would Rhys have known?
because he has the same nose as Hellion.
Lucian? Yeah.
Mhm.
But like I'm saying, like if Baron killed the only daughter he ever had, and it was like Eris's twin, but she was born first, so she was more powerful, and somehow Rhys knew around that time or found out around that time, that's how he knew that he would have killed Lucian if he knew he wasn't his, right?
What if the twin was sent to Midgard? And what if that's how Eris knew to send Cormac to Midgard?
Hmm. If he found out that he had a twin that was in Midgard, that would be cool. Who the fuck would it be? Lydia? Is that why her mom wanted nothing to do with her? But no, because they said that Lydia looked like an exact replica of her mom, who was a witch.
Mm.
Because like there was no one else with fire powers.
How old is Enar?
Hmm?
How old is Enar?
He was like, I think he was like, I don't know, probably
300.
Yeah. No, I think it was older than that. Let me look. I was gonna say 500-ish, but I don't know. 400 plus. It was just a guess.
Maybe the sister was Enar's mom.
Or the twin was just Einar. Eris is 540.
Mm. Mm.
Ooh, could you imagine if Einar was Eris's twin? But he had the golden skin. Like bright. Oh no, he didn't. Ember did. Never mind. He didn't.
Mhm.
Hold the fuck on. I thought he was like Helian's age. I fucked that up. Hold on. And he like had the same personality. Well, no, he was evil like Baron. That's why they kept saying that he was Baron's brother. But what if he's Baron's
Mhm.
tall, muscular man with an impossibly beautiful but intense face beneath his long wine red hair, the exact same shade and texture as Bryce's amber eyes? Oh my god! Wait! Why did I never think of Einar being Eris's twin? We thought of them like maybe being brothers, or one of the brothers that Lucian killed and Tamlin killed.
You know how sometimes like people will name twins starting with the same letter?
Einar and Eris.
Mhm.
Actually, what does the name Einar mean? I don't think I ever looked up his name. I swear to God, if it means fucking Discord, like Eris. Oh, it means one warrior / battle leader.
Which is still worse.
Well, so the theory before Hofast was that he was one of the brothers that Lucian and Tamlin killed. Which, if he's only 400 something and Lucian's 300 something, he would have been older than Lucian. And that actually does make sense. Because if
More
Lucian
is
used,
500. More is over 500 years old.
Yeah.
Eris is over 500 years old.
But if Lucian used Narbin to kill him, Narbin is older than Gwydion.
Ooh.
What if he thought he killed him? But I don't know. Did he like disappear? Did he think that he just winnowed out and he never showed up again?
Maybe.
Oh my
Einar's-
gosh. She is gonna be so sad she missed this theory.
Yes.
Amber colored eyes, like Eris. Long, thin nose. I don't think Eris's was ever said, but due to his age and status, and you know what Ember says about the Autumn King in the bonus chapter? She says compared to Rhys, he was a child.
Hmm?
He has his own enhanced senses, physical abilities, healing abilities. Obviously, the fucking fire. Powerful, universally respected, and feared. He made the drop. So, he made the drop.
That also means that the brothers can't kill him if they find him.
But then, like, actually, so if he's not just one of the older brothers of Lucian, if he is Eris's twin, remember Einar killed his.
He's the heir.
He killed his first son too. I don't know how that relates, but is it like the getting rid of the first Starborn? I don't know. Einar met Ember when she was 19 and started an affair with her. Okay, Feyre and Rhys.
Yeah.
He was deeply in love with her and wanted her to become his queen. Why? He became very territorial, which led him to being physically abusive. Hello, Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Baron. Einar has a mixture of love and hatred for Ember. Kinda sounds like more an Eris. He hates her for leaving him and marrying Randall, but at the same time deeply loves her, regrets his actions that led her to leaving him, but will refuse to admit his mistakes. Baron. There's just no fucking way Rune is his kid. I'm sorry. There just isn't. I will never. I don't know. The origin of the name Einar comes from the combination of the Old Norse word ein, meaning alone, and ar, meaning warrior. Single warrior. is sent as ashes and nutmeg, by the way.
Not okay.
Einar stated that he would have burned Avalyn to ashes if he could. That's interesting. But him and Morven were buddies, weren't they? Why would he have burned Avalyn to ashes? Interesting.
Maybe finding out that Cormac is not Morven's.
And that Rune is not his. That's why he kept telling Rune, no true son of mine, but blah 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 blah. And you're the son I was burdened with, not the one that I needed. And all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
What if it is his twin? Like, I'm going back and forth between, like, is it just a brother like everyone thinks, or was it Eris's twin? Because the only name that actually means twin in any other language is Tamlin. And I've said that I think that Flynn's mom is Tamlin's female twin. The blonde hair and the green eyes and the spring court magic. And that's why she married the Crescent City Lord of Spring.
Dang.
In Aramaic, yeah, his name means twin. Someone goes, I swear to God, someone commented on that reel. They go, I swear to God, if Sarah Jose, Tamlin's twin, did that to Feyre and not Tamlin, I'm gonna go insane.
That would be messed up.
That would be funny though. Yeah. But like all these people getting trapped in Crescent City is very weird. So like if we have Einar being a brother or Eris's twin, and we have Tamlin's twin being Flynn's mom, and we have Lauren being Rhys's sister, they're fucking like
If to canon, Lauren and Einar paired up, and Lauren is Rhys's sister, and Einar is Eris's brother, that would also make sense to why Mor and Eris would be
mates. Yes. Yes. I find it funny that like there was no mention of like mates between Einar and anyone. He just loved Ember. Like it was more of like a creepy obsession.
They try to make him seem like Tamlin, like how everyone sees Tamlin.
Yeah. Except he like literally killed his first son.
Very much like Baron.
Perhaps. Yeah. Eris appearance. Presumed to be the heir of the Autumn Court. Which is another thing, because remember he asks for their bid. That was based on my theory that he was actually Helian's son too, but I knew that Lucian was more powerful than him, but
He could have asked for the bid because Einar is the true heir.
Eris confessed in Ecca War that he had no part in the execution of Jasminda. Yeah, we know. Where's the appearance? Here it is. Long red hair, amber eyes, pale skin. That's it. That's all it says. Feyre notes that his hair was left unbound and describes it as a silken drape over his well-tailored cobalt jacket. It's again cobalt. Silken, silken, silken. Him and Einar and Bryce. And Lucian, hopefully at some point. I need... Lady fucking Autumn, first of all, what is your name? And second of all, what do you know? What do you know? She has so many secrets. Between this fucking mother and Azriel's mother and Rhys's mother, what did they know? There's too many secrets. I can't keep track. There's too many.
And the Weaver is dead, so we can't really find anything out from her.
Yeah. The Weaver is dead. Conveniently, the Bone Carver is dead. Rhys got rid of him, too. Eris appears to play act to achieve his goals. And the fact that Eris's like motto is like mix truth with lies. Where the fuck did you learn that from?
Your twin brother.
Or your mom, because
your mother.
Your mother. Because he's like, oh, I'll tell Baron what he wants to hear. I'll give him just enough information so that he can't prove that I'm lying. But I mix truth with lies. Always mix truth with lies. Clever. But also the fact that he's always called a snake. Like, that's so sad. But that's another thing, though. Mor is Human City, and like a snake / dragon eating its tail, and then like Eris always compared to a snake.
Oh my gosh. That's cool.
And then like Azriel was the one who like had a crush on Mor for the longest time, and then it's like his shadows were like snakes ready to strike, or like vipers ready to strike. I just thought that was a cool little contrast there. Let's see. Yes. Eris asked for Nesta in exchange for her hand in marriage. Cassian notes that there was something under the offer aside from lust, but didn't know what it was. There's no way it was marriage. He needed use of Nesta for something, and it was to his dad. No one could. Also, I want to note that he still has that whole armory of ash bolts, which is technically illegal. Because remember when Nesta's like, or is it to kill a certain High Lord of Autumn? And he gets like super pale and he's like, don't you tell anybody. And they're like, then fuck off.
don't reveal my secrets, please.
I
I'm trying to
know.
this accordingly.
She's like, I wonder why those soldiers had ash bolts, Eris, your soldiers. And he's like,
Damn it.
are you building up something for a certain High Lord of Autumn? And he's like, shit.
Sweating. He was straight up sweating.
He always mixes some truth with lies under his father's torture to make it that much more believable.
Wait a minute. He mixes truth with lies. Also a Morgan thing.
He's the lies, she's the truth. I love it.
But then she also lies.
Yeah.
And he reveals truth.
I
They're
know.
vague.
It's so May-coded. He shows a wounded side to him. Eris squirms multiple times, most likely from lashes on his back, which still have not healed, alluding to the assumption that Fabian must have been used. Oh, I wrote this. I wrote this. I wrote this whole part in Eris's wiki. I forgot I did that. Yeah, because, like, this is days after, and he still hasn't healed. And I think this is why Baron is so mad that Nuon made the Fabian antidote. Because remember, Eris is like, I'll take it. And he's like, no, you won't. He got so pissed. Because that's how he tortures his sons, with Fabian lashes. So they don't heal right away. He maintains that the Morrigan knows the truth of his actions, tells Cassian that he isn't the person he wants to explain himself to. So I always thought that that was like Gwen. But maybe it's Cormac. Because he's like, why won't you just tell me why you left Moore at the border? And he's like, you're not the one I want to explain to myself to. And he's like, well, I doubt Moore will want to listen. Like Cassian just assumes that he's talking about Moore.
Yeah.
Hello, we're back. It is daytime. Shocker. But we wanted to finish up what we couldn't finish up yesterday, the Tanwin stuff and everything. But Ecca has some thoughts first, so go ahead. Finally, we can talk about.
I forgot that. Like I forgot that Miriam was made, and I think it's chapter 16 in Ecca where they're opening up the the book of breathings or breathings. Yeah. And Farah is thinking like, oh yeah, Miriam was made. And I'm like,
yeah, Amryn was like, there's only been like, other than me and you, there's only been one other made being, and it was Miriam. And then it's said later on that Dracon used an ancient artifact to bring her back to life, but she gained immortality, but she's still mortal. So it's like she doesn't have like the high resistance or the healing or anything of the Fae. She just has like immortality. She just won't age.
So here's the thing.
I think he used the mask.
Here's the thing though. Remember my theory about only witches can be made, or like anyone with witch power or some kind of witch power can only be made. Well, Miriam was made, but an artifact was used to help resurrect her. And when Nesta asked, what is the difference between a fairy and a witch uses artifacts.
Yeah.
So she may not be a witch, but witch power brought her back. So witch power and witch bloodlines have something to do with whether someone is made.
Are part witch?
What?
Does that mean the Seraphim are part witch then? Because Draken is like full Seraphim. Or
I mean, it's like Valg witch, Valg and witch. So it could, because remember Amryn was made too, and she's what we think is a scary witch Valg. So
I still want to know how the
could be
frick she bound herself. She's so.
Well, wait, I thought
just like this little fiery orb.
I thought we were going back and forth on her being Asteri versus. Wait, what were we saying? We keep getting confused with Valg, Asteri. Yeah, with Amryn.
No,
someone was saying.
Yeah, so we don't know if like I thought that maybe she was the daughter of Vesperus and Loomis, which I told.
Okay.
So she would be part Asteri and part Tog God, which is why she's like the princess.
Oh, we talked about Tog Gods. That's what it was.
Yeah, because Loomis had the iridescent light and she had the iridescent light crown and the fire and the love thing. Yeah, the whole story of her being like, I wanted to know what love felt like, and I'm like, are you the daughter of Loomis?
You realize that Amryn may have a role to play with Elaine if that's the case, because sunlight and love.
What do you mean? Wait. What do you mean?
Light. Is this why Amryn also likes Lucian? She has an affinity for like, oh, he's the handsome one, and oh, what a clever mechanism, his eye. Like, she likes Lucian.
She's dropping hints. That's what she's doing. She's dropping hints like, hey, y'all kids don't pay enough attention, and I'm a crabby old cat, and you guys are in my apartment. Go away.
So like, why? I don't get why she's so into making Rhys High King though, because he's all darkness. I don't know. She's confusing.
But they're witches, right? Like,
yeah, he is part witch.
If we all go
part witch.
on that.
Although, if you think about it, if she is Lumos's daughter, and her magic is fiery ball of light, she gets to shine brighter if everything is shrouded in darkness.
True.
Bad way to think about it.
True.
Interesting.
She can conquer through Rhys.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm afraid of. Because she was like, you better be High King. But that sword, as I said, was not letting him hold it.
And he was like so uncomfortable with it, which was funny.
He was trying so hard to unsheathe that blade, and he was like, it doesn't want to. Yeah, no, duh. Because it doesn't want you to be High King.
So this is going to be interesting because either in the next like upcoming books we're going to start seeing, because like remember she dropped that hint, I can't remember if it was Akasif, or it was even before that about the middle, and there's like witches in the middle that we've never seen, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Yeah. Do you guys remember that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So are there
Wait.
actually witches
Well,
in Avatar?
I was saying how I think that the middle was like Marath and Tog, and that's where they bred all of the monsters and the witches and the Illyrians to begin with. Because as I said before, remember I said Vesperus wanted to go back and live in the middle? She was like, don't kill me, I'll just go to the middle. Yeah, okay, so you can what? Build up your army again?
So she could hang out with Strega?
Striga, yeah.
Yes. Because she died so
Yes.
easily too. None of the
That
other
pissed
armies.
me off.
Which is
Yeah.
another
Pissed me
reason Reese's
Pissed me
mom
off.
is so sus.
Just cracked her neck and threw her off the cliff.
No, he just like what?
I was so mad.
Oh,
I'm so
I was
mad.
furious. She's like looking up, eating from like drinking someone's blood, and he just comes by and snaps it. I was like, what?
I imagine him, like, I imagine Hybrid just skipping along the daisies and just, like, decapitated heads, and he's just skipping along and cracking her neck.
He
and
was
she's
like, what a pretty, whatever, queen or whatever. What a pretty,
I know.
like, cupping her face, and she was like all into it, and then he was like, but
She was all
again,
into
Feyre says that she would have just come back to life if he didn't throw her to the hounds.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, you think I'm pretty? And it was just like, distractions.
But I did like that foreshadowing though, because the Bone Carver did say that the Ouroboros was her mirror, remember? And that she used to spend all day looking at herself in the mirror, back when they lived in their dark palace in their world and everything. And I loved that foreshadowing because of course she would be tricked into getting her neck snapped if Hybern was like, you're so pretty, because she was like the most
I stand a
egotistical
vain
person.
queen. I stand a vain queen.
But that's why I said that I thought originally before Crescent City that the three death gods were where Az, Mor, and Rhys's line stemmed from, because I thought the Bone Carver
Yeah.
was Rhys, I thought Striga was Mor, and I thought Koshi was Az, because Az has Koshi's shadows, the Bone Carver says Rhys is his favorite, and Striga and Mor had the Ouroboros through her family line. It says it's an heirloom of their line. So
Mhm.
at some point, is it just like, oh, all Valg are kin sort of thing? But it confuses me because the Bone Carver specifically says Striga is his twin.
Yeah, but
So I'm like-
Strega is also kind of like that really cool auntie.
Like the really
Sings
creepy,
creepy
like goth
songs.
aunt.
Right. Right.
It just blows my mind because it's like I always wonder if she's somehow related to Reese's mom or they were good friends or something. Because
That's what I was
for
gonna
her,
say. Maybe it might be through his mom.
it might be
that
through her mom, but also that quote we were talking about. Do you guys remember when it was like Rhys was like, "I love family reunions" or something? We just talked about this.
Yes, we did.
When Feyre brought Bryaxis and
Yes.
the Weaver and the Bone Carver to the war, and like you read over it and you're like, you don't think much of it. Like you
Here's
think
the
he's
family
talking about
reunions. Yeah, bitch, because you're Valg. Because you're
Oh,
Valg. I see. That's the kind of stuff where, for a second, I'm like, Sarah J. Maas is a genius, because anyone's gonna just look over that.
Yeah.
And be like, oh,
Sometimes
he's
I feel
talking
like
about
she's
the
a
twins. No, he's talking about him too.
Because you think what?
Sometimes I think she's a genius, and other times I'm just like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like this hot cold relationship.
I know, it's ridiculous. Like some things I just cannot wrap my brain around, and then some things I'm like, this foreshadowing was fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Striga one I just talked about. I don't think we've ever talked about that before. But I feel like there was so much to unpack in the Bone Carver's monologues, and people are just like, she'll tell us when she'll tell us. It's too much to unpack. But like I'm the type of person who I'm like breaking down every line, and I'm like, okay,
Looking for
so
patterns.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, the Dusty Plain, that's the same world as the Asteri, as the same thing that how Rigelus explained it. So the Tug gods and the Death gods and the Asteri all had to come from the same planet. And then he was talking about, which me and Ecca talked about last night after you had to go, how the
Yes.
cauldron was in the frozen lake in Lapland. And it's like, was that Koshi's lake? Was it a Winter Court lake? Is that what brings the Winter Court into it? And
Was that the Winter Court Lake that Feyre and Lucian got on, and
Yeah.
Az and Cassian did their whole Marvel superhero smash
Yeah.
into? And then in Aquawar, I also found where I was trying to look for the dresses that Nesta found, and I only found one of them so far. But I saw that Elaine's first outfit is a moon white silk dressing gown, and her skin looks pale like winter.
mm,
Is she the snow maiden? Or is she the owl? Is she a swan? What is she?
shapeshifter.
What is she doing? We're all, and you know what's funny is we're all focused on her like going back to spring, but like maybe I don't know.
I think she's going to winter.
Really?
Oh my
She
god!
could.
Oh my god, that actually makes sense because that's where Briar is, and that will lead into her and Lucian helping Tamlin in the Sleeping Beauty thing, the Beauty and the Beast leading into Sleeping Beauty, because they're gonna have to bring Briar to him to wake him up.
Yes.
She agrees with me.
I know.
And swans
agree that
are a
Briar's
symbol
his
of love.
Yeah.
Swans
Don't you agree
are
that
a
Briar's
symbol
his
of love.
She agrees with me, Olivia.
Do you seriously think Briar is Tamlin's mate?
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Feyre is beauty, right? Feyre is beauty. Briar is literally briar, like a briar bush, like a thorn
Aurora.
for a rose.
Aurora, Sleeping Beauty, reverse Sleeping Beauty.
I didn't even think about that.
There is the sorceress that
Yeah, Feyre is the sorceress.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be. So I think the original Beauty and the Beast trickled down to when, Feyre cursed Tamlin, whatever. Tamlin's currently the Beast. I think in his Beast form, he's going to fall asleep. I think his magic is going to be kind of depleted, but not fully, so that he loses the court. But his Beast form is just going to turn him back into male form, and that's going to lead into the Sleeping Beauty storyline because Lucian's just going to find him, and he's not going to be able to wake him up, and he's going to be like, "What
And
the
spring
fuck
is
going
dead.
on?" And Elaine, if she has visions of the Winter Court, that brings in Briar should be able to tell him who Tamlin's mate is.
Do y'all remember the well, not really a selfie because it was showing her back, but Sarah took that picture of her back and her backpack, and she was shrouded in winter.
Yeah.
Yes. But what would bring Elaine to the winter court? I don't even understand.
Briar! That also connects
Briar.
her to the spring court.
And Koshi. And the swans.
Yeah, that connects
Wait,
spring and winter.
Is Koshi's in the winter court?
No, he's on the continent, but
He's on the continent.
No,
But
see,
you
that's
gotta
the
fly
thing.
her.
That's the thing. Is the continent like the solar courts? It just has all of the seasons because it could just happen to be winter.
That was never explained. I hope
know.
Moore's book gets to explain that a little bit.
But actually, do you remember in Akafas, she said that she was like heated from her leathers or whatever, but wasn't it kind of actually chilly because she wanted to put the fireplace on? So that means it's like leading into winter. Because Akasif, it jumped to spring, so I'm assuming the next book might open with winter.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm all thrown off.
Especially because Crescent City 3, if it was 6 months later, would have been fall, almost winter.
Okay, I'm on board with the timeline. Cool beans.
I like it. I like it. And I'm intrigued. I love the middle. I'm intrigued. I'm curious. All these, so I feel like we got all these undercover witches, is what I'm thinking.
I hate so much that you're a Briar hater. I hate it so much.
I can't get behind it. I'm sorry.
How?
It's because, listen, I love Tamlin. We all know this. He needs someone, and I know you always yell at me about this. Every time.
We don't know who she is.
She's just that special. Like,
She's got witch blood.
She has witch blood. She has to.
does she, though? Does she?
She was made.
Maybe.
we
She was
know
made
that
into high fae.
Maybe. We don't know that.
Maybe.
Feyre just
It is a theory.
assumed she was human. But
Feyre
even
is
if,
pretty short-sighted. I
but
agree with
the
that.
witches
Very.
look human.
So, okay,
No.
so don't tell me, because I know you both have heard so much of talking about me.
Don't tell me, but I'm going to ask you.
Well, is it possible that the Archerons are, and I think Ecca and I have messaged about this too, like a long time ago, and you and I have talked about it, that they must be witches.
Yeah.
But so why do we not see any witches at all so far anywhere? That's what I'm curious
We
about.
do. Nesta
Because they're in
and Elaine.
hiding.
They
They're in
must be in hiding. Why are they in hiding though? Because they'll be killed by the Fae.
Where?
Yeah.
Fantasy racism.
The Fae racism. The Fae hate
So
them.
did the witches
Yeah.
merge with the humans in the Mortal Lands then?
That's what.
Or are they the bridge?
Not really mortal lands. What if it's actually like the witches were sent, like all of them are just witches or have witch blood in them? I don't know. In that little village, in Fair's village, because it's weird. Like I get they were.
But then you
slaves
have
and
like the
stuff.
whole Claire Better storyline.
I was
and, like,
thinking of her. I was so mad they didn't bring out her body and bury her. It was just rude.
she just fucking left her on the wall.
I just want her to like get some revenge. Like I want someone from Claire's family or something, like a younger sister to let's finish
We
that
need
storyline.
Reese's mom back
Yeah.
to bring Claire Better's ghost to the forefront.
Maybe Eris brought her body back and decided to plant her near the forest house. It's like, here, this is something pretty. You get to be shrouded in something pretty.
Yeah, right. Baron would be like, I don't even like live humans in my court. I don't want a dead human in my court.
Maybe he buries her in a tree. I don't know. She
Oh,
becomes a dryad in her next life.
It's wild.
it's crazy. I just can't figure it all out. I don't know.
She's so good at omitting like such important details so that we can't figure it out. I'm convinced.
I know.
She always like
She's
does
like
that.
playing the super, super, super long game. It's like, give us something. Something.
I know.
Anything.
She's been posting more
A little.
stuff about like people reading her books, and it's just like, okay, and
I know.
Yeah.
you gonna give us any more about Spring Court?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The theory that we just came up with about it now being in winter and possibly dealing with Tamlin and the Sleeping Beauty thing. She mentioned Spring Court specifically
Yeah.
because people were commenting on
She was
Spring Court.
posting all about the spring court, and then she was so it was the spring court stuff, which
Mhm.
came first, and then it was her Aka what with the winter
Yeah.
court stuff
Wait, it was the Aqua with what?
when she was up north with the winter
Oh,
scenery.
with the winter. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it was like nothing for Cal and May. Still mad
And then
about that.
Bloomsbury released a statement saying that unless it comes from our mouth, like out of
Yeah.
Bloomsbury, don't think anything of it, which I thought was kind of like obnoxious
They're
a
like,
little
well, there's
bit.
no new book before at least February 28th, so.
Yeah.
But her birthday is in March, so there's nothing saying that the book isn't going to come out around her birthday
But they would have
True.
to put out some sort of like, I don't know. I feel like they might announce something in October. I don't know yet.
or September.
I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. It was just weird to me because I feel like I told Melanie this. I feel like that statement about Bloomsbury was kind of weird because it was like, don't pay attention to like SJM's like stories. That's how I interpreted it. Like, you'll hear it from us if you're going to hear a book title or a book date.
Was she being difficult again?
I don't know.
Oh man.
I hope she just does her own thing. I want her to just like give us those Easter eggs on the Instagram story. And she's been silent ever since. So,
She's been silent ever
I'll be right
since Josh posted that photo that he had to take down because there was like a slip of a clue about notes about the acotar series, and like since then he hadn't been posting, and then I think recently he had posted something, but I think he got in trouble for it.
wait, what did he post? I didn't even see what he post.
He posted a picture of like a cake or something, and then in the background there was like, if you zoom in you can see a little notebook, like little cultural flip notebook, and it was like acotar TV notes, or like Hulu notes or Netflix notes. And I'm just like, oh, he got in trouble because he did not post for a while. And
Did he
then
really?
Mhm.
I'm looking at it. I'm so excited to see it. He deleted his Instagram, Ecca. Wait, what's his name? Josh. Hold on.
Papa Mass.
Papa Mass.
Mm-hmm.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I lied to you. Wait, did you say that he also posted a picture that said the theories on it? That there were theories on it?
No,
Oh, no.
it was the notebook that had some scribbling of like, and it said if you zoom in, you see like acotar TV notes or something. It was
God.
just like, oh. And then neither of them had posted for a while. I'm just like, grump.
I mean,
Rude.
it's like, do you ever think that they have like secret Instagram accounts that they're on?
Yes. Well,
They
maybe not Sarah, but Josh, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like they have to because, like, I don't know. So let me ask you this. Melanie and I go back and forth on this. Do you think that Sarah knows any of these theories or like watches any podcasts or like, what do you think?
From what I gather, from what I've seen in interviews, she has friends that pay attention to that and they report back to her and she just laughs.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Sarah,
You know,
like,
excuse me, ma'am.
like, what if we actually touch base on something that she's working on and she's just like frustrated? She's like, I can't have to change this. Like, I think about that all the time.
You do too? You think about that?
All the time.
Like the theories and stuff like that? Like touching base on it and her getting upset by it?
And like the shipping wars is getting to her and she's like, well, fudge.
I literally told Melanie the other day in text and I'm like, because I was like, I don't think that we should talk about like all of our theories like anymore because I am worried that she will be like, you know what, you guys are going to talk about this, well then I'm going to write this, you know what I mean? And I know that's like a silly like thought, but I don't know, maybe.
I think so.
You do?
I think so because I would do the same thing.
Anyway, like, okay, it didn't occur to me until lately when I was like thinking about it and I was like, okay, if I was an author and I had a big surprise in my book and someone was out there like podcasting about it, like I feel like you would change it just because you want people to be surprised, right?
Right. You want to make that money. You want to pay it back to the publisher and use the money to like put your kids through school when they become of age.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I would agree with that. I know that's what I'm so on the fence about like all the like talking theories, but also because it's fun and I love the podcast.
Fun. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I know.
Like I keep thinking like she sees something and she's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or she looks at something and she's like, shit.
That's what I think too. I'm like, someone has to tell her what people are saying. And like, don't you think she knows how heated the Elreal, Gwenreal, Lucian?
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, Lucian is also her favorite too.
Is he? Did she say that?
Well, she went from saying Lucian was her favorite to re-saying is her favorite, but it might go back to Lucian.
Okay. Because I thought she said that Lucian was pretty special, and I was like, I love Lucian too. We all love Lucian.
Like, look, when I first read the series, I'm like, I'm all for her going with Tamlin and all, but Lucian is right there. He's a foxboy. He's
both. Pick both.
It'd be a white shoes for me.
I could not pick between them. I mean, I always do say that Lucian's my number one, but honestly, like, if Tamlin was right there too, like,
oh yeah,
I like my blonde boys and my redheads too much to pick.
I'm sorry, I like Tamlin too. I told Melanie the other week, I'm like, I'd be thrilled with any of them. You could give me any of them, and I'd be like, perfect.
Except Reese. I could not.
Reese is a little too high maintenance for me.
I couldn't. I posted that thing for you the other day, Olivia.
What thing was it?
And I sent you some of the replies.
Oh my god.
Oh. Is it a
Did you see it, Ecca?
It says, this is from Akasif, Cassian's point of view. It says, Gods, sex with Nesta was like ... He didn't let himself dwell on comparisons as he sat in Reese's office, blah, 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 blah. Those thoughts had not done him any favors last night or this morning when he woke hard and aching and realized that the scent of her was all over him. I asked people, because Olivia wanted me to ask people what they thought Cassian was comparing it to. And I got 3
Tamlin
answers, and it was Tamlin.
Everybody said Tamlin?
All 3.
Oh my gosh.
So my thought was he was comparing sex with her to Tamlin, but also when it says the thoughts had not done him any favors last night. So like, was he comparing them the whole time in his head?
Was he imagining them both together because he knows how kinky Nessa is?
And was he dreaming of her? Was he dreaming of Tamlin because he says like, or this morning when he realized that the scent of her was all over him? So like, was he dreaming of Tamlin but the scent of Nesta was on him?
Just like Tamlin was like, I smell you. I tried looking for you and I could not find you.
That is a mirror.
Yes, it is. It is.
I hate that so much. Why is he thinking of Tamlin? What the fudge?
I'm so convinced that means why else would they have to tie him down to a wagon? That's feral mate shit right there. They've never had to tie him down to go help Nesta. He's never gone to help Nesta. Nesta's always helped him.
He's trying to help her, but he ends up getting injured.
There you go. Amen
because he's not as powerful as her, which is weird.
Now, if they had a real mate bond.
Like, okay. So Here's where my head is at, and I know that Olivia's not going to like this, and I know so many people are probably going to disagree with me here, but them tying him down to the wagon when the Valkyries were getting slaughtered and he couldn't go help them is a mirror to Nesta being thrown in the blood right, except Cassian didn't ultimately go and get her. Like, he knew that obviously it was different because there were actual consequences, but there were consequences from the Illyrians back then too, because he was only a foot soldier. He wasn't a leader or anything. They would have
he wasn't an officer yet.
And he was going to help them. That's why they had to tie him down. Nobody had to tie him down when Nesta was in the blood right. Yes, he was feral, but ultimately he didn't betray all of the rules to go get her.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. That's really upsetting to me. And like, also, why are we suddenly like thinking about Tamlin? We have no indication, because like there's a quote in the book that says no female had ever tempted him enough to like start a family and settle down, start a family, right?
Again,
like,
he was super young. He was a foot soldier. He was like in his 20s back then. Obviously, he wasn't thinking of having kids back then.
But don't you think that would have included Tamlin? And he would have been like, the only other person that tempted me to settle down would be Tamlin, and that's like not how it was written.
She may not have been up for kids either.
Yeah, I just feel like it was like his youth back then. I feel like he was just talking about like more recently, like the lovers he had more recently. Because obviously, like a 20-year-old isn't gonna want kids. You know. And then there was this quote that I said last night as well. I'm sorry for repeating myself 500 times to everybody listening. I know you don't like this one, but it says Cassian and Azrael were beyond Rhys's and Thursday mighty range. They'd have no news of anything. And then Cassian's like, he would know if Nesta were dead. In his heart and his soul, he would sense it, would feel it. A mate always did. Okay, but you didn't when you were on the hike. First of all,
he said he thought that in a panic.
He cannot fucking sense anything. We have no indication that he has ever sensed anything. And then the line right after that, I love it so much. The line right after that, which ends before the chapter break, is even if she'd rejected that bond.
He was trying to reassure himself. Nesta
already rejected him, but they got back together. So rejections are nothing. They can be tossed aside. They're just words. They're just a courtesy. I will say this 5 million times. They are just words. It does nothing to a bond. In terms of
wait a second. It's like do they or do they not have the bonds, right? That's what.
No, I'm saying like in terms of illusion, how they're like, oh, if Elaine rejects the bond, she's gonna be with Azrael. Like, no, if she rejects the bond, she can still change her mind later and accept the mate bond. Like, it's not a
like
thing.
More an heiress.
Yeah. It's not a permanent yes or no. It's
just like, okay, I'll feed myself tonight. Thanks.
Yeah.
No soup for you.
Yeah. But he was definitely trying to tell himself that they're mates. And he does this the whole book. When right after the Symphonia sex thing where they're supposed to have the bond and the threads and all that magical shit. And he's like, why won't you just say that we're mates? Just say what I already know. But you didn't already know, because at the beginning of this book, you said, I'm still holding out for a bond. You didn't know.
He was pissed. He was panicking.
You cannot feel a bond. You're trying to convince yourself that there is one. And there isn't one.
And Nesta was like, yeah, okay.
Nesta was like, the fuck?
Dude, this is concerning. You know what? It really is kind of like wishy-washy. It goes back and forth, like throughout the whole Silver Flames book. So I can't tell if that was like intentional on Sarah's part because it's going to lead to the next plot, or if that's just the writing was kind of like all over the place.
No, it was on purpose, because if you think about it, in CC3, they were fighting a lot. And Bryce was just kind of guessing like, oh, I guess they're mates?
Yeah, even Ember was like, Nesta's mate. She assumed. She assumed.
Yeah, she assumed. She didn't know for sure.
She assumed. It's
Bryce. Bryce did say that because I didn't get that.
No,
part
Ember. She was
Ember
like, and the male that she assumed was Nesta's mate, something like that. Yeah, and then he was just like, Rhys, fucking bitch. Why don't we pick this up tomorrow? How about don't threaten my mate? What the fuck?
Yeah,
what the fuck? I hate that so much.
But they were fighting so much. And so it's kind of like, I feel like Sarah did that on purpose because there's so much more. Like, we thought it was a happy ending.
If they're endgame, I'm going to be pissed, honestly, because it doesn't make any sense.
I don't think they will be.
It doesn't make any sense. I hope it's Nesta and Cormac, honestly.
I hope so. Because
if Cormac is Eris's son, remember when you said her first dress was like the pewter dress?
Yes. Chapter 15, her first dress that she has seen in after she becomes High Fae is pewter.
And do you
Simple
know,
and yet fine.
And do you know the first jacket that Eris is seen in Hewn City is a pewter jacket? Flames. And the flames on Nesta's dresser. And everyone's like, oh, it's Nerys, it's Nerys, it's Nerys. No, it's Eris's fucking son. It's Cormac.
If she does a Cormac, Nesta endgame, I will lose my shit. We're coming back on here after the next acotar book and we're going to just vent for hours.
I will literally buy champagne and pop it.
If we find out that Cassie and Nesta are not endgame, I will buy you both a bottle of champagne. I'll ship it to both of you and we'll open it over this while
we have this on air, guys.
Champagne being mailed off to Melanie and Ecca.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned something. So Ecca mentioned something earlier, and I meant to bring it up when we were talking about Amryn, and I totally forgot. But the Amryn Asiri thing. So when you said that even more is weird about Amryn.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, she is. And then I remembered how Rhys, or maybe it was Cassian, but one of them says like they once had a fight so bad Oh, it was Reese, because he
It
was
was
like,
Reese.
they reduced my favorite house to cinder. He
Like,
was,
you have fun,
your
dude.
favorite house? Which one was that, Reese?
I want to know which one it was too.
But that reminded me that that is the exact term that Tamlin uses when he says Hybern trampled through spring. He said their homes were reduced to cinders. So then I was like, so is Amryn part of Sari?
Well, also too, think about it. Moore has truth magic. She just looks at someone and sees their truth.
So
She probably saw Amryn's truth. She knew, and she's still unhappy about it.
Unless, well, probably not, because if Amryn is made, just like Nesta and Elaine, can't really be read, maybe Amryn can't be read either.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes Moore feel uncomfy.
And that's
Uncomfy is a good word.
And that's why she's weird. Like, they're friends, but they're not really friends, and that's why
They're like
Azrael's,
frenemies.
that's why Azrael's shadows can't get a read on her, and that's why he doesn't trust her. 100%. 100%.
Gosh.
Oh yeah.
Do you find it interesting? Like, I find it interesting that Amryn is the very suspicious one, even more suspicious, maybe a little more than Moore, or everyone else has suspicion about her. But Moore is the one that's been sent off by Reese. I find that super weird. I don't quite know what to make of that, because I'm like, it has to be Moore or Amryn, the traitor. One of them has to be the traitor. I don't know.
I don't know. See, the thing is, Eris brings up Moore, and he's like, let's hope what Moore is doing in Valahan will help counteract the Queens or blah, 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 or get them to sign the treaty, right?
Like,
So,
he knew some shit.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's not only, which I think people forget, it's not only that we have Koshi as a threat in an upcoming war, but it's also that the continent has not signed the treaty to not harm the humans. Yet, that's what Moore is supposedly trying to get them to do. So there might be more than, this might be our Avengers type war that we were waiting for. Because
Yeah,
we need to get Montesir and Vrask and Valahan to sign this fucking treaty. I don't know if they're going to.
And her house is in Valahan. With her Asterian horses.
Yeah. And depending on, well, not depending on, but like Ianthe's family could be living there again now that Ianthe's dead. Like, she had 2 sisters and a father. Where did they go off to again? Probably their house in Valahan.
Probably messing with humans.
And like, if they find out that Thayer is the one that killed their sister,
technically, Strega was the one who
Weaver
killed her. Strega was the one who killed her, technically.
Well,
It's
Strega
true.
named her.
I love that.
But
she only baited her there.
Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like more, like, I don't know. I still think more knew Ianthe, and she was like the whole start of her ruining the wedding for Reese. And like, she has so many secrets, and the fact that nobody knows about this house, like, is she meeting Eris there for real? Because he keeps bringing her up. The graphic audio guy said he has the most emotions when he's around Moore. Like, why? What do you know, graphic audio guy?
For real, like, what does he know?
What does he know?
What notes has Sergei Mass sent him
I know.
to make him suspect such things?
Yeah, because he was like, well, we have to have like a broad backstory of the character to be able to portray the right emotions and everything. So it's like, what the fuck? Tell us, guy.
Now I have to I would do anything to see the notes that all those voice actors were given by Sarah, because they had to have talked to her too, right? Like, I imagine she coaches them a little bit on like the character. Like, I want to hear all of it. And Cassian's character, did you hear his? Like, he's pretty spot on too. So I think that they all know who their end game is, and I just want one of them
I want to know. One of you betray her. Betray her.
I'm sure they sign, like, I don't know, but they sign an NDA.
They totally sign an NDR.
Do they?
Yeah. NDA. Oh, they totally do. I had another theory about Jurian.
Yeah, Jurian, which, by the way, why do we never talk about Jurian, you guys? We never talk about him.
He is mentioned so much in the books, and yet he doesn't get much screen time.
I know.
And there's no art on him either. No one does art of Jurian.
I cannot see anybody except Ben Barnes. I cannot.
I can
see Ben Barnes. I can see that.
That's it. That's who I see as Jurian, and I can't redo it. But do we think that Jurian was made like Miriam? Do we think he has immortality, but he's still
He was resurrected, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Who resurrected him, though?
Hybern did. So, but see, here's the thing. Did he, I don't know. Going by the timeline, I would assume, if we're assuming that the Children of the Blessed were thrown in, I'm assuming that they were the experiments, and they went in the cauldron to test it for Jurian and the sisters, and then he brought back Jurian, who came back mortal, though, which was weird. And
Much
then,
like Miriam.
Yeah. But did he know that the sisters were going to turn Fae? Because what if like Briar turned Fae, but the rest of them died, and then Jurian was human, and he was like, what is going on here? Is the cauldron basically like a test? Does it see what you deserve or what you should be, and then just assigns you some sort of?
Is it kind of like the Ouroboros in a way?
Yeah, kind of. Or like I know I hate Harry Potter, but or like the Sorting Hat of Harry Potter, where it's like you're this type of species.
You're a Fae, and you're a Fae, and you're.
But you're just an immortal human. You don't deserve it.
You're an immortal human. You're an ugly ass human.
Well, that's interesting too, because it's like, so Miriam and Jurian come back human. Really weird, right?
No, just Miriam.
Oh wait, but we don't know if Jurian. We don't know if Jurian has immortality. He hasn't said shit about what he went through in the cauldron. What did he go through in the cauldron? Because he didn't even have a body.
Oh,
We
I
know
got a
nothing
theory
about
just
his
now.
trauma. It had
I
to
got-
build his body back.
I got a theory just now.
What?
Remember when Elaine was asking Amryn about choosing a body
Yeah.
and can things be unmade?
Yeah.
What if Elaine kills Jurian?
That would be awesome.
Oh my god, like
If
she
he was
knows
betrayed.
something about Jurian.
She is the
Maybe.
seer.
She's the seer.
And remember,
her-
she was the one that the cauldron lured to Hybern. She was there for a while, and Jurian knew. Jurian knew when Feyre proposed to Dianthe. He's like, they chained her up and they put her in this room, and don't worry, they didn't touch her yet, and blah 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 blah. So, what did Elaine see in the Hybern camp that she hasn't told anyone either?
That's behind her wards
Mhm.
of iron and unblossomed flowers.
So this
Yes.
theory is super unhinged, and I know it's not going to come true, but
Let's hear it anyway.
Yeah.
let's hear it anyway. I've had this typed out for 3 months, by the way, and we've never just gotten to it. But I said that I was rereading the Vespers scene from CC3, and Vespers is talking about when she was trapped in the coffin in the sarcophagus while she was alive, and that she couldn't move, eat, or breathe, or feel anything. And she said, yeah, and she said they knew that that was a worse punishment than death for her kind.
Wait, I have to ask this. You're on Empire of Storms.
Like chapter 3, like I just started it. What happens?
You're not gonna like Kingdom of Ash.
I had a feeling. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like Kingdom of Ash.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the coffin. I know. Yes, the coffin,
Oh.
the coffin. I know. Yeah. Aelin, yeah, the iron coffin. Yeah. Oh, also, I meant to ask you this. I know I'm getting off track, but I see all the art of that iron mask on Aelin, and like people draw it with like suns on it, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like the
Because
Dredge?
Mala. Like,
Hmm.
gee. That
Like-
mask.
Yeah, that mask, the one where she couldn't like. Yeah, someone drew it with like 3 suns on it, and I don't know if it's described like that because I haven't gotten there yet. But
I don't
I'll have to send you the
remember.
picture. It was weird, and I was like, is that like the Dredge robe?
No, I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about because I've seen it before, but like I didn't put that together. in my
I saw it
head.
and I was like the Dredge. Like, is
Oh.
that why Helian's so affected? Like,
Wait a second.
Wait, so you're telling me that Aelin is just the founding mama to Prithian in general?
of the Starborn lines. That was my thought.
It is, and I said this last time, this is not a family tree. This is a
It's a
family
wreath.
wreath.
You said it. What? You said what? It's not family trees of what?
It's a
It's a
family
family
wreath.
wreath. It is a wreath. It goes in full circle. Cousins and
I mean,
So
we
you guys
did.
think
We
that
did
Aelin-
have. Well, we had the theory that at first, like, was Nezrin and Sartak Helian's?
Aliens.
But
Yeah.
what if one of Rowalin's line like mixed with one of their lines? You would get someone that kind of looked like Helian.
I mean, they had like what, 7 kids, 8 kids.
Did Nezrin and Sartak? What powers did they have? Were they Fae or no?
No, they were human.
Fuck.
But Nesrin was blessed by Neith because of, never mind.
God damn
I can
you!
cover my ears.
Ecca!
Do you want me to leave?
Wait, does she have powers
No.
though? Does she have powers though? Like Dorian? Yes or
Hey,
no?
listen.
No, not like Dorian. No. And that's all I can say about it.
Damn it. Okay. Because I was thinking, is that like where the wind manipulation shit came from? I don't know. All right. Anyways, back to Jurian. I had to do that little side with the mask because it was like bothering me. But anyways, Vesper said that that Thea knew that it was a worse punishment than death for her kind. What did Amarantha do to Jurian about the exact same fucking thing by trapping him in her ring with his soul? He says
And
to
his finger
Rhys-
bone.
Yeah, he says to Rhys in the Hybern scene, before Hybern says he wants the High Lord of Night dead, he said, I couldn't eat, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't even blink. Ever. Do you remember that? The exact
I
same
saw
wording
you,
that
Dick.
Vesperus says?
I know that's. I always think about that all the time too.
I saw you naked, Reese.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I said Amarantha took his eyeball, bound his soul. He couldn't breathe, eat, move, feel for years. The exact same as Vesperus. And in Crescent City, going back to CC1, do you remember what they do to Justinian?
Well, wait. I remember Victoria at the box in the box, right? What did they do to
They
Justinian?
crucified him.
Upside down, right?
I said, what did Jurian do to Clithia? He crucified her.
Oh.
So not only did he get the same punishment as Vesperus, but he also used the same torture tactic, death tactic, as the Asteri.
That's just rude. Wait, is he Vesperus's mate?
So I said, was Jurian actually Asteri, but trying to like, for some reason, trying to blend in with the humans and like lead a charge against, I don't know, against Hybern or I don't
What
know.
would be his motive, though?
I don't know. I said in Silver Flames, Cassian notes that he is the soldier who came back from the cauldron, and he also says, "Oh, whatever Jurian was or whatever he is now, I didn't know." What do you mean, what he is now?
Does Eris know?
Like I thought he was like we thought he was human, but how would he know all about Asteri tactics?
Yeah.
And why would
that's
Amarantha
kinda-
use the Asteri punishment tactic on Jurian? Was it just because he used crucifixion on Clithia, so then she used the other tactic on him? Like, I don't know.
I think her sister was the only person Amarantha really loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%.
Which, okay, if we go with the idea that Amarantha is an Asteri,
Mhm.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? How did he kill the sister again?
He crucified her
He did
with
crucify.
ash. With ash. Yeah. Mhm. Which Amarantha used the ash arrow to get, or the ash dagger to
I think it was dagger.
to get, yeah, Feyre to stab Tamlin with it. Because he had to nullify her power so she couldn't fight him, and then he like crucified her to death. Yeah.
Oh, Jurian.
I know. But isn't it said in Tog, and I forget which book, but didn't it say that like not all Valgar bad, not all Valgar evil?
I think so.
It does. Yeah. Oh, Maeve says it. She's like, not all of us are evil or something. So what if Jurian was just the outlier and like he just didn't want to be evil? I said, what if Amarantha was also punishing Jurian for breaking out and taking the side of the Fae and the humans, which would be a mirror to the Illyrians and Annalius, since they created them and they turned on them too. And then you know my theory about how Jurian stole the spellbook back, and that he might be one of the betrayals.
Totally.
Yeah,
Jurian is super sauce. He's just waiting for the right time.
I know.
Because we still have the unanswered Bone Weaver premonition of like re-seeing Jurian. We've never like followed up on that.
Yeah, I know that too. But also,
Feyre saw an 8-year-old Nyx.
Yeah. We don't know who Cassian saw.
I know. Who did that?
Tamlin. Either Tamlin or Devlin.
Or Nesta.
You know?
Or Nesta.
Or Nesta. But I think he might have seen Devlin.
Or Cormac. Imagine.
I'm here to steal your girl.
Hilarious. What would be enough to freak Cassian out? He's so like, you can't freak him out.
That's the
He's too
second thing. Bryaxis was the first thing.
Raxus.
Did he see Bryaxis? Did he see the bone crusher as Bryaxis?
I mean, he was about that.
Why was he so freaked out by Bryaxis? Like, he sees plenty of monsters, he captures them in the prison, but why Bryaxis? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Probably because he's a spider.
We did talk
Yeah,
about
I
that.
said that. Yeah, I told you that last night.
Yeah, the Stygian spiders or whatever.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Stygian spiders would have like just like burrowing spiders. I showed this to Melanie that like burrowing spiders have little frogs that they keep as pets to clean up some of the smaller bugs around their nest. So I'm trying to imagine like Stygian spiders keeping like all these little toads and frogs and they're like cute looking just like how the otters are cute looking and they're like little messengers.
Oh my god, gross! No.
Anywho.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, the fucking spellbook. Like the fucking spellbook. Why did they not say that wasn't the that was it's the original Asteri spellbook. That's why the fucking Asteri and Crescent City had all these labs. They wanted to recreate all their shit because they didn't have the fucking spellbook. Hybern had it.
Maybe Cormac went to go look for it.
Probably. And that's why I said I think that they created the parasite based on their original parasite, which is what I think Amarantha used to strip the powers from the High Lords because she put it in their drink, just like the Asteri put it in the water.
She just roofied everybody.
Yeah,
she did.
The Asteri just roofied the whole planet.
Yeah.
The parasite, which Amarantha used. The Midgard Asteri were trapped without it, had to figure out the parasite again. I also said, if you remember after Under the Mountain, the Adder took out of orders from Hybern, Jurian's eyeball, bone, and the spellbook. Those were the 3 things that Hybern wanted back. Which was odd. Vespers also mentioned that she was never going to betray her people. She wasn't going to betray Radulus. Because remember, they were like questioning her, and she's like, I'm not going to betray my people. So if Jurian betrayed them by turning on them, that she mentioned that's like the biggest betrayal or something, is to betray your kind. So that would be another reason why he would kind of deserve that punishment, I guess. Reese mentioned in Acotar that Hybern had been planning the war for millennia. Wouldn't it be perfect to have an Asteri body jump into a human and pose as their general just to fuck them over in the end? Because remember, what if Jurian was human and an Asteri just jumped into his body? That could be a thing. I said, why did Hybern want to resurrect Jurian so badly?
Yeah, he was human. Hybern didn't like humans. He wanted them.
Yeah.
Well, he probably would have seen him as a slave. So that could be it.
Maybe.
Did he install a Wordstone heart?
Is that a thing?
Oh.
Wait. Is that a talk thing?
No.
Oh my god, no.
That's why he wanted slaves. I said that's why he wanted human slaves.
But remember, Elaine told Lucian, I can hear your
heart through
heartbeat.
the stone. I thought that was Vesperus, honestly, after I read CC3, but I don't know. It could be Lucian. It could be, I don't know. Because she hears her sister's heartbeats too. She says that she can hear their heartbeats too.
She can tell when they're dying. Oof.
I said, okay, I said, was it because Amarantha was just dead and she had gone rogue, or was it because he wanted another Asteri on his side and decided to give Jurian a chance to make up for the betrayal hundreds of years ago, under the threat of knowing now what the punishment would be?
That doesn't seem like Hybern's MO though.
We never find it out, do we?
He didn't really do shit.
Or is it like you guys were saying that like the humans would trust Jurian, so all the humans would come in?
Yeah.
I mean, but like, what else could it possibly be? What could Asteri use humans for?
The Wordstone hearts.
Pawns.
Yeah, they would literally install the Wordstone hearts. It's like the rings. They can possess them and make them do whatever the fuck they want.
But didn't they also say something about like doing that to Illyrians too?
Well, they created Illyrians to do their bidding, yeah, and then they turned against them when they realized what they wanted. And that's why they killed Analius and let him bleed out on Ramiel, and that's why they have the blood right.
What if Innocuous has been? What if he's inside Jurian's body?
Analius, that'd be
Yeah,
fun.
Innocuous.
I mean, Jurian technically. I mean, I've said this about Amarin too. They could have come back as completely different people. Like, I don't know. It would be fucking hilarious. I know it would never happen, but it would be hilarious if like, I don't know, Claire Better or like Reese's mom or some other dead person came back as Amarin. I don't know.
Oh, my hope would be Claire Better. Let that girl get her revenge.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. I
I'm
also
down
want
for
Reese's
zombie
mom
Claire.
too. I
I'm
want her
down
to come
for zombie
back.
Claire.
Kind of like in CC3 when the zombies are back in life. We should bring zombies back to Perthian, you guys. That's what we need.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what Koshi wants. I said that the Asteri's whole thing is like conquest and breeding. So I said, I wonder if the reason Jurian took the spellbook was so that he could conquer Prithian. Because that's what Amarantha was trying to do, and she used the spellbook. Who
What if-
has the fucking spellbook? I need to know. I swear to God, it's Jurian. Who else would know where it was to take it when he died? Because that's like a mirror to the Adder gathering Jurian's bone and eyeball and bring it to Hybern. So when Hybern died, who grabbed the spellbook? It's the Asteri spellbook. Like, I hope he didn't give it to Koshi on the down low.
I don't know. Like, can Vasa trust Jurian?
Can him or Lucian trust Jurian?
Yeah.
Because Lucian's a fae. Like, I'm afraid of him sleeping there. Like, I don't want. I swear to God, if she kills Lucian, I'm so done.
Oh my God, can you imagine if she killed Lucian off,
I
you
would
guys?
never.
I would riot.
I would totally riot.
You better bring him the fuck back, like you brought back recent Vera. I'm not playing. Swear to God.
Yeah.
I would be so pissed off. Oh my God.
Oh my God, I'd be devastated. Poor Lucian, never get a mate, dies.
He just
Oh,
can't
poor
catch a
guy's-
prey.
I know, never.
Also, I wanted to, again, jumping back to Amryn a little bit, I said we never knew how Amryn bound herself to a body, which we don't really know how Maeve did that either. I mean, created their bodies. We don't know how her or Maeve created their bodies. So what if she did it without a spell? So what if, like, I don't know, maybe when Jurian was resurrected by the cauldron, it took away his Asteri side? Similar to Amryn? It stripped her magic? Maybe it stripped her.
It made him have to go to the bathroom.
So now he's just stuck in human form. I don't know. That was my weird psycho crack theory that he was part Asteri and just turned on them, and I don't know. I don't know where it was going, but I just thought it was weird that he knew the crucifixion tactic and he was punished with another Asteri tactic.
Unless the Asteri were crucifying the humans and he witnessed it, because I think that they were like torturing humans for a while, right?
Person City 3. Yes, the mural when they had the upside down crucifixions of the humans.
They were told
I forgot.
Nice.
Yes,
Very
I
nice.
forgot about that. When Nesta
Very
and Bryce
nice.
were looking at the carvings.
Yeah.
And the thing. Oh my God, yes. But like,
Well-
wouldn't Jurian have to be old enough to like, I don't know that? Like, what does he know? That's just another thing. Does he know this history and he's not telling anybody?
It was weird.
We need another cereal.
Oh my gosh, wait, did you guys see that theory? Not to sidetrack, that the cereal is Caltaine.
Yeah, but the cereal was a man, so it's not.
They're saying that the cereal is Caltaine and the cloak
So
thing
stupid.
is because Aelin gave her the cloak down in the dungeon.
Like Amryn and Reese and
Oh.
Farah all call him he. Like it's a
I know.
man.
Yeah.
Suri was a girl.
Yeah.
Suri was a boy, canonically.
Oh.
But there are multiple cereals. There's not just like one. She needs to catch another one and be like, "Ayo, I was besties with your brother. Tell me some secrets."
Tell
I
me
think it would be
more.
Where
funny.
is the court of the cereals?
It's probably the middle.
Court of cereals at.
The cereals travel around. Tamlin said that they're not of his court. Remember, he said the cereals, the pukas, and like all those other monsters, they don't belong to any court. So they just
And the Naga.
yeah, they just travel around wherever.
Oh,
they're
I'm like,
solitary.
bring him
They're
back.
solitary.
It's true.
But I don't. What was the point of like the puka when we already have shapeshifters? Like, what was the point of that? Just to fuck over Farah? Like,
I know. Like we see. Oh, you guys, I gotta go.
hallucination.
My son is like hysterical downstairs, screaming.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of convinced that she's gonna go with a Jurian betrayal plotline just to fuck with everybody because everyone's
actually-
like, it's Morin Amryn. Like, nope, it's Jurian.
I like it because nobody talks about Jurian. We're not fixated on Jurian.
Nobody's fixated on Jurian.
Nobody
When we
talks
should
about
But
be.
Reese sees Jurian as the bone carver. Hybern says
Yeah.
what Jurian really wants more than anything is the High Lord of Night dead.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
What?
The bone carver turns into whoever or whatever is going to kill that
Yeah,
person.
it's gonna kill you. Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's fucking Jurian.
That's why he turned into Nyx, because Feyre was going to die during pregnancy.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, Rhys saw Jurian, and who the fuck did Cassian see?
If it's
Nesta.
I mean,
Die.
Nesta.
if it was Nesta and that's why he won't say it, like he won't tell anyone who he saw.
Because technically it could be anybody if Koshi. I mean, we don't know the extent of Koshi's power.
No. You know what, Melanie? I actually think you have a really good point that like the betrayal is Jurian. It's pretty like straightforward and simple, and everyone's like overlooking it.
I know, but like,
Why does Jurian want Rhys dead? That's what I want to know.
What did he witness?
Jurian, I hope you succeed, but I doubt you will.
Is that why Rhys is so edgy lately? Is because like Jurian's up to something and he's like getting stressed out?
On
Is
top of
Jurian-
like all these alien people dropping in through the hole in the sky.
Wait a second. Do you think that Jurian could be aligned with Koshi? Like, could they be allied?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid
Definitely.
that he gave him the spell book.
But then Jurian's living with Lucian.
And Vasa.
And Vasa.
But
So
Vasa's
Lucian is-
cursed during the day, and Lucian says, "Oh, Jurian's handling everything in the Mortal Lands for her during the day," and he's like been very kingly.
Oh, Lucian is literally surrounded by
Idiots.
enemies. And you know what? That was perfect right there. I don't even need to stand on that.
Oh
my god, that's good.
God. I'm
Oh,
terrified. Like, does Jurian want to take over the Mortal Lands from Vasa? Like, is that why he's like, oh, she's like, because why could Helion and Lucian together not break her curse?
Yeah.
Was it a made curse? Did he use the spell book that Jurian gave him to
on
curse her?
Vasa. Dude, this is where it's gonna go.
Was Jurian okay? Bigger thing, because in the cauldron scene, who was there? Jurian and the queens, right? Jurian and the queens were in the cauldron scene. So was Jurian actually allied with the queens?
Yes. Holy shit, this makes so much sense. Oh,
Was he? Is he actually allied with the queens and knew that they screwed over Vasa? So he could take over the Mortal Lands?
that would be wild.
But then why would he give the biggest threat to everybody the book? I don't get it, unless he was promised by Koshi that
Right here.
part of land when he succeeded.
Hold on. Oh my god, I don't know.
Do you think that Koshi made a bargain with him? Like, oh, if I succeed, you can rule the Mortal Lands?
The Mortal Lands. Yes. Yes. And you can throw over the fate and you can kill your enemy Rhysand. I will help you kill your enemy Rhysand. That's what it is.
And Baron, that's why Baron allied with him, because I bet you $100 Baron asked for Helion's head.
And Baron knows that Jurian. Okay, we're going. And Baron knows that Jurian is living with Lucian. Like he doesn't know that. Of course he knows that. Okay, we're gonna get
And Eris is visiting the Band of Exiles manor. Eris is giving them information, thinking they're trustworthy.
Yes. Oh my god, this is so bad. This is so bad. Okay, I'm gonna go because he's screaming. But
Oh my god!
I know that's what I'm thinking. Can you say bye? Can you wave for bye?
I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and then I was like, "Holy shit! Did he know that Vasa was going to be cursed?" Oh my god! Because then he could have told Koshi that Lucian spell cleaved during the cauldron scene, so he could have fixed it so that Faye spell cleaving couldn't break it. Oh my god! Oh my god!
And Baron would find out that Lucian's not his, and put Lady Autumn at risk.
Oh
to
my
where
god!
To where Eris would be desperate enough to go to the Night Court for help.
Oh my god! Do we really think? Oh my god! Do we really think that Koshi told Baron? And Baron knows that Eris was the most sympathetic to Lucian because he refused to kill Lucian's lover, and that's why he didn't take him to the meetings with the queens.
And Elaine is a seer, and they know about that. And Elaine is already tapping into Koshi stuff.
And that's what Elaine saw. Elaine probably saw Baron killing Lucian.
Oh, shit.
That's why she doesn't want to get attached to him. I've always had
cry.
I know. So I always had the theory that she saw like Lucian dying or something dire, and that's why she didn't want to get attached to him. But I couldn't figure out why. And this makes sense. Because also then Elaine would know that Baron's not Lucian's actual father, and it's not her place to tell him.
And she's self-harming. I know. With rose thorns.
I know.
On purpose. Because you notice she's not using the gloves that Lucian gave her. She's not only is she not wanting to attach to him, she's self-harming.
Yeah. I feel like whatever she saw, perhaps they were together when he got attacked. And that's why she's thinking like, okay, if I never get attached to him, then this is never going to come to fruition and he won't die. Like, that classic trope of how, maybe I can
misunderstandings.
Maybe I can get away from fate. Maybe I can change it and stuff like this. But it never happens because every little decision that you make actually leads you to that moment.
Not necessarily. Barrett was supposed to die with Nyx, giving birth to Nyx.
Yeah, well, but then Nesta had the trove and all that stuff. Yeah.
She defied fate. But we don't know how Elaine's going to defy fate.
But actually, fate allowed her to do so. Because remember, the mother helped her. She put a hand on her shoulder and she helped her.
Oh, that's true. Why though?
because the mother chose her to be the next Queen of Dusk. they needed a starborn heir for Prithian, so the mother chose Nesta.
Mm.
And instead of, unlike Thea, who chose herself and her daughters over like the lands and everything, Nesta has consistently chosen, you know, the humans and her sister and everyone else over herself.
She's the true queen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought of something too.
What? I'm scared.
If Jurian is trying to conquer over Boss's lands and is acting very kingly.
Well, all of the lands, because all of the queens are creeped out.
But Nesta's mother said you will marry for conquer. What if
Marry for
Nesta and Jurian get together?
Oh God, no! Gross.
I'm just shipping Nesta with everybody.
But that also works for Cormac because she says you will marry a prince. You will marry for conquest. If they're both meant to be Dusk, king and queen, Dusk would technically be new lands against. They would conquer Dusk. And Cormac's a
And
prince.
it would be a safe
He's the
and
crown
it would be
prince.
safe haven. And it would be safe haven for humans.
Humans for the Valkyries, Illyrian women, hopefully Human City women at some point. I would love to see.
I think so.
I would love to see Nesta, like find
She's
friendship
the
with like a Human
feminist
City girl.
queen.
Yeah.
She's a feminist queen.
Like Gwen was a library priestess. Emery was an Illyrian female. Like I need.
She was a shopkeeper.
Yeah, I need a Human City girl to come into their circle. Another dreamer that Moore forgot about.
She only likes pretty people.
Right. And the way that Lanthus, like, I don't know, the way that Lanthus was like, you're the queen of queens and we can rule together and like it always has to be.
The Kelpie was also that way. Like, I want to make you my bride.
Yeah. I do find it funny though that Lanthus's form looked exactly like Apollyon. I always thought that.
What is Lanthus anyway?
He's also a Valk. He had black blood. Nesta killed Lanthus and Vesperus the same way, and Tamlin killed Amarantha. Or she killed Hybern, Lanthus, and Vesperus the same way, and Tamlin killed Amarantha the same way. Beheading, and then like a sword through their head. Which is why I always say that like Tamlin knows shit too. That he's never said.
Oh god, yeah.
So much.
We never got his POV.
I'm still pissed. I'm pissed that we don't have anybody's POV. We
Like,
barely
just
got Cassian's in his own
it's-
book.
Like, we just assumed things are the way they are because it's through the lens of Feyre.
And Sarah, like I don't trust her. I'm sorry. I don't trust her POV. After the whole Nesta's boots are shiny and new and then they're like ridden with holes, I don't trust her for fucking shit. If I can't trust you with something as stupid as boots, I'm not trusting you with anything else you say ever.
Like, just take her old boots. Nothing wrong with hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Why are you salty?
Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, she was like, Nesta was just selfish and she just wanted new boots and blah, blah, blah. No, they were ridden with holes in the middle of winter, but you got Elaine a cloak when hers was new. Actually new. Just because Elaine is the gentle one.
But she also didn't take Elaine's old cloak.
I know, but she gave her a new one too. But Nesta gets
Like that-
nothing. Nesta does all the fucking housework and all the work of like a Victorian female or a Victorian like wife, and she gets no fucking credit, and it pisses me off to no end. Because Feyre's like, I don't know how to cook. I guess I'll warm up some soup for you, Reese. So who the fuck was cooking the meat that you brought home that you hunted? Fucking Nesta, because we know Papa Archeron and Elaine didn't know how to cook. Elaine's just learning how to cook now with the Wraiths. And it wasn't Papa A hobbling around cooking the meat.
So do you think she's learning how to cook so that she can give Lucian a proper meal?
I hope so. But the only scene of Elaine's that really pisses me off, that I will say, because every other scene with Elaine and Lucian, she seems more intrigued than like put off by him. If you actually go back through, because everyone's like, she hates him. Like, no, if you actually look at their scenes, she seems intrigued, curious.
She's curious.
But the one fucking scene, which I swear is after she had the vision of his death, was on Solstice, when he comes to Solstice. And, you know, he is actually, Feyre asks him about Jurian and Vasa in front of Elaine. And then she's all pissy or whatever. And she's like, I'll go get refreshments. And Lucian, like the gentleman he is, because clearly nobody has explained the mating bond or the traditions to Elaine, is like, fuck, she can't give me food if she doesn't want to accept the mate bond. So he's like, no, I'm good. And she like gets up and leaves the room anyway. And then, you know, him and Feyre have their huge fight about the Band of Exiles. And then Elaine, Feyre goes in the kitchen and she's like, you know, he brought you a present and he's a good male or whatever. And she's like, that doesn't entitle him to my time or affections. And like, what the fuck, Elaine? Like, he just wanted to have a conversation with you. It's not like he was going to push you against the wall and make out with you. Like, a couple words. A thank you for your gift would have been nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't tell if she was super pissy because he was talking about Vasa, even though they're just friends, or if it was that on top of the vision of him possibly dying. I don't know.
Oh, she has experienced a lot of death.
Yeah. I don't know. I never actually thought of that though, but yeah, she had to have heard him talking about Vasa because they have like super hearing, right?
So,
What if she's jealous?
if we run with that theory, then why did she pay attention to us? I am not supporting Illyrio. I'm just I'm curious because
Because so
that behind the scene, that extra scene did not make any sense to the characters.
yeah, me and Olivia's theory is that post Ecca War, that Papa Archeron had to obviously bargain with Koshi to get Vasa to help them in the war, which we know because I forget who it was. Was it Lucian? Said like, oh, he had to get Koshi's permission to have Vasa help us in the war. There's no way Koshi did that for nothing in exchange.
No.
So my thought is that Koshi threatened Papa Archeron saying that he was going to lure Lane to the lake to be one of his pretty possessions. And because he's 15,000 years old, he's tricky. He knows how to word shit. So I
And
think
he's a creepy monster, dude.
yeah. So yeah, he looks like a fucking zombie version of Gandalf. Literally. He has the long gray beard and the old man hair and bleh. But anyways, I think that he said that if Elaine doesn't live in the lake with him, that the compromise is that he gets to hide a shard of his soul inside of her. And I think Papa Archeron was just like, why? Like, why? And he's like, if you let me do that, I will let your daughter go free and I will let you use Vasa for the war. So Papa Archeron, being not the brightest bulb in the shed, was
When it
probably
comes to
like,
bargains.
oh, I mean, okay, I guess. Not knowing the implication. Here's another idea. What if Elaine saw her own death and what it did to Lucian? Because if Koshi did hide a piece of his soul in Elaine, the only way to kill him is to destroy all parts of his soul due to the myth, right? Like the lore. And so they would have to kill Elaine to kill him if it's inside of her. So I think he's using that shard to control her because we know that in Ecca War, she was not at all pissed off or anything to talk to Lucian. She was definitely apprehensive, but she was polite to him after the war. She's like, "Are you okay?" Because he was covered in blood, whatever. And then after that, she kept looking to Azriel, and after that, we see Azriel with Koshi, and Koshi saying, "I've been preparing for you for months, and you don't even want to speak to me," because I think Koshi is using Elaine to get Azriel. I think that's why she's been turning her attentions to Az, because she wasn't into they were friends, but she wasn't into Azriel in Ecca War, or even Akafas.
He was kind to her.
Yeah.
He made her feel welcome.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to
And
have.
so did Cassian though. She was fine around both of them.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, after the war, after Papa Archeron had to give Koshi something, she's turning her attentions towards Azriel. After Koshi's like, "I've been preparing for you for months and you don't even want to talk to me." I think he's using Elaine as a conduit. And that's why
needs to realize it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely using Elaine as a conduit.
Do you think Reese suspects that? And that could be another motivation why he's like,
I don't think Reese can I don't think Reese can get through anything that is made. None of them can. So if Koshi's 15,000 years old, his spell would be made. His bargain would probably be made. Elaine is made. Nesta's made. That's why he can't get into their minds. Amryn, which is why he can't and doesn't because he was afraid of her, go into her mind. That's why Moore probably can't sense their truths. Or else, Moore's a liar anyway, but I feel like if it was to save her family, if she sensed a truth on them, like if she sensed that Elaine was not all Elaine, she would say something. But I
would
think
she though? Because she knew the truth about Farron. She didn't say shit.
Well, true, but Reese was like, "Don't tell anyone." She'll always, just like Cassian, she'll always follow Reese's order. But I don't know. I'm concerned. What if she saw her own death? And or her own death, and then Lucian falling to his knees, the pain of the bomb. I don't know.
That would hurt.
I
me
love
so
angst
bad.
though, so I kind of want it. I don't want her to die. No, I don't want her to die. I'm just saying I want the angst though.
Maybe she was asking about how to make things unmade and asking about bodies because she was trying to figure out how to undo Koshi's thing.
Yeah.
And what does she have a tattoo somewhere of a bargain?
Well, no,
that she's not saying anything about?
Well, it would have been Papa Archeron. Well, I don't know, because is it the same as a Fey bargain? Because he's technically a Death God. I don't even know. Death God bargain is probably, which we know, is pretty unbreakable because Helion and Lucian couldn't break it. Spell. I don't know. It could be a spell and not a bargain. I don't know. But then wouldn't Lucian be able to sense it? Because he says, "My eye can see spells and wards," and I don't know, maybe he
would have said it already.
Yeah, but maybe he can't too because, he couldn't spell cleave Vasa's spell. So maybe he can't see Elaine's spell. I don't know. I don't know how she's going to write this.
Do you think he's suspicious of Jurian? Being all kingly and taking over Vasa's stuff.
He was kind of annoyed when he said, "Oh, they're at each other's throats as they like to be," like I said, but I don't know. I did tell Olivia that I do think he knows that there's something weird going on with Elaine. I think he can sense it. If he can't see it, I think he can sense it, and that's why he was marking his target on Koshi in Akasif. Because I hate how the Vassians are like, "Oh, he's marking Koshi for Vasa, his true love." First of all, no. 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 I 100% believe that he can feel something is off with Elaine and that it has to do with Koshi, and that's why he's marking his target. But that scares me that Lucian is marking his target because we all know that mates go feral for their mates. Lucian has not had his feral moment yet, and I don't want him to fuck up so badly that he like almost gets
He can't get out of it,
killed.
you know.
I'm scared. She kills off Lucian, and I will burn these books.
I don't think she'll kill off Lucian. I think she's gonna kill off Hellion.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how it's being set up right
Yeah.
now.
But like, if Lucian could like exchange himself for Elaine, he would.
Mm.
You know.
Hmm.
And then maybe Helion tries to save Lucian, and then Koshi kills Helion, and then Lady Autumn kills Lady Autumn. Like, how many people? She's gonna kill off a lot of people because she hasn't killed off anybody yet.
She's also said that there would be lots of babies.
Yeah. So I do think it's gonna be. I do think Lucian's gonna survive, but I think Elaine is going to realize what she was missing with Lucian. I think she's gonna realize that, you know, he really is her equal, and she could have lost him and never got.
And she's his equal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
There's so many ways she could write this, and I just want to know. I just want to know.
I just want a book title or like a
I don't even
confirmed
want a book
ship.
title. Yeah, I just want to know who it's about. That's it. I just want to know the couple. That's it. I don't care if we have to wait 2 years for the title. I just want to know who it's about. That's it.
Yeah.
Who? Everyone knew that Akasif was Nesta and Cassian's. Everyone knew that. Why isn't she saying? That's what's freaking me out.
But also, why did she have a book specifically for Nesta and Cassian? Although it was more Nesta than the ship.
It was Nesta. Like, Cassian barely got POVs.
Mm-hmm. But like, why have that be their ship book when in CC3,
yeah,
it's a toxic relationship still?
Yeah. So actually, at the end of Akasif, their mating ceremony was supposed to be in like a week or like 3 days or something like that. Was it 3? I had like just read it. It was like a week. It was like 3
weeks, I think.
Was it 3 weeks? Because Gwen said she might leave the library for it, but she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to. Also, I love how everyone's like, Nesta lost her power, Nesta lost her power, and they were all shocked that she had her power in CC3. But it literally says, the sun was a warm hand on her shoulder, like the one that had prevented the last of her power from vanishing. But also, her mate, her love, her friend, the light within her chest brightened to a radiant sun. You're not sun, though, you're flame. What? But, again, the sun is the symbol on the Dread Trove.
It also sounds a lot like Bryce.
But, like, the sun is the symbol on the Dread Trove. And the sun is also the biggest star. So, again, I don't think that's their mate bond. I think that's her starborn power building.
Oh.
The sun is the biggest star. The star in Bryce's chest. It says the light within her chest brightened to a radiant sun. She has the star in her heart. Cormac's prophecy. The end of Akasif. Where is it?
So how do you think Cormac is going to play into the Koshi Wars?
I don't know, but I think he knows all the info of how to defeat him from the archives. I think maybe that's how he wanted to go back to Prithian. We don't know what he knew. He never said anything. Also, this part makes me physically ill because what the fuck? Cassian. He brushed a kiss over her mouth, but Nesta said, I want a disgustingly ornate mating ceremony. Because he's like, oh, it's an ornate mating ceremony or a stale biscuit. Like he was being all bitchy. He laughed, pulling away. Really? Why not? I'll never hear the end of it from Azriel and more. Why do you care?
That's not what you say to your mate. That's not what you say to your mate who wants something with you. That's rude.
Because I'll never hear the end of it from Azriel and more. So you really think your family's going to make fun of you for having a fancy wedding to someone you love?
Well, also peer pressure.
And fucking more? You had to bring up more? The person that you fucking gave lingerie to and was rubbing her feet a book ago? Or like chapters ago? It pisses me off. Nesta considered. So Nesta was pressured by him because he's like, Nesta considered, then pulled something out of her pocket, a small biscuit swiped from the tray in the birthing room. Here, food, from me to you, mate. That's the official ritual, isn't it? The sharing of food from one mate to another. Cassian choked. These are my 2 options, a frilly mating ceremony or a stale biscuit. Her face filled with such true light, it nearly stole the breath from him. Yes. First of all, nobody would be happy at somebody saying that.
Hell no.
Cassian laughed and folded her fingers around the biscuit, saying, we'll make a coronation of it. Ness, I already have a crown, she said. I just want you. And then he was talking about the Dread Trove. She seemed to have some sort of connection or understanding with the mother. The mother. In italics. Thank you very much. Later, we'll deal with that later, including the remaining queens, Koshi, and the still looming war.
It froze for a second.
Yeah. Nesta pulled away, whispering, I love you. And it was all Cassian needed before he kissed her again. Bitch, I swear to fuck.
Boo.
Boo. That's it. That's all we got from you.
He's turned into such a butthead.
That's all. No, I love you. He has yet to say, I love you or I love you too. Not even Crescent City 3. In Crescent City 3, we get, oh, he was the most furious with me of anybody. Excuse me. What the fuck? For For the man that got tied to a wagon so he wouldn't help the Valkyries to be the most mad at Nesta for trying to save an entire world of people like that makes no sense.
No.
It makes me mad. It makes me so mad. Oh.
They're not mates.
Yeah, okay, so end of Akasif, it was spring again. I told you it was spring again because then they visit the dad's grave. CC3, it was fall. It has to pick up in winter.
I'm excited.
Okay, where is it? Gwen said she might leave for Nesta and Cassian's mating ceremony in 3 days, which would take place in the small temple on the river house's grounds. Despite Nesta's wishes for an ornate ceremony, she hadn't wanted a giant crowd. The temple was already being bedecked with flowers of every variety, enchanted against wilting, as well as silks and lace and candles and garlands. All of it paid for by Reese, who could not stop buying her presents. What?
And then he stopped.
Dresses and jewels and throw pillows and all manner of nonsense had rained down on her until Nesta had to order him to stop, saying that an extravagant mating ceremony would make them even. And then he's fucking threatening her again. So Reese had ensured that the ceremony would be as outrageous as possible. Nesta had no doubt the temple would be covered in such riches it would be laughable, but all that mattered was the male who would be standing with her, first as they swore their vows, then as they offered each other food, and then as their friends and family bound their hands together with a length of black ribbon to remain until the mating was consummated. So Nesta could hardly wait for it, the ceremony. None of it frightened her. So what happened in those 3 days? Because there is not a single way in fucking hell that it actually happened. There's no way.
It could have been a fever dream. And we still didn't get to find out if Gwen was there.
I don't think it happened. So me and Olivia's thoughts were that something happened in the 3 days and Nesta postponed it. And that's why Cassian was so furious at her in CC3.
Oh, that would make sense.
But I want to know what happened because Reese and Feyre wear mating bands. Aelin and Rowan wear mating bands. Like
Feyre and Tamlin would have wore bands.
There is not a single mention of them wearing rings in CC3 because again, Ember had to guess that he was her mate. Bryce had to guess that he was her mate just because they smelled like one another. But that happens during sex, like we know with Lydia and Rune. Lydia and Rune exchanged rings. And then oh yeah, Miriam on our chat gets so mad at me because she's super pro-Nessian, but she's like, well, they wouldn't wear rings because they're warriors. And, it's not feasible when they're fighting all the time. I'm like, then wear it around your neck. Something.
But wait, Feyre is a warrior. Reese is technically a warrior.
Aelin and Rowan?
Hello,
Lydia
warriors.
and Rune? Come on. They're all
Hello,
warriors.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. And especially in a book in CC3 when they mention all of Pollux's golden rings on every finger and all this other stuff. I'm like, there's no way she wouldn't have not mentioned their mating band. There's no way. What happened in those 3 days? What happened?
And why does everybody want to kill Nesta? What happens where she postponed it, and why does everybody want to kill her?
Yeah, it's a running joke now. It's a running joke now. Reese is like, I could kill her, blah, 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 blah. And Amren's like, you better hope Feyre can change his mind, girl. Yeah, Feyre's gonna let him kill her sister. Fuck. And then Cassian says nothing. Nothing. Her shoulders are hunching, and she's bowing her head, and even Ember's like, this girl depressed. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing to her?
Like, she is being abused. Like, do I need to call the police? Like, what's going on?
I love when she was like, lay off her. I love it.
And then she gave her a hug.
Oh, that was another thing that Miriam brought up. She was like, well, after the bonus chapter, in like chapter 100, they're all good and they're laughing and they're having chocolate cake and Bryce says that he's a good mate. Like, Bryce doesn't know him though. So just because he stepped out to give her a moment with Ember, that doesn't make him a good mate. That's just Bryce being like, oh, that was a good thing for a mate to do. Like, she doesn't know him.
She's being polite because she's also worried about being killed.
Well, Hunt was there. Yeah. And then it was like Bryce like unsheathed like the star sword or whatever, and then like Cassian stepped forward or whatever. It's like, bro, calm down. I feel like he's trying too hard to act like a mate. I don't know. I feel like it's not natural.
Yeah. No. Because he doesn't feel it.
I know.
That's why I feel like
he pays extra attention as to when he needs to act like a mate.
He's compensating. He's trying to be a courtier.
I know. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick because it was just weird. She's going to murder me for this, but it's okay. She knows we don't agree on this stuff. The fact that Bryce says, she's talking about the Ocean Queen, and she says she and her commanders remained in the Eternal City. The threat of the tsunami she held leashed around the perimeter, keeping any Asteri loyalists at bay. I knew the loyalists were for Asteri. Nesta's mate Let's see. The hysteria are gone, Midgard is free, and then Ember cries. Nesta and her mate tensed, and Bryce knew Hunt had stepped into their world. He peered around the room, glanced at the city sparkling far below, a ribbon of river winding through it. They had to be high up on a mountain for this kind of view. Nesta's mate said, "You have 1 minute before Reese gets here and explodes."
Well, they're afraid of him too,
Big
I
fuck.
think.
Yeah.
I think they're afraid of him too.
They know that something has changed since Nyx was born.
Well, not
Or is
just Nyx,
steadily getting worse.
since
That
he
black
since
death
he was
in his
made.
eyes? That black death in his eyes?
He's turning into his daddy.
He's turning into his Valg. But, like,
Mhm.
why is he so up his ass? It bothers me. "Oh, Reese will be fine," Cassie and Ember said in the phase language. Bryce shook her head. "Reese will be fine? The guy who brings darkness incarnate?" He and Randall bonded over being overprotective dads. So now Reese knows exactly the sort of shit you like to pull, which apparently you pulled here too.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like that scene when they were like, "Oh, the fucking females that we have to deal with." Like, I was like,
That was so
that
misogynistic,
was so
though.
icky. And then, like, Nesta and Ember were just like, "It looks like they're the same in any world." What? That's not funny.
Yeah.
That's not
It's
funny.
not okay.
It's not okay. Bryce reached into her jacket, pulled out the mask, here as promised. Then Bryce drew Tooth Teller, and Cassian looked like he jumped between her and Nesta. Oh, he didn't, but he looked like he would. He didn't, though! Everyone was trying to convince me that he did. He didn't. Hunt set his feet into a fighting stance in response, but Bryce just said, "Alpha holes." "Poor Nesta's been in the doghouse since you took their weapons and dumped us here. I tried telling Reese and Azrael that there's no stopping you when you have your mind set on something. And I think Feyre, Rhysand's mate, believed me, but ... And then, of course, the sentences never finish because SJM never finishes her thoughts. "Believed you, but what?"
Mm-hmm.
Ember continued, looking at Nesta. "I'm glad of one thing, that I was able to meet you." I love this so much. "Next time I take on an intergalactic evil, I'll try to accommodate your bonding schedule, mother." Bryce.
He talked back to her mama.
I know, I love it though. She was mad because they left Cooper behind. Like, okay, the Asteria are dead. Why are you still calling him Cooper? He has a name. Call him Emil. The Asteria are dead now. Why are they not calling him Emil? Even in the bonus chapter after, he's still Cooper. Why is he still Cooper? Did you legally change his name to Cooper? Did he accept that? We don't know.
Maybe they called him that so often. It's
He's
just
fine with it.
habit.
"Your mother loves you. Don't for 1 second take that for granted. I've always been lucky to have her as a mom. This time with you was a gift, Nesta. It truly was." And then they had their hug, and I love it. Bryce gave the females some privacy to enjoy every second of that motherly embrace and turned to where Randall and Cassian stood behind them. The males had clasped arms warmly. "Thanks, friend,"
Yes.
Randall was saying to the warrior, "for everything." Cassian grinned, and Bryce could see why Nesta might be into a male who looked like that. Also, might.
Emphasis on might.
Might be into a male who looked like that. "Maybe we'll meet again one day under less strange circumstances. I hope so." And then he, like, clapped Nesta on the shoulder, too, with fatherly affection. So do you think at this point Nesta was like, "Oh, I can kind of see why Vasa said that, like, she was close to my dad? Because now that I'm close with someone else's mom, it's different when you're not actually family and living together under the same roof."
Maybe. I think it's because her mom didn't give her that kind of affection.
You know how many people tried to convince me that Cassian actually fucking stepped in front of her? I cannot believe I was gaslighted. He never does. Bryce chuckled and drew the star sword. Again, Cassian tensed. But Bryce just offered the blade to Nesta. The female took it, blinking. "You said you had an 8-pointed star tattooed on you, and you found that chamber with the 8-pointed star in the prison, too. So I want you to take the star sword. Gwydion, whatever you call it here. The age of the Starborn is over on Midgard. It ends with me. I don't understand. I think that 8-pointed star was tattooed on you for a reason. Take the sword and you'll figure out why." That is my favorite paragraph.
She knows that Cormac would go find her.
He knows that Nesta's going to be the next Starborn heir of the Dusk Court. I love it so much. I love it so
But
much.
does Bryce believe that Cormac is alive and will find Nesta?
No, she thinks he's dead. Like, this whole book, he was mentioned 39 times. 39 times. That includes the bonus chapter.
Wow.
39 times. I feel like we should go over each sentence with him and see if there's any clues. "Fucking Morven. Had I known of Cormac's treason, I would have handed him over myself. Idiot. I condemn all that Cormac was and stood for. He shall not be honored with a grave, nor a burial. There will be no ship to sail his body to the Summerlands." Oh yeah, that's another theory, that he is actually dead, but because he didn't get a sailing, his soul is just kind of floating around. Which led into my second theory, that if he is actually dead, Hypaxia is gonna find a way to bring him back. Because everyone's like I was focused on Ethan and Therian too for CC4, like, oh, it's gonna be their stories. But we also leave Hypaxia off with Ethan asking her if she took the antidote, and she said no, because first of all, she didn't want to like explode like everyone else yet. But she's like, "I don't even know what the extent of my power would do once I take this antidote." She can already fucking bring people back from the dead.
Yeah, there's that.
How much more powerful? What is she going to be? She's gonna be able to bring Cormac back if he's dead, I swear.
I hope so. If he's dead.
If he's dead.
If he's not in Prithian. at his mother's house.
I know. I'm just like, what is Hypaxia's story going to be in CC4 aside from the whole half-cocked Sigrid plotline? She needs to have her own plotline somewhere. And I want it to be based on her power and not romance, because the other two stories are going to be romance, and also fuck Celestina. I fucking hate that bitch. You better not forgive her. Better not forgive her. So that was just in the prologue. He was mentioned 3 times.
Wow.
Chapter 1. Asriel, without Rhysand to translate, watched in silence. Bryce could have sworn shadows wreathed him, like runes, yet wilder, the way Cormac's had been. Do you know what Moore says? The shadow, she says, like Asriel's, but not. But then she says, it's not unfamiliar.
The sleeping shadow.
Okay. It was easier said than done when everything kept circling. The failed attack on the lab. Also, that was not a fail. Thank you very much. The failed attack on the lab, Cormac's death. They'd all been so fucking dumb thinking they could take on the Asteri. Somebody wasn't as dumb as you thought he was. Thanks, Therian. Therian, sometimes you just gotta learn how to shut up. I love you, but please. You're a bucket of rocks up there right now, man. I can't. Ugh, fucking Pollux. I heard your cousin Cormac pleaded for mercy before the end. He didn't. He didn't,
No.
you lying sack of shit.
He was just saying that to get under somebody's skin.
Yeah. What had they done to Cormac to render him irrevocably dead? That's such a weird fucking sentence.
To render him dead.
Irrevocably dead?
Hold
Isn't
on, I gotta
dead
look up
dead?
this-
Like, dead is dead. Why do you have to put irrevocably dead? He
Yeah,
couldn't stop the
because-
memory from flooding him of sitting beside Cormac in that bar before they went to the Eternal City. Of that one moment he thought he glimpsed the person his cousin might have been. This is why I say he's fucking Eris of Crescent City. The friend Cormac might have become if he hadn't been systematically stripped of kindness by his father, King Morven. Eris!
Hold on. Irrevocably. In a way that cannot be changed, reversed, or recovered.
Is this Rune? Yeah, it's Rune's point of view. It shouldn't have been a shock to Rune that the 2 kings disowned their sons. One had fire in their veins and the other shadows. Einar and Morven were more alike than anyone realized. And Cormac had both. So. Cormac had both. Thank you very much.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he was mentioned once in chapter 1, once in chapter 2, 4 times in chapter 4. Chapter 5 is... She glanced at the star in her chest, still glowing brightly. They are your champions too, it seemed to say. The star hadn't been wrong about Hunt or about Cormac. Also, through love, all is possible. Come on. So that's once in chapter 5. We have once in chapter 8. Declan said quietly from the table, it's all fucked up. Rune, Athalar, Bryce. Mark laid a comforting hand on his shoulder. I know, Therian said, and Cormac's dead. What? Flynn spat his coffee back into his mug. Therian filled him in on what had gone down in the lab, and fuck, he really could have used some of that venom right now. Twice in chapter 10. Deck muttered, even with the cameras hacked, our plans haven't exactly turned out great lately. Ask Cormac how well our last big adventure went. The words pelted Therian like stones. The memory of the Fae Prince immolating himself slammed into him. A flash, and Cormac was dead. A flash. The flash of white rippling light. That was not him dying. That wasn't him dying, I swear. But also immolating himself. That's like incinerating himself. No. And then in chapter... So it goes from chapter 10 to chapter 28.
Wow.
Yeah. Hunt scoured his memory for what had happened to Sophie's corpse after they found it in the morgue aboard the Depth Charger. What had Cormac done with it? Was it still on the ship? And if so, did the Ocean Queen know what she had in her possession? I think that Cormac... Remember that Cormac had Sophie's body sent to Avalon for him?
So,
And they thought that Morven was using the crystals to try to get her Thunderbird power from her to help the Asteri. I think that Cormac was trying to get the Thunderbird power out of her to help charge him up to get through the rift if he had to as like a plan B.
that could be.
I don't think Morven had all those crystals. I think Cormac had all those crystals.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that knew Sophie through and through. He had to know how to get it out of her body, which begs the question, how did he know how to do that? Because he knew about the Asteri's little experiment with the harpy, perhaps?
Probably.
Because remember, they're like...
And doing a lot of research.
Yeah, because remember, they were like, we need your lightning power in this crystal, or whatever, like,
Mhm.
and that's how they resurrected the harpy. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to resurrect her with her own power? I don't know.
So would Sophie and Cormac both be in Prithian?
No, I
Or
think
just Cormac?
I think Sophie is actually dead, and he was just trying to bring her back, but... Chapter 30, he's mentioned 3 times. The Autumn King drank from his wine again. At this rate, he'd get through the whole bottle before the sun had fully set. How did you attain Truth Teller? I also find it funny that he calls it Truth Teller, just because she did. Did it not have a name? Like Gwydion had a name? I don't know. I stole it. She smiled slightly at his frown of distaste. What of my other friends? Are they all alive? If you counted that traitor Cormac amongst your friends, then no. But the rest of them, as far as I had heard, are alive and well. Bryce reeled. Cormac was... Did you steal the dagger to fulfill the prophecy? She shrugged with nonchalance. Cormac was dead. Had he died the day at the lab, or had it been afterwards, perhaps in the Asteri's dungeon under their questioning? Or had they simply sent the mail home to his shitty father and let the king of Avalon rip him to shreds for dishonoring his household? I feel like
Oh my
Cormac
God.
was Morbin. Like, I feel like Cormac was like a Reese to his father. I think Cormac probably knew that. I mean, Morbin probably knew that Cormac was stronger than him. And
So
that's
I'm looking on the fandom wiki page at Cormac stuff.
Mhm.
He could winnow.
Yeah, he taught Bryce how to winnow, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the only one that knew all about Prithian's magic. That's how he taught Bryce how to winnow. Because he's like, we're from the original Fey world. He knew all of that shit before the end of Crescent City 2 because he's been looking in the archives since his whole life.
Look at this, where it says Avalon magic. As the son of High King of the Avalon Fae, Cormac had the ability to manipulate shadows.
Mhm.
This included summoning and walking through them and cloaking himself and others in darkness.
Mhm.
Didn't the shadow wraiths do that?
Yep. And the Shadow Wraiths also work for Azrael as spies.
But are the shadow wraiths technically native to Night Court, or are they native to Dusk?
I don't know. I would love for them to say fuck off to Reese and then go to Dusk.
Everybody just goes to Dusk.
Bye, Reese.
Deuces.
Let's see. Oh, this is fucking Einar still. The Fey bloodlines had been weakening for generations now. Well, not Lydia's and not Cormac's, so I don't know who you're talking about. Not Bryce either.
Nope.
It is my life's work to investigate why this orrery was built in pursuit of answering that question. Especially after little old me became a certified Starborn princess, huh? He was so pissed. He like tightens his grip on his pen. The question of our failing bloodlines plagued me long before you were born. Why? Who cares? I care if our people are weakening, if we become lesser than the angels, the shifters, the witches. So it's about your ego then. It's about our survival. The Fae stand in a favorable position with the Asteri. If our power wanes, they will lose interest in maintaining that. Others will creep in to take what we have, predators around a carcass, and the Asteri won't lift a finger to stop them. And this is why you and Morven schemed to throw me and Cormac together? King Morven has noticed the fading as well, but he has the luxury of hiding behind Avalon's mists. Is it true that the Asteri can't pierce the mists around Avalon? Morven is almost certain that they can't, though I don't know if Rigelus has ever tried to breach the barriers. Does the term thin place mean anything to you? No, what is it? Just something I heard once. You lie. You learned of it in the homeworld of the Fae. I love their conversations. Chapter 36. Oh.
He had 10, what was it? He had 10 royal names and titles.
Who?
Cormac.
10?
Mm-hmm.
List them.
In Bryce's bonus chapter.
Oh. What
According to the wiki.
What the hell?
That's what the wiki says.
Which bonus chapter?
It just says Bryce's bonus chapter.
Bryce and Hunt's. Oh, did they discuss Cormac too? I kind of skimmed that one because it was kind of boring about the cabbage babies. I'll have to go back and look. This is the thing. This is the sentence. Open a portal to nowhere, the Autumn King said, the flame guttering in his eyes. What do you mean? Bryce demanded. The Star Sword is made, as you called it. He waved an idle hand, sparks at his fingertips. The knife can unmake things. Made and unmade, matter and antimatter, with the right influx of power, a command from the one destined to wield them, they can be merged, and they can create a place where no life, no light exists, a place that is nothing, nowhere. This is why I'm afraid that we're just gonna get a lame Koshi death with Nesta opening a black hole, the way that Bryce did.
No.
That's not possible. It is. I've read about it in the Avalon archives centuries ago. Then how do I do it? Just say merge into nowhere and that's it? I don't know, he admitted. My research has not revealed the steps to merge the blades, only what they could do. I want to see the research myself. It's on Avalon. The females are not allowed beyond the lobby of the archives. Yeah, our periods would probably get all over the books. I love her so much. His lip curled. Perhaps it is lucky you weaseled out of your engagement to Cormac. Your coarseness wouldn't have been well tolerated in Avalon. Oh, they'd warm up to me once they saw me swinging around the Star Sword and remembered who and what I am.
She's so cocky, I love it.
That would be an affront all on its own. A female has never possessed that blade. In 15,000 years, you mean to tell me only males had claimed it? As females are not allowed in the Cave of Princes, they had no opportunity to attempt to claim it, even if they had the starlight in their veins. Are you fucking kidding me? They banned females from the Cave of Princes to keep us from getting our hands on the sword. I'm pretty sure there are rules, even in this shitty empire, against treating females like that. Avalon has long been mostly left to govern itself, its ways hidden from the modern world behind its mists. She was so pissed. I love it. Oh, and then the history of Rune's ordeal. The Murder Twins, a nickname we gave my distant cousins, Rune said, around a mouthful of bread, after they joined Cormac in trying to kill us multiple times in the Cave of Princes. The prince's eyes flickered with regret as he spoke Cormac's name. And then Darian blocked out the image that flashed of Cormac's final moments of running while the female immolated himself. The way that they keep repeating this to try to drill it into our heads is suspicious. His grip clenched around his fork, so tight his knuckles turned white. But Rune went on. They can read minds, whether you want them to or not. He pointed with his half-eaten chunk of bread to Bryce. They're not going to ask for permission like that Night Court dude. He's talking about Reese.
He's so salty.
Can anyone defend against their skills? Yeah, but you have to be vigilant at all times, even when you can't see them near you. And they obey Morven unconditionally. I love me some good old-fashioned goons.
Oh my god.
But also, I just read the part in Akasif when Eris says, "Oh, don't worry. I steeled my mind a long time ago against Daemati magic. Good thing for you, I didn't bother to teach my brothers."
Ooh.
So Eris, because Eris had to allow Rhys to go into his head. Rhys couldn't just do it to Eris. He learned ages ago how to steal his mind against him.
Wait a minute. Remember those Raven twins, Hybern's niece and nephew? Was Eris the one that one girl was
No, I think it was one of the other brothers.
oh,
Branna, I think it was one of the other brothers. There's no way Eris would look at that fucking Hybern nasty ass and be like, "Oh yeah, let's fuck." No, that is so something one of the other brothers would do because they're just
True.
as awful.
mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's mentioned 5 times in chapter 44. Big bad uncle, you pissed him off. He sent you into the cave of princes to punish you. You showed him up. He's Cormac's father, Declan said carefully. Don't forget that he's just lost a son and an heir. He was too quick to disown him, Lydia said from the far end of the table. But I will echo the warning. King Morven only agrees to things that are advantageous to him. King Morven is literally Tyr and Baron. Come on.
Yes.
Like the evil triad. Or, well, Einar. I guess the evil square. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Love it.
Just so you know, during our ordeal, it took 3 of us a while to get to Peleus' tomb and the Star Sword, but that was also because we were being chased and hunted by ghouls and by Cormac and the Murder Twins. You know, I'm surprised by all this doom and gloom. Cormac said it would be nicer. Morven's dark eyes flashed. The shadow crown atop his head seemed to darken further. That name is no longer recognized or acknowledged here. Yeah, Rune said, crossing his arms. Well, it is with us. Cormac gave his life to make this world a better place. He was a liar and a traitor, not just to the Empire, but to his birthright. Also, I love how it says, this is Morven's throne, and he's also known as the Stag King, which is really weird. The male seated before them on a throne, seemingly crafted from a single set of antlers. The beast who'd grown them had to have been colossal, the likes of which didn't exist elsewhere on Midgard. Did stags that big roam around here? The thought was not comforting. But neither were the shadows that curled like snakes around the king, wild and twining. A coiled crown of them sat atop Morven's dark head, blacker than the pit itself. And when Asriel is pissed at Amren in that scene in Akawar, Era said that his shadows crept up like vipers around his wings, like snakes waiting to attack. I was like, ooh, they're all shadow singers. But like, why is he called the Stag King then? It makes no sense to me.
Is he related to Tamlin too? Like Morven?
No. Bryce glared at him, but Morven declared, "I have no need for more males in this land." Oh, because they were talking about fucking Sathia, how they gave Sathia to him. Bryce ground her teeth hard enough to hurt. This was the male who'd agreed with her father that Bryce and Cormac should marry, injecting more power and dignity into the Fey royal line. Bryce considered blinking. It seems you've got no problem harboring fugitives if you're letting in Flynn's parents. He glared, pure darkness in his eyes. There is no way he isn't Kyr's brother and related to fucking Mor and Rhys. The way that he's described is almost exactly like Rhys. So it's definitely through his father's line.
Oh, yeah.
Bryce went on, I mean, you could probably make up for Cormac's dishonor by selling us out to the Asteri, but if you hand us over, you'd have to turn in Flynn's parents and the other nobles too, and I doubt it would win you any points with your own people if you betrayed them to some fancy-ass nobles. You're in a real pickle, huh? Super hard to play both sides. People hate her in this book, but I like how she was cocky.
She's like Aelin kind of cocky.
I know.
I liked Aelin. A lot of people did, but I liked Aelin.
I'm very back and forth with Aelin. This was the guy that comes to say thank you to Lydia for saving his family. The mail went on, there are a few of us from my unit still here in secret. Prince Cormac convinced us all to join the cause. My bro. Cormac convinced them all to join the cause. We never told him or anyone who saved us. We didn't want to jeopardize whatever you were doing, but we heard through the rumor mill that you, the Hind, had defied the Asteri. Some of us contacted each other again. The Autumn King said coldly as red-hot flames simmered at his fingertips, the Fae must retain our power and birthright. The royal bloodlines have been fading, turning watery and weak in your generation. Actually, it's just your generation, bro, because you don't deserve them. It's just your generation.
Oh, yeah.
Cormac proved that with his spinelessness. What does that have to do with his power? Morven bit out. We must do everything we can to strengthen them. Cormac was more of a warrior than you'll ever be, Tharian snapped. Oh. Too bad I'm married now, Bryce mused, and you guys don't do divorce. Morven sneered. Exceptions can be made for the sake of breeding. Hunt's rage roared through him. See, Hunt acts like more of a mate than fucking Cassian does.
Right?
Right? Why risk it, Lydia said. At first, Rune shrugged, fighting past the rising lust pounding through his body. Cormac blackmailed me, said he'd tell my father about my mind-speaking abilities. But then I realized it was, the right thing to do. Agent Silverbow will be sorely missed. He already is. You knew Cormac then? No, but I knew of the things he accomplished for Ophian and the people caught up in the war. He was a good male. She glanced at the shut door. His father did not deserve a son like him. Kind of sounds like Cassian's little blurb to Eris. Perhaps you're a good male, Eris, but you're too much of a coward to act like one. I'll go back to this, but I realized the other night, and I was super shook that we never found out why he was called Agent Silverbow, and that's why I said Silverbow, Silver Flames. And and Luna's bow.
Right.
Didn't Luna have like Moonfire? Wasn't that Deanna? Isn't
That
that
was
what Nesta
Deanna.
has?
Mhm.
Silver bow. And then chapter 79 was the last time he was mentioned in the actual book. Is this? Oh yeah, this is Lydia. Her lips curved against his in a smile. I thank Erd every single day that Cormac asked you to be my contact. And then in the bonus chapter, how they're like, wherever his soul now resides. You spent the entire book trying to convince us that he immolated himself, and now you're saying wherever his soul is.
And like trying to say that he's dead, but it's like
they're like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. They're trying to pound into us that he's dead when we know he's not dead.
he's like, are y'all sure he's
about
dead?
that?
And Sergey,
You sure about
Sarah's like, no, he's dead. In case you were wondering again, he's
He's
dead.
dead.
In case you're wondering a fifth time, he's dead.
For the 39th time, he's dead.
He's dead.
You had 39 times you had to try to convince us he's dead.
He's like, okay, Sarah.
Whatever you
Maybe.
say, Sarah.
Sure, Jan. Sure, Janet.
But literally at this point, if he's actually dead, I'm going to be like rip shit. Like I'm gonna be so mad.
Like, why bring up the prophecy and also bring up that thing with Nesta if he's dead?
The prophecy, the word mark tattoo, the archives. Literally him sneaking around behind everyone's back, knowing shit before they did.
Right.
Everything. It's so I'm gonna be so annoyed if he doesn't show up in Prithian. For real. Maybe it's my delusion. Maybe it's our delusion. But I'm actually gonna be so upset. Like I will probably cry if he's actually dead. I will cry. I did not cry when I wrote this book for his death because I was like, there's no way he's dead. There's no way he's dead. There's no way he's dead. And the book ended, and he still didn't come back. And I was like, okay, maybe there's a connection to Prithian. Maybe he went to Prithian. And then I figured all that shit out. And now I'm fully convinced he's coming back to rule the Dust Court with Nesta. So convinced. So convinced. I'm going to be seriously upset. It's so annoying to me. Where is the? Do I have the link that I? Where is it? Damn it! I have a It's in my saved. It's in my saved theories. I don't think it's in my Corsta one though. Oh yes, it is actually. Perhaps. Okay. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I found it. Oops. Okay. Blah 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 blah. I go through most of my things. Okay. Where is it? All right. So I said Cormac and Nesta continued because I did that whole original video that's pinned to my Instagram page.
Right.
Unfortunately, I can only pin 3 things, so I couldn't pin this one, which is annoying. But this was on my Tumblr originally, and then I just took screenshots and I put it in a reel for Instagram. But I said Cassian failed at being a courtier, and Akasef, he openly says that he failed at it and that he absolutely hated it. Cassian has been shown choosing Rhys over Nesta 3+ times now, and has been shown punishing her for upsetting Rhys, but has never been shown saying I love you back to Nesta, as notably shown not biting his biscuit meant to solidify their mate bond. And in Hofast, there was no mention of them wearing mating or wedding bands, as Bryce had to assume that he was her mate. And then, as I said, we see Phazan and Rowland wear them, and Quinlar was talking about getting their wedding bands. I don't believe that Cassian and Nesta are true mates. I think that either Rhys tied them together to tame Nesta, you guys know this, or Nesta made them. Made with a capital M, the bond. Cassian also mentions on page that he cannot feel her and that he hopes that he would be able to if she died in the blood right. Rhys feels Feyre, Lucian feels Elaine, Hunt feels Bryce, Rowan feels Aelin. So this stuck out to me. I believe that Nesta will either be a lone queen, which I don't really believe, or that it will be Cormac Donnell from Crescent City, who I 100% believe is not dead. Like calls to like. Cormac's power, both shadow singing and fire wielding and being starborn, is equal to Nesta's Lady Death, starborn, flames, whatever. Cormac, as we know from Rigelus, is an undiluted bloodline from the Dust Court and, quote-unquote, died when a ripple of light appeared in the sky, which to me seems like a portal. There's also ripples of white light happening during magic in Tog. Nesta has the 8-pointed star stamped in her heart. At least twice it's mentioned in Akasef, so I truly believe she will be chosen to be the next Queen of Dusk, especially after Bryce had that whole, go take the Star Sword
monologue.
Yeah. Nesta is now in possession of Gwydion and Truth Teller and Ataraxia, and she has her dagger and her Kingmaker sword that Rhys currently has, which I believe is actually being saved for Nesta's true king. Cassian's been around it, and it did not choose Cassian. Thea's mate was Adis through worlds and realms, and we got that specific explanation of them somehow finding one another through worlds and realms for a reason, which I think is foreshadowing of Nesta and Cormac, because that was such a random thing to enter in, don't you think? Oh,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were mates through worlds. They found each other through worlds and realms. The last Dusk Queen found her true mate through worlds. So I kind of have a theory that Nesta accidentally summoned Cormac.
Summoned him.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it was that type of trope where, like, two giant wells of power are happening at the same time and they just happen to align. And so he wanted to get to Prithian and she accidentally summoned him. And so that's what actually brought him over.
That'd be so cool.
I feel
Yeah.
like, I feel like it would be really cool. Cormac had the thick band of word marks around his bicep, the same word marks that are carved into the twin peaks of the prison island, aka the Dust Court. I think he activated his tattoo to protect himself and was blasted into the rift back to Prithian, his homeworld. And then we have this was okay. I found the quote that I was talking about last night with the foreshadowing of the mates. This was the scene in Akasif. The ancient place where no outside world. So this is when she was being dragged to the harp. That ancient place where no outside world existed, no time, nothing but the music in her bones, the stones at her feet, her sides overhead. The music took form behind Nesta's eyes as the priestesses sang the lyrics in language so old no one voiced them anymore. She saw what the song spoke of: mossy earth and golden sun. That's Elaine and Lucian.
Yeah.
Trembling fawn. Fawn is like nature, earth. Clear rivers and the deep shadows of the ancient forests. Gwen and Az.
Yeah.
The harp strummed, the mountains rolled ahead as if a veil had been cleared with the stroke of those strings, and she was flying toward it, toward a massive mist-veiled mountain, the land barren save for moss and stones and a gray storming sea around it. The mountain itself held two peaks at its very top, and the stones jutting from its sides were carved in those strange ancient symbols as old as the song itself. It's the same symbols that Cormac has.
And it's the Dust Court. It's the Dust Court.
And going with our theory that even if Cormac's mother isn't more, that she was part witch, Nesta's body melted away, her bones and the stones of the cavern. So I said, what's used to scry? Bones and stones.
Bones.
Like calls to like. I said, did she summon Cormac right at the exact moment when he was also being blasted by the castle exploding from his fire magic in Akasif?
Oh, maybe.
Did she accidentally scry when she was tumbling through the void? Was Cormac also tumbling through the void?
And they just went poof.
That would have been so cool if they like passed each other.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Who are
That would have
you?
been hilarious. I said the stones jutting from its sides were carved in the strange ancient symbols, aka word marks, and around his left bicep lay a thick band of strange ancient symbols in black gleaming ink. This 8-pointed star was stamped on her very heart. So yeah, he's coming. He has to. Sarah, why would she do all this foreshadowing and then do nothing with it? Why? Why would Cormac not arrive to Prithian after that foreshadowing? She strummed the harp. The harp that we also know can open portals by itself.
When she did that,
she didn't say which string she strummed because she already said like there was no time, there was no space, there was nothing. But the harp strummed. The harp strummed. Did the harp summon Cormac?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I just know that if he does not show up in Prithian, I will probably cry. I'm not even kidding you. I will be so upset.
I would like
because it makes no sense for it not to happen. Right?
I'm trying to find out what the next book is, but it's the same old stuff.
It could be anything. They're all interconnected. It doesn't matter whose story is next, really. They're all interconnected.
I know, I'm just nosy.
Yeah, she's not gonna give us anything. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. But yeah, I'm just gonna be so mad if he doesn't show up. Who is the sword?
Who else would it be?
Who else would it be? It's not going to be Lucian because she said that she was going to put Lucian and Nesta together at first and then realized they weren't a good match. So at first, before I read Crescent City, I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be Lucian as High King because, he has from the Autumn Court and the Day Court, like he's going to be the most powerful male or whatever. But now we know that it's Cormac who's directly connected to the Dust Court. He has to show up. Like, I'm gonna go crazy if he doesn't show up.
I will spontaneously combust.
See what I did there? We will immolate ourselves.
Incinerate and immolate.
We will incinerate these books. We will immolate these books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still
Are
can't.
there any other clues that you've seen that I haven't picked out yet? I'm interested in knowing if
about the next book
about
or Cormac.
Like, is there anything that I missed that you have in your notes or anything? Other than the fact that Olivia's like, Nesta isn't a princess, so she's not the princess with the star in her heart. I was like, how do you know that? She's a queen. I was like, how do you know that when you don't know who her mother and father were? You don't know that. Her father was called the Prince of Merchants. Of course she's a princess. Her mom could have been a witch princess, which would have made Nesta and Elaine and Feyre witch princesses by birthright.
And Feyre is considered Princess of Carnage. And Carrion.
Princess of Carrion, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is weird to me because Carrion is like death. I feel like SJM didn't. She's like everybody gets death. Everybody gets death.
Everybody gets death and shadows and flames. Like, really?
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's happening? I doubt that the Morin heiress. I doubt that Cormac being their child is going to come to fruition, but that would be like the most amazing thing ever to introduce him back into the fold. Like that being the gigantic fucking heiress and more secret would be the best thing ever. It would be amazing.
It's
Amazing.
I'm still looking.
Like, it's just weird how many times she tried to convince us that he was dead. Like, I feel like if he's actually dead, you don't need to like bring it up that many times.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. I'm trying to find. I had like literally a bunch of. Where are they? I have a folder labeled Corsta. Oh yeah. So this is from his wiki. It says he studied all the lore, learned all the lineage, pored over every account detailing the variations in power. He literally knew all of Prithian's power. All about it.
There's no way he's not.
Ain't no way.
Oh, also, dealing with threes, Cormac reigned in the 3rd century. 3.
Mm-hmm.
He was the greatest king that Ireland ever knew.
Yup.
Finn is also mentioned.
Who? What?
Finn.
Hmm.
Finn McConnell. I'm probably butchering that.
I don't know. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know. It's all. Yeah, Rigelus says, it says no, Rigelus said. Even hell is not at the top of our list of those from whom we shall exact vengeance. Again, that smile at Bryce. The star in your chest, you know what it is. Let's assume I know nothing, Bryce said grimly. Rigelus inclined his head. It's a beacon to the world from which the Fae originally came. It sometimes glows when nearest the Fae who have undiluted bloodlines from that world. Prince Cormac, for example. Do you think that's why we didn't get a scene of Bryce with Rune's mom? Because her star would have glowed? Now that she has
And
it.
it would have scared off her shadows.
I feel like that would be hilarious. Well, technically, Lauren, she has the most starborn power. Well, if she wasn't affected by the parasite. But yeah, because she, as I was saying a couple nights ago, I said that she would have been the female starborn heir to Prithian if she hadn't been chased out into the Crescent City world. So then the mother had to pick another one, and she picked Nesta to keep the balance of things.
Maybe the mother will bring a miracle and bring Cormac. Oh,
Yes.
real quick.
Mhm.
Akatar Book 6, work confirmed. Expected release date in 2025.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it's gonna be May. Did I say May? I think it's gonna be May. I'm guessing.
You think it's going to be May?
I'm
I
guessing.
think it's going to be October.
Perhaps.
Because it has to take place during the winter time.
Because, well, it's weird because the first 3 were the first 3 were announced in June. The titles and stuff were in October, and then they were released in May, I think.
Oh my god.
What?
Plot speculations and fan theories. So speculation, Nesta and Cassian's journey, Era and Rhysand's reign, new characters and realms, and
Yeah.
high stakes and twists.
Yeah. I hope